Mom saw that her son was fooling around every day instead of studying, so she transferred 100,000 to me with an order, demanding that I bring home a girlfriend within 3 years for her to meet, but she never expected that. The very next day, I brought the ice goddess of our school home. Moreover, she was holding a little girl in her arms who looked 8 or 9 parts like me, like a little kitten. Grandma, I missed you so much. Seeing this, my mother was completely stunned. I said awkwardly, "You might not believe this if I say it. This is our biological daughter, who time-traveled from the future, 3 months ago." That day, I had just left the house for less than 2.5 seconds when a cute little lolly, as adorable as a jade doll, ran up to me. "Daddy, I finally found you." Hearing that, I was a bit stunned. I quickly squatted down to look at the little girl. "Little one, are you lost from your parents? Should I take you home?" Who knew the little girl would have a confused expression? "What are you talking about, Daddy?" Zhang Yao doesn't understand. Hearing that, my scalp went numb. I'm an innocent 18-year-old high school student. How could an 8 or 9-year-old little loli run up and call me daddy? With that in mind, I had to continue asking, "Do you miss your dad? How about I take you to find your dad? You are my dad. You're Zhang Yao's dad." As she spoke, the little girl pouted aggrievedly and opened her arms to rush into my embrace, but I instinctively moved aside, causing her to miss. The little girl's eyes immediately turned red. "Daddy used to love holding me the most, lifting me up high, holding me in your arms. What's wrong today? Don't you want Zhang Yao anymore?" Thinking this, the little girl felt more and more wronged. Tears started to fall drop by drop. Seeing this, I immediately panicked. Don't cry, little one. Are you listening to me?" But the little girl cried even louder. "Daddy always used to call me darling Zhang Yao. Boo-hoo, I want to find mommy. I'll have mommy make daddy kneel on the washboard." Hearing that, I was completely exasperated. "Zhang Yao, right? I'm really not your dad, but I have a photo." The little girl, while crying from behind, took out a photo from her school bag. I reluctantly took the photo, but when I saw the main characters in the photo, I was instantly stunned again, because it was an old family photo of 3. In the photo, Zhang Yao was being held by a man who looked 9 parts like me, and next to them was an unusually beautiful woman. She looked a little familiar, but I couldn't remember where I had seen her. 2.5 seconds later, Zhang Yao pouted beside me. "Now that you have this photo of me when I was 5, you can't pretend not to know Zhang Yao anymore, right?" I came back to my senses. My eyes kept sizing up Zhang Yao. I have to admit, this little girl really looks a lot like me. Immediately after, I took a deep breath and asked for the names of her ancestors for 2 generations. Her father's name was naturally Mi, and when I heard Zhang Yao say her mother's name was Xia Qingwan, I started to get stunned all over again. No wonder the first time I saw that girl, I found her so familiar. It turns out she's the white moonlight of all the boys in our school. But the problem is, I don't know her at all. Xia Qingwan is in the advanced class, while I'm in the regular class. High school is about to end, and this goddess Xia and I have never even spoken a single word to each other. At this moment, Zhang Yao suddenly reached out her small hand and tugged on my sleeve. "Daddy, please take me to find mommy. I haven't seen mommy for a few days. I miss her so much." I didn't answer her, but frowned and looked at the little girl, although I have now gradually accepted this truth. But why did Zhang Yao appear here? Could it be time travel? Zhang Yao heard my question, and also frowned. "I don't know. When Zhang Yao woke up, I was already here." "Alright then, if it really is time travel, I can't expect a little girl to explain it clearly. Besides, the simplest way is to get a DNA test, right at this moment." Zhang Yao's stomach suddenly rumbled. She instinctively rubbed her small, empty belly. "Daddy, I'm so hungry." Hearing this, I had no choice but to take her back to my rented house. Perhaps because it was her first time in a new environment, Zhang Yao bounced around everywhere, looking at everything. But then she asked curiously, "Daddy, why don't you live with mommy? You two obviously used to sleep together every night. Did you two have a fight?" I remained silent and went into the kitchen alone, planning to cook her a simple bowl of egg noodles. 2 minutes later, Zhang Yao was holding a bowl bigger than her face. Sitting at the dining table, she was probably really hungry. Her 2 cheeks were puffed out like a pufferfish. Taking advantage of this moment, I went online to check the cost of DNA testing centers. It was indeed a bit beyond what I could afford. After eating, Zhang Yao demanded to find her mother. I immediately faced a dilemma. Because Xia Qingwan is the universally acknowledged ice goddess, I don't have her contact information. Besides, even if I did, what would I even say? Tell her that this is your daughter and my future wife? I'd definitely be treated like a lunatic and get slapped twice. At this moment, Zhang Yao tilted her head. "Daddy, did you really have a fight with mommy?" I was a bit tense. "Did you and mom often fight before?" Zhang Yao shook her head. "No, we didn't. Mom and dad have a very good relationship. Besides, even if you fought, dad would quickly go kneel on the washboard and mom wouldn't be angry anymore." Hearing these words, I couldn't help but feel both happy and worried. Although it sounds like a happy marriage, it seems like I'm a bit afraid of my wife, and if Zhang Yao really is a time traveler, then things are a bit tricky. Finding the child's mother is indeed an urgent matter. Thinking this, I rubbed the little girl's head, borrowed her family photo, and prepared to find the person rumored to be the ice goddess, Xia Qingwan. Soon after, I walked and called my mom. "Mom!" Lin Hui sounded very impatient. "Didn't I just transfer 2,000 to you a few days ago? Are you a money-swallowing beast?" Zhang Yao blinked her big round eyes. "Daddy, is that Grandma?" I miss Grandma so much too. Lin Hui immediately became alert. What's that strange noise? Why do I hear a child's voice? I paused for a moment. Mom, there's something I don't know how to tell you. It seems you're about to become a grandmother. The other end of the line was silent for a long time. Then came the sound of breaking glass. What did you say, you little brat? Say that again. Who did you get pregnant? How many months along is she? I touched my nose. She's 8 years old. Hearing that, the other end of the line went silent again. After a while, I heard Lin Hui's cold voice. Do you think I'm an idiot? Is this your way of asking for money? Stop this nonsense. Go away. Get lost. After saying that, Lin Hui decisively hung up the phone. Immediately after, I received a 1,000 yuan transfer from my mom. Since I still had school in the afternoon, I had to leave Zhang Yao at home alone. 1:30 p.m. I went to Xia Qingguan's classroom. Hey, is Xia Qingguan here? The male student looked around and then shook his head. No. I was silent for a moment. Then where does she sit? I have something to give her. Hearing this, the way the male student looked at me became a bit strange. He hesitated for 2.5 seconds and then pointed to a seat. I said thanks, then walked straight to Xia Qingguan's seat. Her desk was very neat and clean. You could tell she was a good, diligent student. I placed the photo under her pencil case, then tore off a piece of scrap paper and wrote my name and class on it. After doing all this, I quickly left, ignoring the confused gazes of the other students in the class. Anyway, as long as I don't feel embarrassed, then I'm invincible. Soon, it was time for school to end in the afternoon. My best friend Chen Haio came to find me with a basketball. Zhang Haochen. Let's go play some ball. I didn't look up, still correcting my wrong homework, not going. Don't delay your old man's quest to get into a top university. Chen Hao rolled his eyes. You and I have about the same grades. 2.5 years have already passed, and we're still hovering around the minimum university admission score. Can you really ascend to the heavens in these last 4 months? Just as he was about to say something more, he suddenly heard someone looking for me. Zhang Haochen. Yes, he's here. The one sitting in the far corner of the classroom. Hearing that, I looked up and saw a familiar face standing at the classroom door. Chen Hao's gaze immediately fell on me. Hey man, are you drunk? You're starting to see things. I have to say, the moment I saw Xia Qingguan in real life, I confirmed one thing. If the photo is real, then she is the woman in the picture. Zhang Haochen, come out for a moment. I need to talk to you. Xia Qingguan's voice was clear, but tinged with anger. A few minutes later, I went with her to a deserted corner. She tried to calm herself down and then spoke. Classmate Zhang Haochen. I don't think we know each other, do we? Where did this photo come from? Please explain it to me. She knew she was beautiful, every day. People secretly slipped love letters to her, but this was the first time someone had given her a family photo. In just a moment, her gaze was captured by the woman in the photo. Obviously, the woman had a more mature face and figure, and on her face was a gentle smile she had never worn before. But Xia Qingguan still couldn't control a thought that rose up. This was her. Then, she uncontrollably started to observe the little girl and the man in the photo. She didn't know the man, just felt that this was an uncle, who looked very pleasant, but this beautiful, doll-like little girl, why did she feel such a sense of familiarity with her? Could it be a photoshopped picture? Although Xia Qingguan felt from the bottom of her heart that this was a very bad joke, she was in a daze the entire afternoon. I coughed lightly twice, then pointed to the photo in her hand. You might not believe this, but this little girl calls me Dad, and says her mother's name is Xia Qingguan. Hearing this, the ice goddess instinctively opened her mouth. Is the academic pressure of senior year too much for you? How long has this condition been going on? Classmate Xia is quite polite, huh? But my mental state is completely normal. Xia Qingguan was stunned. She felt that I wasn't lying at all. Perhaps it was because my eyes were too clear, or perhaps the 3 people in that photo had made too much of an impression on her. She picked up the photo and looked at it more closely again. The young man in the photo looked almost exactly like me. It's just that I look a little more childish now. Seeing this, I had to say patiently, I didn't believe it at first either, but Zhang Yao gave me this photo. When you meet that child, you might think differently. I don't believe it. A photo doesn't prove anything. Hearing Xia Qingguan's cold voice, I also felt a headache coming on. Then can you wait for me at school for a bit? Whether you believe it or not, just meet her once. Xia Qingguan didn't answer. She must still be confused. Seeing that, I didn't say anything more. I just put on my backpack and left the school. 20 minutes later, I brought Zhang Yao back. Xia Qingguan was still standing there. The moment she saw the little girl, her whole body suddenly became flustered. Then she took 2 steps back, a bit evasively, but her eyes couldn't bear to look away from this little girl. Mommy Zhang Yao's eyes immediately lit up. She opened her arms and rushed towards Xia Qingguan. I'm not your mother. Xia Qingguan wanted to avoid her, but the little girl managed to hug her long, straight legs tightly. Her small, chubby face looked up at her happily. Mommy, why are you so pretty today? Xia Qingguan's whole body stiffened. She looked at me for help, but she saw this guy standing far away. Seeing this, she had no choice but to squat down and look at Zhang Yao. Little one, I'm not your mother. You are my mommy. Jiang Yao didn't understand why suddenly both her parents wouldn't acknowledge her. Feeling wronged, she immediately turned into a crybaby again. Tears started to fall drop by drop. Jie Qingwan felt her heart clench. She awkwardly wiped the girl's face with her hands. Don't cry, don't cry. Now she finally understood what I meant when I said we should meet once. What that different feeling would be. Half an hour later, Xia Qingwan and I were sitting in a bakery. Jiang Yao sat next to me eating a sweet cake. Her little legs were swinging. This scene made Xia Qingwan and I melt. It took us a while to come to our senses. I paused for a moment and spoke up. Can I call you Xia Qingwan? Xia Qingwan tried to calm herself down. She hummed softly. Okay. I took a sip of lemonade. Cleared my throat. I feel this matter should be resolved as soon as possible. I mean, we should do a DNA test with Jiang Yao. Of course, Xia Qingwan had no objection. If the result is real, then what should we do? I don't know, I answered honestly. 2 high school students can't possibly raise a child. Not to mention we're currently in the final stretch of preparing for the college entrance exams. At that moment, the little girl suddenly asked innocently, Mommy, please don't be mad at Daddy anymore. Let's go home together, okay? What? Xia Qingwan looked at me in surprise. I scratched my head helplessly. She thinks you're not coming home because you had a fight with me. I didn't know what to say, so I just let her assume that. Fine. Xia Qingwan accepted this explanation. She thought for a moment. Her fingers holding the glass of lemonade tightened slightly. Oh right, the cost of the test. Hearing that, I placed my phone on the table. It's about 2,000 in total. I think we should split the cost. Xia Qingwan hesitated for a moment. Sorry, it might be a little difficult for me. My usual allowance isn't very much. Seeing this, I decided to cover it for now. She can pay me back when she has the money. After all, my mom just transferred me 1,000. It's just enough. Thanks, I'll pay you back as soon as possible. But hearing her words, Jiang Yao tilted her head. Mommy, you're talking so strangely. You're the one who manages all the money at home. Why would you suddenly want to give money to Daddy? It was only at this moment that Xia Qingwan and I remembered an issue we had overlooked. That is, the 2 of us would very likely be husband and wife in the future. Xia Qingwan blushed and turned away, not knowing how to answer the little girl either. She had no interactions with Zhang Haochen in high school. So why would they get married later on? I was a little curious too. Jiang Yao, do you know how Mommy and Daddy got together? Was it a blind date or something? Jiang Yao furrowed her little brow. Jiang Yao doesn't understand. It's just that Mommy and Daddy sometimes argue about who liked whom first. So it wasn't a blind date. It was love that led to the wedding aisle. Besides, is that even considered arguing? That's just showing off their affection in front of their child. Thinking of that scene, Xia Qingwan felt her scalp tingle. She really couldn't imagine herself in the future, smiling gently and happily one day, like the woman in the photo. Thinking this, she unnaturally glanced at her watch. I have to go back first. I can't go home too late. Zhang Haochen, after you get the results, please let me know immediately. With that, Xia Qingwan took out her phone. Let me add your WeChat. If anything comes up, you can contact me directly. After adding each other on WeChat, Xia Qingwan prepared to leave. Her gaze fell on Jiang Yao's face again. Jiang Yao suddenly felt the cake in her hand was no longer delicious. Aren't you coming home with us, Mommy? Do you not like Jiang Yao anymore? I patted her head. How could that be? Mommy has something very important to do. Jiang Yao must be a good girl, okay? Hearing this, Xia Qingwan's steps faltered. Then she grabbed her backpack and fled without another word. The express test results came back quickly. Around 9 p.m., I received 2 reports on my WeChat. The professional testing agency showed that the probability of a biological relationship between Jiang Yao and us was 99.999%, meaning Jiang Yao was indeed our daughter. After seeing my message, Xia Qingwan finally gave up all hope. She accepted the fact that her daughter had traveled back from the future. I sent another message. So what now? You're Jiang Yao's father, and you're asking me? I quickly typed on my phone screen. Are you trying to be a deadbeat mom? Don't be ridiculous. After typing those 3 words, Xia Qingwan felt a bit of a headache. Looking at the blank spaces on her test paper all evening, she hadn't written a single word. Her mind was filled with the image of that illegally cute little girl. That little girl and I both looked clean and delicate. What are they doing now? Thinking of this, Xia Qingwan forcefully patted her cheeks. She then stood up and left her room. She stood at the doorway, hesitating for a long time before speaking up. Dad? Yuan, what is it? Xia Qiming turned down the TV volume a bit. Xia Qingwan pursed her lips. Dad, can you give me some more allowance? 1,000 yuan. However, as soon as she finished speaking, her stepmother's voice came from the kitchen. What do you need so much money for? You come home to eat every day. You're not staying out. What are you planning to spend 1,000 yuan on? Qiming, don't give it to her. She's in the most crucial stage of high school right now. She needs to focus all her energy on studying. Xia Qingwan didn't know how to explain. She said nothing, just lowered her head, stubbornly standing her ground. Yuan, don't listen to your mother's nonsense. Go back to your room and wait a bit. With that, Xia Qiming lowered his voice. He'll give it to you later. Xia Qingwan didn't want to stay in the living room for long. She lowered her eyes and returned to her room. She stared blankly at the test paper in front of her. For some reason, she couldn't write a single word. 10 minutes later, Xia Qiming knocked on her door, then walked in with a wad of cash. Xia Qingwan quickly stood up. Dad, I'm sorry, It's okay. If the money's not enough, you must tell me, okay? Xia Qiming smiled. Yuan is a young lady now. If you like pretty dresses or something, just go ahead and buy them. Xia Qingwan didn't know what to say. She just nodded silently and reached out to take the money. Xia Qiming smiled. He was about to show a bit more concern when Xia Qingwan's stepsister in the next room shouted, Mom, Dad, the doll I bought with my friend yesterday, where did you put it? Hearing this, Xia Qiming hurried out. I think it's in the closet. Go look for it yourself. After that, from the next room came the sound of her stepsister, her whining voice and her father's slightly helpless but doting voice. Xia Qingwan lowered her eyes. When she was little, her father also used that tone to speak with her. But ever since her mother passed away and her father found a new woman, everything changed. Xia Qingwan shook her head. She quickly tucked the 1,000 yuan carefully into her backpack, then took out her phone and sent me a message. What are you two doing? There was no reply for a long time. It wasn't until after 10 p.m. that she received a reply. Zhang Yao and I are shopping at the mall, buying her some clothes to wear. Below it was an attached photo. Xia Qingwan clicked on it. It was Zhang Yao wearing a white bunny pajama set. She was smiling very happily, like a mischievous little fairy. Xia Qingwan hugged her phone, feeling the gloom in her heart lighten a lot. Just then, her phone beeped again. She clicked play. Zhang Yao's sweet voice came from the phone. Mommy, I'm a bunny now. Aren't I so cute, Mommy? Xia Qingwan listened to it over and over. So, Zhang Yao really was her future daughter. Xia Qingwan pursed her thin red lips, lowered her head and typed a reply. Super cute. After finishing the shopping, I took her home. Looking at the big and small bags in my hands, then checking my bank account balance. To be honest, Zhang Yao is really well behaved and adorable, but she does have one flaw. The environment she grew up in must have been very prosperous. She's truly a little princess. When she sees something pretty that she likes, she'll pull my hand and whine, asking me to buy it. While thinking this, I hung my coat on the rack and casually asked Zhang Yao, how big is the place where you usually live? Is it bigger than this place? Zhang Yao looked around the room. This place is probably about the size of our bathroom at home, right, Daddy? Hearing that, my eyes lit up. All right, now I'm certain that my future career is very successful, and I'm also a total daughter doter, the type who would pluck the stars and moon, spoiling his daughter to no end. But right now, I'm just a dirt poor high school student. Moreover, that Xia Qingwan over there doesn't seem like some young lady from a rich family either. Now this is troublesome. How much money does it take to raise a child? Thinking about my bank balance, I got a headache. Where's the system? My daughter has already time traveled here. Isn't there supposed to be a raise a successful father system? I lowered my head and met Zhang Yao's big, round, bright eyes. She pinched the bunny ears, then tilted her head to look at me and gave me an innocent, adorable smile. I sighed. All right, it seems there's nothing. After that, I took Zhang Yao to wash up and get ready for bed. The little girl happily hugged me. I want to sleep with Daddy tonight. When she was little, she often slept with her parents. Mommy on the left, Daddy on the right. She could snuggle into whoever's arms she wanted, but after starting elementary school, she got her own room, and Mommy wouldn't let her sleep with them anymore. I was about to refuse her, but looking at my daughter's sparkling, expectant eyes, I couldn't bring myself to say no in the end. Just don't hog the blanket. Zhang Yao happily jumped onto the bed, stuck her butt out, and buried her head in the blanket. It's Dad's scent. Just then, my phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown number. After answering, Xia Qingwan's clear voice came from the other end. Zhang Haochen, are you two home yet? We're back. But I don't know how to buy clothes for a little girl, so I only picked out a set of pajamas. Find a chance to take her to the mall sometime. Okay, let's find some time this weekend. Xia Qingwan's voice sounded a bit troubled. It's not very convenient for me. So, I told her it was fine. It's okay, I live alone. It's fine for Zhang Yao to stay with me. But Zhang Yao seemed really happy to see you. Xia Qingwan naturally realized this. After all, in the short time they spent together today, her mind was completely filled by the soft, adorable cotton ball that was Zhang Yao. Xia Qingwan took a deep breath. Zhang Haochen, let's find a time to meet tomorrow. Let's find a secluded place. Her voice was very soft, as if she were doing something secretive. I chuckled softly. I know. Our Ice Queen Belle, Xia Qingwan, has never had any scandals before. Xia Qingwan didn't say anything more. This remark seemed to make her a bit annoyed and unhappy, and she couldn't help but let out a soft, humph. Hearing that, I quickly explained, I was just kidding. Just contact me whenever you're free. Oh, do you want to talk to Zhang Yao? Zhang Yao, beside me, clearly brightened up. Is that Mommy? Zhang Yao wants to wish Mommy good night. The other end of the line clearly paused for a moment, followed by a small ah, which sounded like the clatter of a cup being knocked over on a table. Never mind. After saying that, Xia Qingwan quickly hung up, as if she were fleeing. Her chest heaved violently. An intense blush spread from her neck, quickly covering her earlobes and her porcelain white cheeks. I'm only a senior in high school this year, future husband and adorable daughter or whatever. This is just too weird. The next morning when I woke up, I saw Zhang Yao hugging me tightly, sleeping soundly. There was a bit of clear drool at the corner of her mouth. I closed my eyes and savored this quiet atmosphere for a moment before gently disentangling her from me. When I returned after washing up and buying breakfast, Zhang Yao was already awake. It seemed she wasn't fully awake yet, kneeling drowsily on the bed. When she saw my figure, she pouted with a sulky expression. Dad, kiss Zhang Yao. I put the breakfast on the table. Zhang Yao is a big girl now. You can't be so clingy with Dad. Hearing that, Zhang Yao immediately huffed. I hate you, Dad. I was a little stunned. I thought to myself that I hadn't done anything to make her angry. This kid doesn't have morning grumpiness, does she? Thinking this, I looked at her with amusement. Doesn't Zhang Yao like Dad anymore? Morning grumpiness isn't a good thing. The Zhang family doesn't have this habit. So who did she inherit it from? Zhang Yao pouted and glanced at me with dissatisfaction. It wasn't until after breakfast that she fully woke up. Then, from a little angry pufferfish, she transformed back into the soft, adorable cotton ball she was before. She hugged me, looking a little pitiful. Daddy, Zhang Yao is so bored at home alone. I used to have a lot of friends in elementary school. I patted her head. Zhang Yao, can you bear with it for 2 more days? You'll have new friends soon. Dad will be back at noon. If you're hungry, there are strawberries in the fridge. There are snacks on the coffee table. Zhang Yao was still very understanding. She made a smacking sound and kissed me on the cheek. Zhang Yao will definitely be good at home, Dad. You have to bring Mom home quickly, too. The soft, warm pink lips of the little cotton ball made me feel inexplicably at ease. On the way to school, I kept thinking about how to get Zhang Yao into school. After all, she couldn't just stay at home forever. When I got to school, Chen Hao immediately put on a stern face and came to interrogate me. Hao-chen, explain yourself. What's your relationship with the school bell, Xia? I glanced at him. No relationship. We just have a daughter. Seeing that he didn't believe me, I had to wave my hand and say, just kidding. I'm the class life committee member. Xia Qingwan is the math representative for the advanced class. It's just some business with the teachers. Besides, she's the school belle. How could she possibly notice me? Don't overthink it. Only then was Chen Hao satisfied. After all, good brothers can suffer together, but they can't drive a Land Rover together. Who would have thought that Li Yu, our childhood friend next to us, would retort, why couldn't she notice you? Hao-chen, you're actually quite handsome. If you dress up, you have the potential to be a toy boy. Chen Hao's face fell. When did you go blind? Don't tell me you like Hao-chen? Li Yu frowned. Get lost. Go play somewhere else. I mean, rat is the ugliest. And as the two of them kept bantering, time quickly passed to the first math class. Looking at the test paper with 72 points, 8 points less than mine, in front of her, Li Yu was a bit dejected. After all, if she didn't do well on the college entrance exams, she would have to go back and inherit the family fortune. From the starting line of life, she would leap straight to the finish line. That's right, she's a little rich, miss. Her family owns more than 10 restaurant chains. But unfortunately, this girl is a study maniac, like someone practicing the 9-yin manual. She has to study 12 hours a day, just wanting to taste the bitterness of life. At noon, Xia Qingwan asked me to meet at school, in front of the grocery store at the back. After waiting for about 5 minutes, Xia Qingwan slowly walked over. I handed her a bottle of mineral water. Are you a grumpy person when you just wake up? Hearing this, Xia Qingwan looked a little surprised. After a moment, she hesitated and asked, how did you know? Her morning temper is very serious, the type who finds everything annoying upon waking up, like she'd kick a dog twice if it walked past. I sighed. So Zhang Yao inherited it from you. She was mad at me this morning. I didn't even dare to make a peep. Seeing Xia Qingwan's silence, I said in the most polite tone I could muster, this habit isn't really a good one. Xia Qingwan seemed displeased. I was born this way. It can't be fixed. If you don't like it but still marry me, then you deserve to put up with my moody temper. Afterwards, I suggested she come home to see Zhang Yao. Xia Qingwan hesitated for a moment. Going to his house on our second meeting? Although she was a bit conflicted, she didn't feel too opposed to it. After all, if she didn't truly love me in the future, she absolutely wouldn't have married me. So she nodded in agreement. We'll come back early. I still have homework I haven't finished. A few minutes later, the two of us were sitting next to each other in the last row of the bus. Xia Qingwan took a deep breath and took a notebook out of her bag. I've thought about it after I went home. A lot of things related to Zhang Yao. As she spoke, she pointed to the first item with the tip of her pen. First of all, the most important thing is, you have to record all the money spent on Zhang Yao. You'll be responsible for half of that amount. I don't have much pocket money, but I will definitely pay you back. Seeing her serious expression, I was a little surprised. After hesitating for 2 seconds, I still said, actually, you don't need to give me this money. I'm Zhang Yao's father. It's normal to earn money to support my wife and child. Hearing that, Xia Qingwan's cheeks flushed red. She glared fiercely at me. Don't talk nonsense. Who's your wife? I gave a dry laugh. Please continue. I'm living with my family right now, so I can't tell them about this, so Zhang Yao can probably only stay at your place. Maybe when I go to university, I can move out on my own. Xia Qingguan was a little embarrassed, as if with Zhang Yao's matters, she couldn't help at all and had to rely on me for everything in the end. I waved my hand. It's no big deal. But Zhang Yao really wants to see you. Try to make time for her every day. Xia Qingguan pressed her lips together, and only after a while did she slowly nod. Then she brought up the most important issue. Also, Zhang Yao's identity. To integrate into this society and grow up like other normal little girls, she needs an identity. I closed my eyes, rubbing my head with one hand, while contemplating this issue. Xia Qingguan didn't disturb me either, lowering her gaze to the notebook in her hands. She had never read any science fiction novels, so her concept of time was only at the most basic level. If life followed its normal course, she would marry me someday in the future, and then give birth to Zhang Yao. But now that Zhang Yao has returned from the future, she and I have gotten to know each other early. So has the trajectory of our lives been changed? Will we still get married and give birth to Zhang Yao in the future? Wouldn't there be two Zhang Yaos then? Xia Qingguan couldn't figure it out. Her mind was a mess. A moment later, I opened my eyes. Zhang Yao. They'll figure out a way for her identity. Xia Qingguan came back to her senses, her expression still dazed. Will it be very troublesome? I shook my head. A little. In general, I'll handle it. You don't need to think too much about it. Compared to me, Xia Qingguan felt that she, as Zhang Yao's mother, wasn't fulfilling her duty at all. So, feeling a bit wronged, she took out 1,000 yuan. Here's the money for the paternity test. I'm giving it to you. I didn't refuse either. I took it directly. Very quickly, the bus arrived at the stop. When I opened the door, the petite girl, like a little fairy, ran out from the room. When she saw Xia Qingguan, Zhang Yao's eyes immediately lit up. She opened her arms wide and rushed into her embrace. Mommy, welcome home. Xia Qingguan's expression was a little unnatural, but she still couldn't help but squat down and hug the little girl. Seeing this, Zhang Yao stood on her tiptoes and planted a kiss on her mother's right cheek. Then she ran over to me and did the same thing. Looking at this scene, a very strange thought suddenly arose in Xia Qingguan's heart. A very strange thought. Why is this so much like an old married couple? Entering the living room, Xia Qingguan discovered that my house was much cleaner than she had imagined. There was no sign of the sloppiness of a man living alone. On the contrary, it was kept very tidy. This made her feel much more at ease. What did Zhang Yao do at home this morning? Xia Qingguan avoided her daughter's bright gaze, asking in the gentlest tone she could manage. I watched TV. Zhang Yao hugged her mother tightly, not letting go, and waited for mom and dad to come home. I went to the kitchen to wash my hands. Glancing at the TV, the classic cartoon Pleasant Goat and Big Big Wolf was playing. I smiled. Zhang Yao, do you know what Pleasant Goat's ending is? Zhang Yao immediately pressed. What is it? What is it? He got eaten by Big Big Wolf. Hearing that, Zhang Yao was stunned for a long time. After a moment, her lips quickly trembled downwards, and then she burst into sobs. Seeing this, Xia Qingguan's heart ached indescribably. She quickly hugged Zhang Yao, then shot me a glare. Don't talk nonsense. Dad was lying to you. In the end, Pleasant Goat beat Big Big Wolf until he ran away. Only then did Zhang Yao cheer up. She stuck her tongue out at me with all her might. Bad daddy, go away. I couldn't help but laugh. Isn't it great to have some alone time with my daughter? When I came out of the kitchen again, the mother and daughter were already sitting on the sofa. Zhang Yao hadn't been close to her mother for many days, so she clung tightly to Xia Qingguan's arms, refusing to let go. Mommy, Zhang Yao slept with Dad yesterday. In the past, you never let me sleep with Dad. Is that so? Xia Qingguan was also a little curious about her future self. It seems she might be a rather strict mother. Zhang Yao pouted. That's right. Mommy is so stingy. You're always fighting with Zhang Yao for Dad. Hearing this, I casually chimed in. So, Zhang Yao isn't mad at Mom? Of course I am. Then Mom would ask Dad, if me and Zhang Yao fell into the water, who would you save first? I suddenly had a bad feeling. And then Dad was punished by Mom to kneel on the washboard. As she spoke, Zhang Yao held out her hands, estimating a size. It's this big, the board used for washing clothes. Hearing this, I suddenly turned my head and looked a bit warily at the school beauty Xia who was sitting on the sofa. Xia Qingguan had a look of disbelief on her face. Although there's a saying that a daughter is her father's lover from a past life, she couldn't believe her future self would be jealous of her own daughter. Noticing that I was looking at her, Xia Qingguan's face hardened as she said, What are you looking at me for? Now you know what kind of person I am, right? I nodded cautiously. I know now, but my wary gaze, as if facing an enemy, made Xia Qingguan a little angry. What do you mean by that? Do you think I'm the type of woman who, whenever she's displeased, makes her husband kneel on a washboard? I stopped talking to the mother and daughter and went back to the kitchen to prepare lunch. Xia Qingguan watched TV with Zhang Yao for a while, then went into the kitchen intending to help. I turned to look at her, preparing the shrimp I bought this morning with one hand while saying, You don't need to do anything, just stay out there and play with Zhang Yao more. But Xia Qingguan frowned. Zhang Haochen, have you ever prepared fresh seafood before? My actions paused. I know that if you put shrimp in a pot, it becomes boiled shrimp. Also, shrimp are alive before they die. Hearing this, Xia Qingwan sighed. Then, she put on an apron and pushed me aside. Seeing this, I felt a little despised by her. Zhang Yao was right after all. For now, I don't know if in this life, I and Xia Qingwan will end up together or not. But regarding my status in the family, are there already clues? Xia Qingwan knew what I was talking about. Her face stiffened, her tone cold. Then in this life, you better pay attention. Absolutely do not fall into my hands again. Otherwise, it'll make you kneel to death. Xia Qingwan was very fast and soon finished cooking. Looking at the table full of delicious food, tears of emotion streamed from the corners of Zhang Yao's mouth. Seeing this, Xia Qingwan unconsciously felt a sense of accomplishment. Taking a bite, I gave a very dishonest review. It's just so-so, almost as good as what I make. Xia Qingwan shot me a glare, then lowered her head to serve food for Zhang Yao. Zhang Yao eats slowly. Perhaps even Xia Qingwan didn't realize that when she looked at Zhang Yao, a gentle expression would unconsciously appear on her face. Not long after, she suddenly and cautiously asked, Zhang Haochen, how are your grades? I glanced at her. Just about average for university entrance. I won't fail, but I can't get much higher either. Can't compare to you, who's ranked 6th in the whole school. Oh, is that so? Xia Qingwan slowed down her eating, seemingly thinking about something. I knew what she was thinking. After a moment of silence, I sighed. All right then. Originally, I wanted to live a normal life with you two. Looks like I can only aim for a university in the same city as you. Hearing this, Xia Qingwan's eyes immediately widened. The way she looked at me was a bit strange. I frowned. Are you secretly looking down on me in your heart? Xia Qingwan looked very awkward. No. I think I should try to get into the same city as you instead. I think that would be a little simpler. I sighed. School beauty Xia, you're being a bit harsh. But you're a top student. Why would you marry someone like me who scores below 600? As soon as I finished speaking, Xia Qingwan's small face immediately puffed up. How would I know how my future self was tricked into marrying you? After lunch, the two of them played with Zhang Yao for a while longer, then prepared to go to school. The little girl was naturally very reluctant to see them go. Xia Qingwan coaxed her for a long time and promised to come play with her again tomorrow. Zhang Yao hugged her mother's long legs tightly and wouldn't let go. In the past, whenever mom and dad went out, they would always give Zhang Yao a kiss. Xia Qingwan had no choice but to kiss the little girl's cheek. Zhang Yao's eyes curved into crescents. Dad too. So I followed Xia Qingwan's lead and lightly touched my lips to her other cheek. Mom and Dad, you have to come back early. Zhang Yao will miss you very much. Seeing this, both of us felt a bit strange. It was as if a real married couple was heading out. On the way to school, Xia Qingwan kept frowning, looking gloomy. Zhang Yao is very understanding, but leaving her at home alone is too cruel. I thought for a moment, then spoke up. Luckily, tomorrow is the weekend. I'm planning to take Zhang Yao to my aunt's place. Facing her doubtful gaze, I began to explain. My uncle-in-law is a police officer at the station. He'll ask him a bit about Zhang Yao's situation. After saying that, I sighed. If only Zhang Yao were a little older. I could say Zhang Yao is old Mr. Zhang's illegitimate daughter, my younger sister. Xia Qingwan hesitated for a moment. I'll go with you. I didn't think much of it and agreed directly. When we got to class, Li Yuyu was sitting at her desk doing homework while Chen Hao was napping on his desk. I sat reviewing some of my wrong answers for a while and suddenly got a headache. 688 points. Even if I study like Yuyu, I still wouldn't be able to get it. Being talked about behind her back, Li Yu sensitively looked up. Hao-chin, is there really something going on between you and the great school beauty Xia? No, I'm not interested in women. But Li Yu felt that the situation was a bit off. Then what are you interested in? Making money? That's right, you. Let me ask you something. Is there any way for a high school student to make money? Li Yu was stunned. Are you that short on money? How much do you need? I'll transfer it to you right now. The lucky money and allowance from the past few years, I've saved over 200,000. Is that enough? Hearing this, I was immediately stunned. No sis, how about I become your servant instead? However, after some thought, I still shook my head and refused. It'll come to you when I'm really short. Li Yu understood my personality and smiling put her phone away. All right then, let's go for barbecue tonight, my treat. Hearing her say that, I thought for a moment. Then I'll bring someone along. My 8-year-old cousin is staying at my place these days. Li Yu had no objection. All right, after school, I'll go home and pick up Zhang Yao first. But what I didn't expect was that when she met Li Yu and Chen Hao, Zhang Yao suddenly said happily, Uncle Chen Hao, Auntie Yu, long time no see, Uncle. Why do you suddenly have hair? Hearing that, we were all stunned. Chen Hao clenched his fists. When have I ever not had hair? Besides, calling me uncle right after we meet, little girl, do you have any manners? Thinking this, he looked at me resentfully. Did you teach her that? I looked in surprise at the thick hair on Chen Hao's head. Only I knew how valuable Zhang Yao's words were. Li Yu also looked at Zhang Yao curiously. Soon after, she shook her head and said, "She doesn't really look like your cousin. This is definitely your biological sister." I breathed a sigh of relief and innocently admitted, "That's right, but she's not my biological sister either." After speaking, I squatted down and hugged Zhang Yao. "This is my daughter. Zhang Yao naturally looks like her dad." Zhang Yao also happily hugged my neck. "I love Daddy the most." Chen Hao rolled his eyes. "All right, let's go eat. What kind of nonsense are you teaching kids all day? Doesn't her real dad beat you up?" Hearing that, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. If you don't believe it, then don't. After that, we went to a newly opened shopping mall. It's been a long time since she went out with her dad. Jiang Yao was overjoyed. On the way, she kept skipping and jumping. Suddenly, she stopped, pointing at a claw machine. "Daddy, I want that." I glanced over. Inside were small, soft white rabbits. "After we eat, Dad will take you to play." Zhang Yao nodded. "Let's get two, one for Zhang Yao and one for Mom." Hearing this, I suddenly remembered that on Xie Qingwan's school bag, there was also a very small stuffed rabbit. This afternoon on the bus, she would sometimes unconsciously fidget with the toy rabbit with her hand. At this moment, Chen Hao, who was walking ahead, asked with a smile, "Little girl, who is your mom?" "Mom is just Mom." Uncle Chen Hao's question is so strange. Chen Hao's face stiffened. "Call me big brother and I'll get you a stuffed toy later." "I don't want to." Zhang Yao unhappily turned her face away. This made Li Yu unable to resist, reaching out to pinch the little girl's cheek. "Little sister, don't pay any attention to him. This uncle is not a good person. You must stay far away from him in the future." Chen Hao pouted. Right. I'm not a good person. I wonder who it was in elementary school that got bullied and came running, crying and pulling on my sleeve, calling me brother Chen Hao. Li Yu became flustered. How many years ago was that? I was young and naive back then. Watching the two of them bicker, Zhang Yao carefully whispered in my ear, "Daddy, do Uncle and Auntie still fight every day? I wonder if Dad will have to be the judge later." Hearing that, I looked ahead with a strange feeling. Fight every day? Could it be that these two still stick together even after graduating from university? Sure enough, when we sat down at the barbecue restaurant, Zhang Yao suddenly frowned. "Auntie, why didn't Ming Ming come today?" Li Yu was puzzled. "Who is Ming Ming?" Zhang Yao was taken aback. "She's the daughter of Uncle Chen Hao and Auntie Yu. She's my best friend." Hearing this, Chen Hao, who was drinking water, almost choked on the spot. Li Yu was also startled. She immediately glared at me with a hint of anger. "What on earth do you usually teach this child?" I embarrassedly held out my hands. "I really didn't teach her that." Li Yu imagined such a scene and shuddered involuntarily. "Don't disgust me. Seeing his face every morning, I would throw up." Chen Hao glanced at her. "Pfft, lots of girls are chasing after me. Who would want you?" Li Yu. You nodded again. "That's right, so you should be careful yourself. After all, you're old and ugly. They're probably just lacking a father figure." Chen Hao laughed, just about to say something, but seeing Zhang Yao opposite him, still swallowed all the curses. In the end, he gave a thumbs up. Awesome. Until we ate, the two of them still hadn't reconciled, both eating coldly. After we finished, I went to the claw machine as promised, to get a stuffed rabbit for Jiang Yao. Jiang Yao hugged the two soft stuffed rabbits, unable to resist rubbing her face against them. Afterwards, the two of us said goodbye to them and walked home hand in hand. I patted my daughter's head. Is what Jiang Yao said true? Uncle Chen Hao and Auntie Li Yu have a daughter named Mumu. Jiang Yao happily pulled the rabbit's ears. That's right, Mumu is my best friend. Hearing that, I felt a little worried. Could those futures change because of Jiang Yao's appearance? However, on second thought, I felt relieved. Such an unbelievable thing like time travel has already happened, so what's the point of overthinking it? Other people get systems and support items, but a shameless time traveler like Zhang Yao would be kicked out of the group if placed next to them. The next morning, at 8:30 a.m., Xie Qingwan was already at my door. I scratched my slightly messy hair. You're here so early? Zhang Yao isn't awake yet. Come in first. Stepping into the living room, Xie Qingwan immediately saw on the sofa 2 white stuffed rabbits. She stared at them for a long time before reluctantly looking away. Seeing this, I casually picked one of them up and placed it in Xie Qingwan's hands. For you. Zhang Yao said you like rabbits too, so she insisted I get one for you. Hearing this, Xie Qingwan blankly hugged the rabbit, a little flustered. I didn't pay much attention to her expression and went into the room to get ready, to wake our daughter up. Only then did Xie Qingwan lower her head, looking at the stuffed rabbit in her hands. A gentle tenderness flickered in her eyes. It's so cute. Actually, it had been a very long time since anyone had given her a small stuffed rabbit. The rabbit on her school bag was still the one her mother bought for her when she was in kindergarten, bought from a street stall, and hung on her school bag herself. Every time Xie Qingwan pulled the rabbit's ears, she could still remember what her mother looked like. After breakfast, Zhang Yao, with a puffed-up face, lay in Xie Qingwan's arms like a pouting pufferfish. Xie Qingwan was a bit embarrassed. Her world-weary expression this early in the morning was really no different from her biological mother's, so she lowered her head and patted her daughter's head. Is Zhang Yao not happy to see her mom? Pouting your lips so high like this isn't pretty at all. Who would have thought Zhang Yao's next words would make her a little angry? Not happy. Mom, you were noisy and I couldn't sleep. Seeing that, I gave her a half smile. I told you, this kid gets very cranky in the morning. I don't know who she gets it from. Xia Qingwan's face stiffened. After a long while, she finally said in a strained, cold voice, "Then you'd better remember this. In the future, when you're looking for a wife, absolutely do not find someone with a morning temper." I lowered my head to pack my school bag. Fine. I'll set a family rule in the future. Whoever dares to be grumpy with me in the morning will get a spanking on their bottom. Xia Qingwan snorted coldly. "Zhang Yao," Dad said, "he's going to spank your bottom." I immediately denied it. I couldn't bear to spank Zhang Yao. Xia Qingwan's small face stiffened again. When she finally reacted, her face immediately flushed red. It wasn't until half an hour later that Zhang Yao recovered from her just-woken-up state. She lay in Xia Qingwan's arms, giggling non-stop. Meanwhile, I was squatting beside them, putting the game console and scattered discs into a box and then into my school bag. "You two play for a little while longer. I'm going out for a bit. You'll be right back." Xia Qingwan was stunned. "Where are you going?" "To sell the game console and the discs. The college entrance exam is coming up. I won't have time to play anymore. While they're still worth some money, I'll sell them quickly." Xia Qingwan didn't know much about boys' electronics, so she didn't think much of it when I said that. It wasn't until she heard the door close that she belatedly realized something. "Zhang Yao, does your dad like playing games a lot?" Zhang Yao nodded vigorously. "He loves them. We have a lot of game consoles at home. Dad has to wipe them with a cloth several times a day. Zhang Yao's favorite thing is to sit on Dad's lap and watch him play games." Hearing this, Xia Qingwan looked at the empty coffee table, saying nothing. It really was because of Zhang Yao. He clearly likes it a lot, but he deliberately pretended in front of me that he didn't care that much. Xia Qingwan had never truly understood me. Because her mother died early, Xia Qingwan had actually always been quite indifferent towards feelings. But now she suddenly felt that, regardless of his attitude towards her now, at least in Zhang Yao's world, Xia Qingwan must have really loved me very much. Thinking of this, Xia Qingwan gently pinched her daughter's cheek. "Zhang Yao, don't be mad at Dad when you wake up in the morning anymore, okay?" "Okay?" Hearing that, Zhang Yao's little face immediately scrunched up. She didn't want to be mad at Dad either, but she just gets so annoyed when she wakes up in the morning. Right after, she held out her pinky finger. "Then let's make a pinky promise, Mom and Zhang Yao. In the future, Zhang Yao and Mom, no matter how grumpy we get when we wake up in the morning, let's not be mad at Dad, okay?" Xia Qingwan was stunned for a moment, her mood suddenly becoming indescribably complex. After a long while, she finally held out her finger to make a pinky promise with her daughter. Half an hour later, I came back. Looking at the mother and daughter sitting on the sofa watching TV, "What did you two talk about?" Hearing my voice, Zhang Yao jumped off the sofa and threw herself into my arms. "It's a secret. Dad, Zhang Yao and Mom just made a pinky promise. Can't be changed for 100 years. I looked at Xia Qingwan, but she also turned her head away. Only her ears were inexplicably getting hot. "It's a secret that can't be told to Dad." I paused for a moment and didn't ask further. "Let's go. Let's go buy clothes for Zhang Yao first. We'll see your aunt in the afternoon." After leaving the house, I chose the nearest shopping mall and walked ahead holding my phone. Looking at the balance in my Alipay, the game console and discs were all in very good condition. I sold them for a total of over 3,000 yuan. That should be enough for living expenses. Even after buying clothes for Zhang Yao, there will still be a lot left over. But Zhang Yao will definitely have to go to school later. I calculated in my head, so I seemed a bit quiet. Meanwhile, Xia Qingwan was walking behind, holding Zhang Yao's hand, with a rarely seen gentle expression. Seeing her happy daughter, her mood also became inexplicably happy. However, what she didn't expect was to run into her stepsister, Xia Qiang here. Next to her was a group of middle school girls, all dressed very stylishly. But when she saw Zhang Yao holding Xia Qingwan's hand and me standing beside her, her expression suddenly turned displeased. "Xia Qingwan, if you were coming to the mall, you should have just told Mom you were going out with friends. Why did you have to lie and say you were going to the library?" Xia Qingwan gave a perfunctory then lowered her eyes, saying nothing. It's just that the hand holding Zhang Yao's tightened a little, but Xia Qiang continued to press. "Sis, who is he, and where did this kid come from?" Zhang Yao glanced at her and immediately buried her face in her mother's side, seeming a little unhappy. Xia Qingwan didn't show much expression and said softly, "A friend. I'm just asking. Stingy, don't worry. I won't tell Mom and Dad." Disbelief was clear on Xia Qiang's face, and she continued to pester with great interest. Mainly because in all these years, it was the first time she had seen Xia Qingwan hanging out with a male classmate. Xia Qingwan was silent. Slowly, the middle school girls with Xia Qiang all sensed that the relationship between these two sisters was very delicate. Xia Qiang was in an extremely bad mood, and she clicked her tongue softly. "Do you have to keep being like this? We're family after all. You don't have to hide things from us all the time." Are you always going to be sulking at mom and me? Xia Qingwan found her words a little amusing. To be fair, she didn't hate this stepsister. After all, it's normal for a stepmother to love her own biological daughter, so she would help with some chores around the house and never fought over anything growing up. But Xia Qiong and her stepmother didn't like her. Thinking this, Xia Qingwan took a deep breath. Actually, it's fine if you tell them. I'm 18 this year, I'm an adult. I can have my own life and friends. Xia Qiong's lips trembled, not knowing what to say. In the end, she just stomped her foot angrily. Then do whatever you want. I can't be bothered with you. With a personality like yours, no wonder mom and dad don't like you. No one likes you either. Xia Qingwan said nothing, but I, who was still on my phone, looked up at Xia Qiong. Don't be so venomous. You're so young, yet you act like a nagging old woman. Aren't you ashamed? What did you say? Xia Qiong's face immediately turned red. Sis, who is he? Saying that, she reached out to push me, but I didn't budge at all. Instead, she staggered back a step. I wasn't angry either. I just reached out and patted her shoulder. Get along with your sister in the future. Don't bully her all the time, you hear me? As I spoke, my expression gradually turned cold. Back when I was in middle school, when I was bullying others, you probably didn't even know where to play with mud. Xia Qiong's heart tightened under my gaze, and she subconsciously took a step back. Seeing that, I slowly smiled. See, isn't that better? Be a good girl and listen, and your sister will buy you tasty snacks later. All right, it's no big deal. Go play with your friends. Hearing my tone like I was scolding a child, Xia Qiong wisely chose not to argue back. Yes, and then she left with her friends without another word. Seeing this, Xia Qingwan finally snapped out of it. To be honest, she was a little scared. She even thought that in the next second I would raise my hand to slap Xia Qiong's face. Thinking this, she mumbled softly, "Why were you suddenly so fierce?" I held out my hands. In middle school, I used to fool around outside with Chen Hao all day. Back then, I was a stone-cold killer. But I've turned over a new leaf since then. Xia Qingwan was a little dazed. After a moment, she muttered softly, but she didn't actually curse at me just now. I glanced at her and said casually, "No." She said, "No one likes you." Xia Qingwan was stunned. A dazed look appeared on her beautiful face. "No one likes me? What are you angry about?" That sounded strange. She felt her ears belatedly getting hot again. At this moment, I continued, "Isn't she scolding Zhang Yao?" Hearing that, Xia Qingwan said, "Oh," knowing she had misunderstood. But a simmering anger suddenly welled up inside her. She couldn't help but speak out. "Then I must be really worthless for my future self to like you. I feel so embarrassed." I was stunned hearing these words. This top student Zia's train of thought. Why is it so different from a normal person's? It makes one feel foolish. After that, the two of us took Zhang Yao to the mall. We were planning to pick out some clothes for her. The mother and daughter's tastes are quite similar. The children's clothes that Xia Qingwan found pretty, Zhang Yao also really liked. "How about you all try this one on? I have a feeling it will suit you all very well." The saleswoman pointed to one side. Xia Qingwan followed her gaze. It was a set of 3 matching pajamas with cute kittens on them. At this moment, the saleswoman looked at me sitting on a chair playing on my phone. "This will really suit you all. Big brother, you should be a little more serious." Mistaken for her brother, I looked up. I immediately felt that this was not good at all. A dignified man like me, how could I possibly wear something like this? So I immediately waved my hand to refuse. "I don't want it." Hearing that, Zhang Yao beside me hugged me and started acting cute. "Daddy, Zhang Yao likes it," I frowned. "But if Daddy wears such childish clothes, Uncle Chen Hao will laugh at me." "Daddy is the best." Zhang Yao grabbed my hand, swinging it back and forth endearingly. The saleswoman standing beside us felt her heart flutter when she heard this. "You rascal, hurry up and buy it for her. You should really buy it for her." Having no other choice, I pinched her nose. Zhang Yao is so young, but she already knows these tricks. I wonder how many boys she'll trick into becoming her devoted followers when she grows up. Xia Qingwan watched Zhang Yao clinging to her father's arms. Her mood suddenly became strange. No wonder Zhang Yao said she would fight with her for Daddy in the future. She's so good at acting cute. She's even clingier than a doting girlfriend. "The 3 of you can try them on first. It's okay if you don't like them. Our store has a camera. Even if you don't buy them, it's nice to leave a photo as a souvenir." Since she said that, Xia Qingwan and I couldn't refuse anymore. Besides, ever since Zhang Yao came back from the future, we really haven't taken a picture with our daughter. 10 minutes later. I had finished changing and was standing in front of the mirror in the main hall. A moment later, Xia Qingwan led Zhang Yao out of the women's changing room. She didn't tie her hair back up. Instead, she just put the hair tie on her wrist. It made her whole aura suddenly become much more relaxed. "Stop looking at me." Xia Qingwan avoided my gaze. "It's just to make it more convenient to take this shirt off later." "That's good." I paused for a moment. "So after you marry me, wearing your hair like this at home is also to make it more convenient to take your clothes off?" Of course, these crude words that could easily make Xia Qingwan kill me on the spot, I didn't say them out loud. Seeing this, the saleswoman immediately and excitedly placed the camera on the tripod. Hurry up and come take a picture. It feels like you guys aren't just playing house, but are actually a real family. The three of them stood before the camera, captured in a perfectly composed photograph. Very quickly, the saleswoman sent the photo to both of their WeChats. I looked at the photo on my phone. I didn't say anything, but in the end, I still bought the matching outfits. Xia Qingwan received it too. It's just that she felt a little hesitant in her heart. Did I look that happy when the picture was taken? After thinking for a moment, she created a new album on her phone. Then she put the photo in it. Then she named the album Zhang Yao. After finishing these things, she turned off her phone screen and put it in her bag. But when she looked up, she saw me walking ahead. One hand was holding the hand of a cheerfully skipping Zhang Yao. The other hand was carrying all the things we bought for our daughter. This scene made Xia Qingwan stare blankly. After being stunned for 2 seconds, she took out her phone again. She slowly deleted the 2 words, Zhang Yao, and changed it to Zhang Yao and Zhang Haochen. After lunch, the 3 of us arrived at an apartment complex. Xia Qingwan instructed me, when we get there, just say that Zhang Yao is my younger sister. It's me asking you for a favor. In short, don't let your aunt and uncle find out about this. I nodded. Don't worry. After saying that, I went to ring the doorbell. Soon after, Aunt Zhang Lingling opened the door. She poked my cheek with her finger. Haochen, why did you suddenly think of visiting your aunt? Do you want your aunt to take you out to play? I looked helpless. Auntie, how old are you already? Stop acting like a little girl all the time. Zhang Lingling put her hands on her hips. Just as she was about to retort, she saw the big and small beauties standing behind me. She didn't even have time to think about the relationship between Xia Qingwan and me, when she saw the little girl giggling at her. So Daddy brought me to see Grand Auntie. Seeing the deep dimples on the little girl's face, Zhang Lingling's expression gradually stiffened. Why does this little girl look so much like a child of our Zhang family? Thinking this, her face immediately darkened. Your father's child? My eyes lit up. Auntie, what are you thinking? My dad could produce such a beautiful child? Hearing that, Zhang Lingling's expression gradually improved. That's true. Then who are they? I put on a serious face. She's my friend, and that's her little sister. Auntie, I came to see you today for something important. Don't just leave us standing at the door. Seeing this, Zhang Lingling hurriedly stepped aside and led us into the house. Soon, Xia Qingwan, holding Zhang Yao's hand, sat quietly on the sofa, only daring to stare at the tips of her shoes. Have some water, you two. Zhang Lingling had a smile on her face. This girl is really too beautiful. Haochen really knows how to pick a girlfriend. Thank you, Auntie Zhang. Xia Qingwan was very shy, just like a girl visiting her boyfriend's house for the first time. Seeing this, Zhang Lingling immediately found an excuse to take me into another room, leaving space for Xia Qingwan to relax. After we left, Zhang Yao finally couldn't help but blink her big round eyes. Mommy, why didn't you let Zhang Yao call her Grand Auntie? Grand Auntie is very nice to me. Xia Qingwan patted her head. Because right now, Grand Auntie isn't your Grand Auntie yet. It won't be for another 10-odd years. When Zhang Yao grows up, you'll understand, coming to an environment that is both familiar and strange is Zhang Yao's misfortune. She knows everyone, but the people who once loved her don't know her at all. On the other side, Zhang Lingling looked at me inquisitively. Tell me, who are those two, the big one and the little one? I waved my hand and looked at her very sincerely. Auntie, you might not believe this if I tell you, that little girl is my daughter. Zhang Lingling immediately glared at me. Go play somewhere else. I check on you every week. When she was born, you hadn't even started puberty yet. I scratched my head in embarrassment. When I was little, you really did like to pull down my pants. At this point, Zhang Lingling put her hands on her hips and continued to interrogate me. So who is that little girl? Hurry up and say she's Xia Qingwan's little sister. She was kidnapped by human traffickers not long after she was born and was only recently found. She doesn't have a household registration, so she can go to school, you know? Isn't Uncle Meng at the police station? She asked me to come and ask. Hearing this, Zhang Lingling immediately grabbed my ear. What Uncle Meng? Don't be so disrespectful. He's your uncle now. I was also annoyed, but I used to call him Uncle Meng. I can't change the habit. Auntie, you're an old cow grazing on young grass. My uncle's name is Meng Yufei. He's 7 years younger than my aunt because he's handsome and has a very good personality, so all the kids in the neighborhood really like this gentle big brother. Then, somehow, these two fell for each other, creating a real-life version of a May-December romance. Below this is a short film, My Buddy's Aunt. After I finished speaking, Zhang Lingling's face immediately flushed red. What do you mean, an old cow grazing on young grass? Matters of love. What does a kid like you know? With that, she waved her hand and quickly changed the subject. But since it's her family's business, why are you so concerned about it? I held out my hand. Don't ask about a simp's business, Auntie. Hearing this, Zhang Lingling looked at me with a somewhat strange expression. Seeing that, I said helplessly, all right, fine. She's my girlfriend. Zhang Lingling's expression relaxed, Wouldn't it have been easier if you just said so from the start? Heo-chin, you have a bright future, having such a beautiful girlfriend. That's right, I remember you're about to take the college entrance exams, aren't you? I knew what she was thinking. I hurriedly shushed her. So don't tell my parents. Auntie, when you go out later, don't say anything rash either. A girl has her pride. If it weren't for her little sister, she wouldn't have come here today. Zhang Lingling hummed in agreement. Only then did she start thinking seriously. But no matter how I look at her, she still looks like a child of our Zhang family. Hearing that, I quickly said, right? I also feel a special connection with her. So auntie, can this matter be resolved? Zhang Lingling didn't answer, but frowned instead, and continued to ask, then where are the girl's family members? Why is it just the older sister bringing her younger sister here? I sighed. Her mother passed away, her father remarried, the stepmother is a bit. Don't you understand, auntie? Then that little girl is really pitiful, but is there anything that can prove the little girl's identity? I shook my head, although there's a DNA test report, but we can't just show it to anyone. Seeing this, Zhang Lingling said with certainty, there's nothing, then it definitely can't be done. There's no need to ask your uncle about this. Then, with my aunt's further explanation, I roughly understood. There's really no way to solve this right now. When the two of them walked out of the room, Xia Qingwan was still sitting primly on the sofa. Seeing the aunt and nephew come out, she got a little tense. As for Zhang Yao, because she had been waiting for a while, she had buried her face in her mother's lap and fallen asleep. Seeing this, I lowered my voice and said, Auntie, there's one more thing. Aren't you a language teacher at Zhaoyang Elementary School? Can this little girl attend school first? At this age, she can't just stay at home all the time. Zhang Lingling shook her head. No, a guardianship certificate is also required. Besides, I'm on leave right now. I haven't been to school for almost a week. With that, she rubbed her flat stomach. Her face was full of happiness. I'm pregnant. I'm sorry, dear. I probably can't help you. I've also troubled you to make a trip for nothing. It's okay. Xia Qingguan's voice became a little quieter. Well, think of another way. Seeing this, the curiosity in Zhang Lingling's heart grew even stronger. Why does it feel like these two are really raising a child? Why do I feel like I'm talking to my niece-in-law? At this moment, I spoke up. Auntie, I just told you about her family situation. How about this? You happen to be a teacher. During the day, you can help her learn to read and write, and take her out to play. Well, come pick her up in the evening. Zhang Lingling didn't even need to think. She agreed immediately. It just so happens that your uncle is usually very busy. I have nothing to do at home by myself anyway. But as she spoke, her eyes never left Xia Qingguan, who was sitting on the sofa. It was as if these words were meant for her. Feeling her aunt's gaze, Xia Qingguan's earlobes slowly turned red. She felt that ever since they went out, the way Zhang Lingling looked at her was a bit off. Thinking this, she lowered her eyes. She said softly, Thank you, Auntie Zhang. Zhang Lingling just smiled. You're welcome. I'm very good with kids, don't you worry. Just then, Meng Yufei walked in from outside, carrying several bags. Hey Ochin, you're here? Stay for dinner tonight. I smiled. Uncle Meng, congratulations. You're about to become a father in a flash. I'm waiting to hold your baby. Meng Yufei was about to reply when he suddenly noticed Xia Qingyuan and her daughter on the sofa. He was a little puzzled. Are you He Ochin's friends? Xia Qingyuan slowly replied. Hello, sir. Auntie, we'll be leaving now. We still have a test paper to finish. You'll bring Zhang Yao over tomorrow morning. Hearing this, I picked up the soundly asleep Zhang Yao and left. After seeing us off, Zhang Lingling roughly explained our purpose to Meng Yufei. Meng Yufei found it ridiculous. No way. I have to drag that kid back and get to the bottom of this. Not to mention that girl, Zhang Haochin, is about to take his college entrance exams. What's with dating at a time like this? Zhang Lingling grabbed his arm, a little angry. Get back here. Haochin is already an adult. What's the big deal? Besides, we were also students when we were dating. After saying that, Zhang Lingling turned and pinched her husband's ear. You'd run over and crawl into my bed on weekends. How come I didn't see the police arrest you? Officer Meng Yufei said hurriedly. His whole face flushed red. That's not the same. Weren't you the one who initiated it? On the way back, I repeated my aunt's words to Xia Qingyuan. Don't overthink it. It's not that it can't be done. It's just that the time isn't right yet. You're such a good student. You can get into the best universities in the country. Don't let this affect you. Xia Qingyuan glanced at me. What about you? I chuckled. So the top student from a prestigious university is looking down on a regular bachelor's degree holder. Hearing this, Xia Qingyuan turned her head away, not wanting to pay attention to me anymore. But a moment later, she turned her head back. Her voice was cold. After we get home, give me your last monthly test paper. When we got home, it was already 4 p.m. The little girl was still drowsy. I decisively put her on the bed. Xia Qingyuan didn't waste any time either, taking my test paper. She examined it very carefully. After a while, her expression finally relaxed. Fortunately, it's just English and literature that aren't very good. With a little time, they can be improved. Thinking this, she stood up. She put my test paper into her school bag. I'll take this test paper home to review it carefully first. When I get back, you'll pick out some exercises for you. He'll give them to you on Monday. Hearing this, I, who was distractedly scrolling on my phone, finally looked up. Xia Qingyuan. Why do you care about my grades? What if your grades drop because of it? Xia Qingyuan paused her packing. Then let them drop a little. If they're too high, I'm afraid you won't be able to catch up. My expression froze for a moment. A moment later, I laughed. Then there's no need. Didn't I manage to win you over even with a score in the 500s? Xia Qingyuan huffed softly. I was talking about the scores. After saying that, she slung her canvas bag over her shoulder and left. 10 minutes later, Xia Qingyuan sat alone at the back of the bus. She looked at the stuffed bunny in her hands. She was in a bit of a daze. Everything that had happened these past few days left her almost unable to process it all. In Zhang Yao's stories, her future was so beautiful that it would make any girl envious. So much so that she still felt it wasn't real. She also didn't know if I, the person she might fall in love with at 27 or 28, was really the boy she would fall in love with no matter what age she met him. But Xia Qingyuan was still very happy about it. Xia Qingyuan pinched the stuffed animal's ears. Mom, so many years have passed, and besides you, someone else has given me a little rabbit. Half an hour later, Xia Qingyuan stood at the door for a while. Then she took the key from her pocket to open the door. But as soon as she stepped inside, she felt that the atmosphere was a bit off. Only her stepmother, Xiao Ziking, was sitting alone in the living room. The door to Xia Qiang's room was tightly closed. The TV volume was also very low. Hearing the door open, Xiao Ziking turned to look at her. Yuan, come and sit here. Xia Qingyuan hesitated for a moment. In the end, she obediently sat down on the sofa. Xiao Ziking muted the TV completely. Then she looked her nominal eldest daughter up and down. I remember you said you were going to the library to study this morning, but your sister came back this afternoon and said, you actually went out with a boy. Xia Qingyuan didn't deny it. She nodded in response. Actually, she knew. If she didn't admit it, Xiao Ziking probably wouldn't be interested in pursuing it. But for some reason, Xia Qingyuan didn't want to hide things about me. Xiao Ziking also didn't expect her to admit it. She rarely fell silent. She paused for a long time before continuing. I heard from Qiong, that boy doesn't seem very decent. Yuan, how could you be friends with that kind of boy? No, he's not an indecent kind of boy. Xia Qingyuan's tone was uncharacteristically serious, not her usual timidity. Xiao Ziking frowned. She was unhappy with her attitude. I haven't told your father about this yet. Don't make him worry. You're not allowed to see him anymore, understand? You're a very good student, you're very stable, and you're an adult now. You have the ability to see clearly who is suitable to be friends with. This time, Xiao Ziking was really a little angry. Can't this child listen to reason? I'm doing this because I'm afraid you'll be deceived. Do you know that? After the college entrance exams, you can go wherever you want, but not now. Mom, I am not your mother. I have no obligation to indulge you in everything, you know? Xiao Ziking was in a fit of anger. Without thinking, she blurted it out, but after saying it, she suddenly realized those words were extremely inappropriate. Her lips moved. In the end, she didn't say anything more. Then the two of them just sat silently on the sofa. Besides the silent images on the TV, everything seemed to be on pause. Finally, Xia Qingyuan stood up, holding her school bag. Auntie, please don't be angry. Please take care of your health. When I take the college entrance exams, I will definitely not embarrass you and Dad, staring at her form of address, from Mom to Auntie. Xiao Ziking wanted to say something, but the words got stuck in her throat. She knew that her earlier words had truly hurt the other person deeply. She just watched helplessly as Xia Qingyuan walked into her own room. Then she gently closed the door. Actually, it wasn't that Xiao Ziking had never thought of treating her well, to raise her as her own biological daughter. But every time Xiao Ziking saw her increasingly beautiful face, she would be reminded of her deceased mother. A long while later, she let out a sigh. Yuan is a very good child, but she is not my daughter. It's been so many years. I just can't bring myself to love her. What can I do? In the evening, it took me 4 hours to explain to Zhang Yao about time travel, to explain it clearly. I even showed her many episodes of Doraemon. So the next morning, when I asked Zhang Yao, she said excitedly, Zhang Yao knows him Doraemon, who came from the future in a time machine to help Mom and Dad fulfill their dreams. Except for Mom and Dad, I won't tell anyone. I smiled and nodded, then led her towards my aunt's house. When we got inside, Zhang Lingling glanced behind me strangely. Why are you alone? Where's that other girl? I said calmly. Her house is very far, so last night she asked me to look after her. Little Grandma Zhang Yao called out. Good morning. Hearing Zhang Yao's call, Zhang Lingling was a little surprised. Did you teach her that? I smiled and explained. I didn't know what to have her call you, so I just had her call you what my daughter would. Zhang Lingling thought for a moment and didn't mind. This way of addressing me sounds quite nice. Moreover, she felt a natural affection for this little girl. Zhang Yao, you play with little grandma today, okay? You have to be good. Dad will come pick you up tonight. Zhang Yao softly replied, okay, then obediently went to Zhang Lingling's side and took her hand. Auntie, you can also take the opportunity to teach her to read and write a little. She's at the age for elementary school. Zhang Lingling smiled and nodded, and when she looked down, she saw the little girl was also looking up at her. Noticing her little grandma's gaze, Zhang Yao smiled sweetly. Little grandma, Zhang Yao is a very good student. The teachers give me little flowers every day. Hearing this, Zhang Lingling couldn't help but turn to stare at me. Wasn't she kidnapped by traffickers? And she even went to school? I spread my hands awkwardly. I guess the traffickers also know the importance of compulsory education. Zhang Lingling glared at me. I think you're the one who's like a trafficker. All right, hurry up and go to school. After I left, my aunt smiled and looked at the little girl. Zhang Yao, what's your full name? Little grandma, my name is Zhang Yao. Hearing this, Zhang Lingling's eyes widened immediately. Zhang Yao's surname is also Jiang? Thinking this, she carefully looked at the little girl in front of her again. The more she looked, the more the girl resembled me when I was little, and her eyes resembled the girl who came with him the other day. Thinking of a certain possibility, Zhang Lingling suddenly felt it was absurd. Meanwhile, on the other side, as soon as I got back to school, I received a message from Xia Qingyuan. I probably can't come over to your place this week. Please help me apologize to Zhang Yao. I thought for a moment and figured it wasn't a big deal. After all, she's the top student of the rocket class. It's normal for her to be a little busy. I've picked out some exercise sets for you, along with some things I've organized. You can take a look. I'll give them to you when I'm free. A top student is a top student. Absolutely no procrastination at all. Thinking this, I typed a reply. After school. Xia Qingyuan replied immediately. No, my dad is picking me up today. I was a bit puzzled. We're already in high school and she still needs her parents to pick her up? Right after, my expression changed to one of understanding. Her stepsister must have gone home and said some nonsense. Thinking this, I replied again. I'll ask a female classmate to get it then. After saying that, I didn't wait for her reply and put my phone away immediately. But when I looked up, I saw Li Yu at the next desk staring at me with a fiery gaze. Seeing me look back, she scratched her head awkwardly. I didn't mean to. I wanted to ask you about a few math problems. You were so focused, I couldn't help but look a few times. I waved my hand. It's okay, as long as that fussy old Auntie Chen Hao doesn't see it. Although Li Yu knew peeking was wrong, when she saw the recipient's name was Xia Qingyuan, she couldn't look away. It was mainly that sentence, I probably can't come over this week. Li Yu felt that if she kept reading, there might be something not suitable for children. At this moment, I spoke up. Nuna, can you help me go upstairs and find Xia Qingyuan? She has something she wants to give me. Li Yu frowned. Have you slept together already? The moment the words left my mouth, I knew it was bad. I quickly corrected myself. No, we're just normal friends. But Li Yu clearly didn't believe me. If you're just normal friends, then I'll tell Chen Hao. I panicked. Don't, Li. Yu gave a sly smile. So not just normal friends? Seeing this, I quickly played my trump card. Nuna, don't worry about the affairs of a simp. Li Yu immediately furrowed her brows. A simp? But I thought you two had a pretty good relationship. I answered calmly. Even simps have ranks, right? While most aren't worthy of a seat at the table, some occasionally get to eat the scraps. Although it seemed absurd, but Li Yu still kindly reminded Heochin. A simp and a prince consort sitting at the same table, you should know your place. I've told him the same thing. He won't listen. And if the girl finds out that I'm simping, I'll die of embarrassment. Hearing this, Li Yu's face darkened as she returned to her seat. Could you be any more shameless? But in the end, she was still very generous and helped. However, when she saw the workbook Xia Qingyuan gave her, she couldn't help but nag. This really isn't necessary at all. If you two want to go to the same university, it's useless for Haochin to try. Xia Qingyuan was silent. She had also been secretly observing this girl just now. Finally, she couldn't help but ask, Are you a friend of Zhang Haochin? Li Yu smiled and nodded. You could say we're childhood friends. We've known each other since elementary school, but Haochin has really changed a bit recently, Li Yu said with a sigh. He rarely studied before, he'd just sleep through morning self-study. I don't know why, but these past few days, he's been reading and studying vocabulary as soon as he arrives. Hearing this, Xia Qingyuan said nothing, but she unconsciously curved her lips into a smile. Perhaps he was spurred on by my words, fearing he wouldn't be able to keep up. Soon after, Li Yu prepared to leave. Before she left, she looked at Xia Qingyuan with a bit of admiration and longing. Beautiful, smart, and on top of that, legs so long that even a girl would be envious. She immediately gritted her teeth. Damn it, Zhang Haochin, you bastard! Over the next few days, Xia Qingyuan really didn't come to my house anymore. She just frequently prepared some exercises, as well as important concepts she thought were necessary, and asked Li Yu to bring them to me. Occasionally after school, I would see her below the academic building, looking a bit tired, as if her family was keeping a very tight rein on her. But she would call every evening to hear Zhang Yao's voice. Little grandma, today they taught Zhang Yao how to write mom and dad's names. Xia Qingyuan looked at the photo on WeChat. It was a child's neat but clumsy handwriting. You could tell Zhang Yao must have practiced for a long time. Her voice couldn't help but soften. Zhang Yao is so good, But Zhang Haochen, won't your aunt be suspicious? I chuckled. It's fine. My aunt asked a few things, but Zhang Yao is very smart. She didn't reveal anything. But after saying that, I scratched my head a little. It's just that on the first evening I went to pick up Zhang Yao, my aunt's gaze was a bit subtle and hesitant. Xie Qingwan saved the photo, adding it to her private photo album. Just then, Zhang Yao sniffled. Mommy, when are you coming to see Zhang Yao? I miss you so much. Mommy misses Zhang Yao very much too. Can you give Mommy a little more time? Xie Qingwan's voice grew softer. She didn't know how to comfort her daughter. About what happened that Saturday, her father had talked to her once. His tone wasn't harsh, but the meaning behind his words was still that he hoped before she went to university, she wouldn't get too close to boys. Zhang Haochen. Just as Xie Qingwan was about to say more, her father, Xie Qiming, knocked on the door from outside. Qingwan, you should rest early. It's late. Don't be on the phone anymore. If there's anything, talk about it tomorrow morning. Hearing that, I whispered, hang up. Zhang Yao is doing great here with me. You take care of yourself. After saying that, I hung up first. Xie Qingwan then put her phone down, turned her head and replied, yes, Dad. This tense life continued for exactly 1 week, until that Friday evening Xie Qingwan came home from school, but found the living room empty. She longed to hear Zhang Yao's voice, but since yesterday, I hadn't replied to any of her messages and even her calls went unanswered. Can I come visit Zhang Yao this weekend? But there was still no reply from my end. This made Xie Qingwan a little uneasy. Just then, Xie Qiming called her. Qingwan, are you home yet? Today is your birthday. Your present is on your desk. Happy birthday. Xie Qiming's voice seemed a little tired. It was only then that Xie Qingwan belatedly remembered that today seemed to be her birthday. Thanks, Dad. Afterwards, after a bit of asking, Xie Qingwan learned they had gone to the hospital to take care of her stepsister's maternal grandmother and would be back very late. After hanging up the phone, Xie Qingwan returned to her room. She first put the white sneakers she received as a gift into the shoe cabinet, then picked up her phone again. There was still no reply in the chat window. She typed another message. Can I come over now? After sending this message, Xie Qingwan had no mind for anything else, sitting on her bed hugging her knees, staring blankly at the phone in front of her. The recent mental strain had left her a bit exhausted, and she unconsciously leaned against the headboard and fell asleep. When she was awakened by the ringing of her phone, the sky outside the window was completely dark. Her eyes were half open, and she groggily picked up the incessantly vibrating phone. What are you doing? On the phone, I tutted indifferently. What are you doing? Xie Qingwan calls you, and you don't even pick up? Xie Qingwan rubbed her eyes hard, feeling as if I had just scolded her. She was a little unhappy. I just accidentally fell asleep. You're the one who kept ignoring my messages. What time is it? Hurry up and get up. Zhang Yao, hold on a little tighter. Don't wobble when you walk. Immediately after, from the other end of the line came the voice of a soft and slightly pouty Zhang Yao. I know. I continued to ask her, can you come out now? Hearing this, Xie Qingwan lay on her stomach on the bed, a dazed look on her face. Where are you two? I chuckled. Hurry up, wash your face, get dressed properly, and then come downstairs to wait for us. After hanging up, Xie Qingwan got up and tidied herself up a bit, then hurried downstairs. She quickly saw me. Zhang Yao and I were sitting on a bench next to a flower bed, chatting. The pale yellow streetlight shone down, gradually lengthening our shadows, filling the air with a warm feeling. Xie Qingwan stood there staring at us in a daze. Zhang Yao immediately spotted her mother. She skipped and ran over, holding out her chubby arms. Happy birthday! I wish Mommy a happy birthday. May you be as young and beautiful as you were yesterday. Xie Qingwan almost instinctively hugged her tightly, still not having fully come to her senses. I stood to the side, holding a transparent birthday gift box in my hand. Happy birthday. I bought you this cake. Xie Qingwan said happily. How did you know today was my birthday? I smiled and explained. Zhang Yao told me. She woke up yesterday morning insisting on celebrating your birthday. She's been torturing me in all sorts of ways these past few days. Hearing this, Xie Qingwan said nothing, but she unconsciously hugged her daughter a little tighter. Zhang Yao, aren't you mad that Mommy hasn't come to see you for so long? Unexpectedly, Zhang Yao let out a puzzled, But Zhang Yao came to visit Mommy, looking at her daughter's adorable, innocent, and romantic expression. Xie Qingwan's long-suppressed emotions gradually were replaced by another feeling. It was as if something she had never dared to dream of had suddenly appeared before her eyes. Xie Qingwan's nose tingled, her lips trembled slightly, but she couldn't speak. Zhang Yao, like a little kitten, actively rubbed her soft cheek against Xie Qingwan. Mommy, you have to blow out the candles before eating the cake. With that, she took out from her pocket a small pack of colorful candles. Daddy said Zhang Yao is Doraemon, here to help Mom and Dad's dreams come true. Xie Qingwan lowered her eyes, sniffing softly. Make a wish, Mommy. Seeing this, I placed the box on the bench and opened it. Inside was a not-so-large cake, made in the shape of a rabbit head, her favorite. It looked a bit naive and strange. 2 bright red strawberries served as eyes, and a carrot was used for the nose. On the cake, frosting was scribbled to write, Happy Birthday, Xie Qingwan. It looked like Zhang Yao had written it. Xie Qingwan couldn't take her eyes off it, feeling her vision blur. She stared wide-eyed at the cake like a little girl who had just been given a new toy. A long, long time later, Xia Qingwan slowly said, "So you even know how to bake a cake?" I denied it immediately. "Don't be ridiculous, I don't. I bought it at a shop. I'm a guy. What patience do I have to bake a cake? Why did you use a carrot for the rabbit's nose? Couldn't find anything else. Didn't I just say I bought it at a shop?" Xia Qingwan laughed. What kind of shop sells such an ugly cake? She suddenly wished that everything before her could be like a movie clip, slowed down frame by frame, and then saved forever. Perhaps in the future, she would receive other birthday cakes, but she would surely never forget that, on her 18th birthday, she received a very ugly cake. I took the candle from Zhang Yao's hand, helped light it, and stuck it on the cake. Under the streetlight, candle flame was very weak, flickering, as if it could go out at any moment, but it still illuminated Zhang Yao and Xia Qingwan, who were squatting in front of the candle, along with me standing beside them. Xia Qingwan suddenly felt a little reluctant to cut it. She spoke carefully. "Jiang Haochen, can I take a picture first and then make a wish?" Of course I wouldn't refuse, telling her to take as many as she wanted. In the end, Xia Qingwan used her camera to capture this far from exquisite cake and treasured it by putting it in her private photo album. She suddenly realized that in just a short time, the number of photos in her album had grown. Zhang Yao whined, shaking her mother's arm. "Mommy, hurry and make a wish. It'll be too late if the candle goes out." Xia Qingwan finally snapped back to reality, quickly closed her eyes, made a wish she had never dared to dream of. "I want to study hard, go to a university in a place I love, and have a life that is completely my own. I want to meet someone who loves me, meet someone worth loving, and have a family that is truly mine." When she opened her eyes again, Zhang Yao had puffed up her cheeks with all her might and with a poof, helped her mom blow out the candle in front of her. She patted her little chest. That was a close call, thank goodness. It almost went out. The corners of Xia Qingwan's lips couldn't help but curl into a smile as she stroked her daughter's head, but she couldn't find any words to say. "Mommy, can Zhang Yao cut the cake?" "Okay, Zhang Yao. Be careful not to cut its eyes." A few minutes later, the mother and daughter were sitting on chairs, heads bowed, eating cake. As for me, since I don't like sweets, I just held that carrot and sat beside them, nibbling while watching them. Suddenly, I casually asked, "What did you just wish for? Let's hear it." Xia Qingwan subconsciously turned her head to look at me. "But if I say it, won't it not come true? You really think like a kindergartner." Then I let out a sleepy yawn and blurted out, "If you don't say your wish, how am I supposed to help you make it come true?" Xia Qingwan was stunned, subconsciously swallowing the piece of cake in her mouth. She suddenly felt a warmth behind her ears, and both her cheeks flushed. A moment later, she uncertainly asked in a small voice, "What did you just say?" I had already caught on. With a crunch, I bit into the carrot. I said, "If you don't say it, how can this Doraemon who came back from the future in a time machine help you make it come true?" Xia Qingwan said, "Oh," and lowered her head, silently forking a piece of cake into her mouth. The sweet, smooth flavor instantly melted. Seeing that she didn't want to say, I didn't press her any further and casually watched Zhang Yao stuff cake into her mouth. I don't know how much time passed before the girl's voice sounded in my ear. "My wish is that on my birthday next year, I can still make a wish before a candle just like now." Finally, after finishing the cake, Xia Qingwan suddenly remembered something. "Ah, Zhang Haochen, do you plan on dating when you get to university?" I was a little surprised. "Why are you asking this?" Xia Qingwan pursed her lips. "You know that Zhang Yao's appearance was an accident, but she is indeed our daughter. So before Zhang Yao is old enough to understand, I hope you won't get a girlfriend." I said nothing, just looked at her with amusement. Xia Qingwan didn't flinch and met my gaze. "Of course, I'm not trying to stop you from dating. I just hope you'll try not to make Zhang Yao sad." I nodded. "That makes sense. I can accept the way you put it." But before Xia Qingwan could even breathe a sigh of relief, I suddenly changed my tone. "But this puts me in a difficult position." Hearing this, Xia Qingwan immediately stared at me. "What difficult position? Do you want to sneak around behind Zhang Yao's back?" Seeing this, I chuckled lightly. "It's not a problem for me personally. My mom has given me a death order. I must bring a girl home to meet her during university to be the daughter-in-law of our Zhang family. Otherwise, I probably won't even be allowed home for New Year's." Xia Qingwan gasped. She always felt something was strange, but she couldn't find any flaw in my words. She had to slowly avert her gaze, remaining silent. But I wasn't going to let her off the hook just like that. "Campus Belle Xia, speak up. Help me think of something." Xia Qingwan was so annoyed she was at a loss for words. It took her a long while to say softly, "Then what should we do?" "Exactly, what should we do? How about—" As I spoke, I looked her up and down with a thoughtful expression. The muscle in Xia Qingwan's forehead twitched slightly. "How about what? Just finish your sentence." After Zhang Yao arrived, this has actually always been a rather sensitive topic, but right now, I felt like I was about to expose something. Xia Qingwan suddenly felt a little panicked inside. It took a few minutes before a voice with a sly smile sounded out. If not, how about I just bring Chen Hao home? After all, my mom has always suspected the two of us were a couple. Xia Qingwan's expression immediately turned cold. Who is Chen Hao? Of course she knew. But as soon as she turned to look, she met my teasing gaze. What were you just thinking? Only then did Xia Qingwan realize. I was just teasing her earlier. Xia Qingwan's face stiffened, and a wave of stubbornness washed over her. I wasn't thinking about anything just now. Oh, really? Then why is your face red? It's because of the cold wind? No, my face isn't red. I nodded. I guess it isn't. Then I must have seen it wrong. Xia Qingwan's face immediately darkened. How can someone so annoying exist in this world? Then she pursed her lips and took a deep breath. Zhang Yao, tell mommy the truth. Does the future me usually have domestic violence tendencies? Seeing that, I immediately cooled down. The figures gradually walked outside. Why are you even thinking about hitting someone? I was just joking with you. Xia Qingwan walked beside me, holding Zhang Yao's hand, her expression still tense. It seemed she wasn't that angry, just suddenly a bit embarrassed from my teasing. 10 odd minutes later, at the gate of the residential complex, I held Zhang Yao's hand and waved. Don't see us off any further, this is far enough. We're heading back now. You should get some rest too. After saying that, I paused for a moment, then continued. Don't let Zhang Yao worry. If anything's wrong, just tell me. Xia Qingwan nodded. Her mood really hadn't been great these past few days. I could see that, and she wasn't surprised. Then, she bent down and reached out to stroke Zhang Yao's head. Zhang Yao, you have to be good and listen to Daddy, okay? Be happy every day. Zhang Yao gave a firm, But she still couldn't bear to leave, sniffling. Mommy, can you come home tomorrow to play with Zhang Yao? Besides, Daddy will miss you a lot too. In the past, no matter how busy Daddy was with work, he would come pick you up to go home every day. Hearing this, Xia Qingwan instinctively looked up. And my fingers, which were tapping on my phone, also clearly paused for a moment. But I didn't say anything, acting as if nothing had happened, and continued replying to messages on WeChat. The corners of Zhang Yao's eyes started to turn red. Zhang Yao is obedient and well-behaved every day. It's just that I really miss Mommy. I miss you every day. Xia Qingwan's heart ached, and she couldn't help but pinch her little daughter's cheek. Zhang Yao, don't be a crybaby. Mommy promises. You'll definitely come home tomorrow. By the time we got home, it was already 9 p.m. After I helped Zhang Yao get ready for bed, I tucked her into bed. The little girl must have been tired, and soon she was fast asleep, hugging her pillow. Seeing this, I took my laptop into my room, planning to search for some ways to make money online. After all, I couldn't keep asking my mom for money every day. Luckily, I've been using computers since I was young, so helping out those foolish university students was no problem. 3 hours later, looking at the 1,000 yuan check that had entered my account, I smiled with satisfaction. There are so many poor university students nowadays. With this kind of income, raising one Zhang Yao probably won't be a big problem. The next morning, it took me a full half hour to take care of my daughter, who was pouting while brushing her teeth and washing her face. After Zhang Yao finished eating the steamed rice rolls in front of her, Xia Qingwan also arrived. I raised an eyebrow doubtfully. How were you able to come out today? My dad took my stepmother and stepsister back to our hometown. They won't be back until tomorrow. Oh right, is there anything in the fridge? I'll make something delicious for Zhang Yao for lunch. I thought for a moment. It seemed like there was nothing left in the house. I stood up, planning to go to the supermarket downstairs. I'll go with you. Let's bring Zhang Yao along too. See what she likes to eat. 10 minutes later, Zhang Yao skipped ahead. Daddy, Zhang Yao wants to eat potato chips. I smiled indulgently and picked up a bag of potato chips, about to put it in the basket, when Xia Qingwan snatched it away. Her expression was tense. Why are you buying this for her? I hesitated for a moment. But Zhang Yao likes them. You'll buy them just because she likes them? It's not good for children to eat a lot of junk food. It's very easy to become obese, and it's also unhealthy. After saying that, Xia Qingwan turned and put the bag of chips back on the shelf. Zhang Yao felt very wronged hearing that, but it was clear that when Mommy had a serious face, she had a certain intimidating power. She tugged on my shirt and started to whine. Daddy, Zhang Yao wants to eat them. Daddy is the best. As soon as she finished speaking, Xia Qingwan walked over and pinched her cheek. Zhang Yao, you're not allowed to whine to your daddy. After saying that, she took Zhang Yao's hand and walked ahead. Zhang Haochen, you just carry the basket. You'll decide what to buy. I remained silent while a fierce battle raged in my head. So 2.5 seconds later, I decisively grabbed several bags of potato chips and put them in the basket. Seeing Xia Qingwan's cold gaze on me, I raised an eyebrow. I'm buying them for myself to eat. I'm not Zhang Yao. Can you control me too? You like potato chips too? I shook my head. I don't. Xia Qingwan laughed out of anger. She felt that I could be quite childish at times, as if I had some obsession with my status in the family, wanting to prove that I was the head of the household. After thinking for a moment, Xia Qingwan patiently explained, when you eat, Zhang Yao will want some, and you spoil her so much. When she whines to you, you'll definitely give her some to eat. I grinned slyly and nodded. It's fine, I'll eat them in front of Zhang Yao later, and you'll see whether I share with her or not. Hearing this, Zhang Yao pouted, feeling that daddy was just as mean as mommy. Xia Qingwan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This guy is just like a child. But after this period of living together, she had more or less come to understand my personality. The typical type who responds to a soft approach, not a hard one. Thinking of this, she took a deep breath and said in a voice that was as gentle as she could manage, Jiang Haochen, if there's anything you want to eat, I'll make it for you for lunch. Let's not buy the potato chips, okay? Hearing that, my mind immediately went blank. My face also quickly flushed red. Right after that, I silently took all the potato chips out and put them back on the shelf. What you said makes sense. After finishing shopping and getting home, Xia Qingguan deftly tied on an apron. I'll cook. You go play with Zhang Yao for a bit. I thought she must have gone through a lot of trouble to come here, so I didn't say anything more. Who knew that after watching TV with Zhang Yao for a while, my phone suddenly rang. The screen showed the caller's name, Lin Hui. I glanced at Xia Qingguan in the kitchen and casually answered the call. Mom, if there's nothing important, I'm hanging up. My first sentence almost made Lin Hui lose it. What kind of way is that to talk, you brat? Get up already. I'm downstairs. Hearing that, I was immediately stunned. Mom, why didn't you tell me in advance? Lin Hui clicked her tongue. I'm coming to visit you. Do I have to report to you? I made dumplings at home today and brought some for you. It's better than eating takeout every day. Today isn't a holiday. Why would she make dumplings at home? I guessed she made them on purpose and then brought them to me. Taking the opportunity this weekend to visit her son, whom she hasn't seen in a long time. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but feel moved. Mom, why don't you turn back now? There's still time. After hearing what I said, Lin Hui was stunned. You little brat, what kind of way is that to talk? No, I'm not home today. Don't lie. Hurry up and open the door for me. I can hear you watching cartoons. I fell silent. I glanced at Zhang Yao lying on her stomach on the sofa and at Xia Qingguan cooking in the kitchen, and I felt like I was being caught red-handed. Just as I was spacing out, Lin Hui started knocking on the door from outside. Open the door. Xia Qingguan heard the noise and came out, looking at me with some confusion. I helplessly spread my hands. My mom is here. Hearing that, Xia Qingguan's expression finally changed. She looked down at her own appearance. So what should we do? I answered honestly. I don't know. How about you just act natural? Just say a classmate came over to visit. A few seconds later, Lin Hui walked in with a look of utter disgust, carrying a bag. I've been waiting for you for so long. You don't know to open the door for your mom? You probably just woke up, didn't you? What time is it? Were you busy with your hands all night? Hearing that, my face immediately darkened, but I didn't dare say much. I hurriedly took the dumplings, then pushed Lin Hui's shoulder, telling her to turn around. All right, Mom, you can go home now. The dumplings are delicious. Seeing this, Lin Hui got a little angry. Hey, you insolent brat, you won't even let your mom in the house now? At this point, I was out of options. Lin Hui changed into slippers and walked into the living room, nagging nonstop. You're this old, and you're still watching cartoons. However, before she could finish her sentence, she suddenly froze on the spot. She saw the lovely Xia Qingguan standing at the kitchen doorway, wiping her hands on her apron, looking at her a bit shyly. Hello, Auntie. Lin Hui stood rooted to the spot, seemingly not understanding why this beautiful girl, dressed like a female chef, was in her son's house. Even if it were Chen Hao, the little female chef coming out of the kitchen, she would have found it more reasonable. Lin Hui's gaze instinctively looked past Xia Qingguan. The table was full of dishes, and the house was filled with a rich aroma, and on the sofa was a very cute little girl lying on her stomach, giggling while watching cartoons. Lin Hui was even more stunned. Did I time travel? Why does this feel like a family of three? Seeing this, I interrupted her. Mom, she's greeting you. Only then did Lin Hui react, hurriedly saying, Hello, dear. Hello. But you guys are. Xia Qingguan suddenly became a little nervous. I'm Jiang Haochen's classmate. That's my younger sister. We came over to hang out. Hearing this, Lin Hui was a little doubtful and couldn't help but mutter to herself. Classmate, comes to play in a dog's den, and even cooks for the dog. Thinking this, she looked at Xia Qingguan's delicate face again, and finally began to put things together. Young lady, I think I've seen you somewhere before. I reminded her from the side. Mom, she's Xia Qingguan. When you came for the parent-teacher conference before, you saw her at the school-wide commendation ceremony. At that time, you even told me that this girl was really beautiful, with long legs and a slender waist. You even kept mentioning it after we got home. At this point, Lin Hui finally remembered everything. She had seen her once from afar, below the stage. Young lady, are you the one who ranked 6th in the entire grade? Xia Qingguan nodded a little shyly, her ears burning. Seeing this, Lin Hui was dazed. Back then, she even thought, if this girl were her daughter-in-law, how cute and beautiful would her granddaughter be? And now, such a beautiful girl was cooking in her house. Wait a minute, aren't these two dating? Thinking of this, her expression immediately turned grim. The college entrance exam is in 4 months. Why are you wasting time now? As she spoke, her tone suddenly became very serious. How could you be friends with this kind of person? Even after the college entrance exam, you can't go for this type of guy. Hearing this, I immediately frowned. Mom, how can you talk about her like that? Who knew Lin Hui would give me a sidelong glance, looking at me with disgust? Can you go look at yourself in the bathroom mirror? Who's talking about her? I'm talking about you. My face immediately darkened even more. Is this still my lovely and kind biological mother? Lin Hui turned her head back, persuaded earnestly. Young lady, you study so well and you're so beautiful. You'll have a great future. You should focus on preparing for the college entrance exam now. Don't think about other things. With your standards, you can find any guy you want. Absolutely don't let this insolent brat trick you. Xia Qingwan looked very embarrassed. Auntie, Zhang Haochen is a very good person. To be honest, she had never experienced a mother like this. Clearly, every sentence was not pleasant to hear, but Xia Qingwan could feel that. This mother-son relationship was actually very good. She was a rather lovely auntie. He didn't bully you, did he? I mean, he didn't try to get handsy with you, right? Xia Qingwan obediently and gently shook her head. No, he didn't. Seeing this, I grumbled in dissatisfaction. There's a traitor among us. Why do you dislike me so much? Lin Hui looked even more disgusted and sneered. Have you forgotten all the terrible things you did in middle school, and you expect me to be nice to you? I waved my hand. Well, you're the one who gave birth to me. You insolent thing. Technically speaking, you're at least half responsible. Lin Hui couldn't be bothered with me and smiled at Xia Qingwan. Young lady, I came to bring him some dumplings. You can have some for lunch together. After speaking, she looked at Zhang Yao again. What a lovely little girl, as beautiful as her older sister. Hearing the compliment, Zhang Yao peeked out from behind her mom. Grandma is also very beautiful. Lin Hui's smile didn't falter. Grandma? Xia Qingwan hugged Zhang Yao and explained. This child, she's quite friendly. She likes to call any beautiful auntie she meets grandma. This sentence made the smile on Lin Hui's face even brighter. But her gaze still couldn't help, lingering on Zhang Yao's face for a long time. She kept feeling that this little girl looked a bit familiar. It seems like I've seen her somewhere before. I didn't come for any particular reason today, just to bring some food. Lin Hui turned back to the door. You kids go ahead and play. I'll be leaving first. She felt that by being here, she was making Xia Qingwan a little nervous, like a young bride meeting her mother-in-law for the first time. Hearing this, Xia Qingwan felt that it wasn't quite right. She said softly, Auntie, please stay and have a meal with us. After saying that, she blushed a little. This sentence made it seem as if she were the mistress of this house. Lin Hui hurriedly waved her hands. No, I already ate before I came. At this point, Xia Qingwan couldn't press the matter further. She placed her hands on her apron, looking incredibly well-behaved. I glanced at her and suddenly felt that right now, she looked a lot like the Xia Qingwan in Zhang Yao's photo. Just a glance would make people feel that she was a gentle, good wife and loving mother. Right after, I pouted. You just got here. Why are you leaving already? You even purposely came all this way just to bring dumplings. If you wanted to see me, you could have just called me. I would have come home right away, Lin Hui said casually. If you came home, it would only be for one night and you'd have to go back to school on Monday. It's too much trouble to travel back and forth. I felt a little helpless. So it's not troublesome for you to come here? Can you even control me? Lin Hui wanted to say something more, but thought it was too cheesy, so she just huffed in the end. For such a beautiful girl to be friends with you, you should be secretly overjoyed. Don't you dare bully her. How could I possibly bully her? With that, I also started putting on my shoes. I'll walk you out. This time, Lin Hui didn't refuse. Although her son was grown up, he was still a high school student after all. As a mother, she indeed had a few things she wanted to ask. Xia Qingwan fiddled with her apron and said softly, Goodbye, Auntie. Zhang Yao also waved her hand reluctantly. Goodbye, Grandma. Grandma and Grandpa treated her very well. Sometimes when Mom and Dad were busy with work, it was always Grandpa and Grandma who took care of her, picking her up from school every day. But back then, Grandma's hair was already quite gray. Now she looks so young and beautiful. Goodbye, little one. Lin Hui smiled, not paying too much mind. After that, I went downstairs with her. Lin Hui frowned at me. Really just classmates? No other kind of relationship? I calmly nodded. A classmate who comes to your house to cook for you, then she's. Lin Hui paused for a long time before continuing. Still a dog lover. But don't you dare get handsy with her just because she's beautiful. I wasn't joking earlier. Don't affect her chances of getting into a top university. Got it? I walked her out of the residential complex feeling a bit helpless. Son, what kind of hooligan am I? If you come, just come. It's not like I'm chasing you away. What's the rush? Lin Hui opened the car door and said casually, I'm not crazy. Your female friend is over. Why would I stay there and be a third wheel? You're not a child anymore. You know in your heart what should be done and what shouldn't. All right, I'm leaving. After saying that, she drove off very coolly. When I got back to the house, Xia Qingwan was holding a spatula and once again walked out of the kitchen. Her expression was still a little tense. Did your mom say anything? I shook my head. Nothing. My phone received a new message. Her Majesty the Empress Dowager has transferred 3,000 yuan to you, accompanied by a sentence. My son is a grown man now, don't be so stingy. If it's not enough, tell me. I generously showed my phone to Xia Qingwan. My mom transferred money to me. Xia Qingwan leaned in for a closer look. What does your mom mean by this? I frowned and was silent for a moment, then said softly, Isn't it almost March 8th? She probably wants me to buy you a Women's Day gift. Xia Qingwan pretended not to hear this. Honestly, the meeting with Lin Hui was a little different from what she had imagined. She didn't have the air of a mother or an elder at all. On this point, she's similar to a strong-willed person like Xiao Ziqing are almost two completely different extremes. So Xia Qingwan actually really admired a relationship. But even though she knew she shouldn't think that way, but Xia Qingwan still couldn't help but have a rather strange thought. Being her daughter-in-law would probably be a pretty happy thing. Xia Qingwan touched the back of her ear and left, a little embarrassed. Let's eat first. To be honest, this school goddess Xia is truly a natural-born wife type. Simple ingredients, but they made Zhang Yao eat very happily. After lunch, I took the initiative to wash the dishes. Xia Qingwan played with Zhang Yao for a while, then took her to the room to coax her into a nap. By the time I came out of the kitchen, Xia Qingwan had also just quietly closed the bedroom door. She's asleep, she gestured with her finger. Let's speak softly. But as soon as she said it, her face suddenly flushed. Doesn't it feel like a married couple who just put their child to sleep and are now secretly being intimate in another room? I didn't notice anything unusual about her and asked, What are we doing this afternoon? Doing test papers. I even brought my school bag. Take out the test papers you've done these past few days for me to see. After speaking, Xia Qingwan sat down at the cleaned dining table and took things out of her bag. Seeing me not moving, she couldn't help but tap the table with the fountain pen in her hand. What are you spacing out for? Hurry up. Hearing that, I took out my test papers and showed them to her. Xia Qingwan looked at them very carefully and waited until she had finished looking through all of them. Only then did her expression relax a lot. She could see that I had been trying to study. Although the English test was still a bit of a disaster, it was much better than the last time. Immediately after, she said seriously, Are there any questions you got wrong that you don't understand? I can explain them to you. I leaned back lazily in my chair and nodded very arrogantly. Questions I've gotten wrong once, I usually don't get wrong again. Hearing that, Xia Qingwan was a little confused. Then why are your grades so bad? My mom doesn't usually manage me much. I get home and play games until midnight. Where would I find the time to study? As I spoke, I sat up straight and started flipping through the test papers. Do you like playing games a lot? They're okay, just to kill time. Xia Qingwan was silent for a moment, looking a bit dazed. She remembered that day I was carrying my school bag to sell my game console and discs. Actually, those must have been things he really liked. Seeing that, I copied her and tapped loudly on the table. Are you going to study or not? If you want to look at me, just look. You don't need to use studying as an excuse. Xia Qingwan snapped out of it. She frowned and glared at me. Who's looking at you? I was just spacing out. I've just never seen someone with a score under 600 be this arrogant. I felt like she was looking down on me and said unhappily while holding my pen. You just wait, I'll surpass you in next month's test. Regarding my deliberate omission of a few words, Xia Qingwan wasn't angry. In fact, she found it quite amusing. But I got 688 points, you know. Saying that, Xia Qingwan couldn't help but smirk, rarely joking with me like this. Then I'll wait for you to surpass me. Don't just talk the talk without walking the walk. Xia Qingwan paused for a moment and said word by word. A man of his word. Hearing the number 688, I immediately became obedient. After that, Xia Qingwan stopped joking with me and seriously explained the problems I got wrong. Although she's a top student, she's very patient. Similarly, Xia Qingwan also realized that I wasn't just bragging earlier. Not only is my ability to grasp concepts very strong, but my memory is also unbelievably good. By the time we snapped out of it, the wall clock already indicated it was evening. At this moment, Zhang Yao came out of the room, rubbing her eyes, and looked at Xia Qingwan, who was packing her school bag in front of her, asking drowsily, Mommy, where are you going? Xia Qingwan pinched the little girl's cheek. Mommy has to go home. I can fight for the bed with Zhang Yao and Daddy, can I? Zhang Yao let out a slightly unhappy, I thought Mommy would hug Zhang Yao to sleep today. Having Daddy here is enough. Mommy will visit you next time, okay? But if Mommy goes home, it'll be a long, long time before Zhang Yao sees Mommy again. After saying that, Zhang Yao buried her soft face into her mother's embrace. Besides, Zhang Yao really likes lying in Mommy's arms. Xia Qingwan bit her lip, clearly softening. Sleeping while hugging the soft and fragrant Zhang Yao must be very comfortable, right? Besides, she had just promised yesterday, Zhang Yao, that she would spend quality time with her. This week, her stepmother and stepsister aren't home, so in the future, there probably won't be another chance like this. I was originally playing on my phone, but couldn't help but look up. Zhang Yao, be good, okay? Zhang Yao wants to sleep with Mommy. You're a girl. Xia Qingwan hesitated for a moment. Staying at your place seems a bit inappropriate, doesn't it? She wasn't worried about what I would do, and for some reason, after this period of interaction, she trusted me a lot. I looked at her, confused, always feeling that her tone wasn't very firm. Inappropriate? Besides, my house only has one bed. Hurry and go home. It's getting late, and he'll have to take you home. So tonight, Xia Qingwan bit her lip, looking at Zhang Yao in her arms. Zhang Yao pouted right on cue and said sweetly, Mommy is the best, so tonight. Xia Qingwan paused for a moment, looked at me. The living room is yours. Seeing this, my face darkened. Hey, we're not even married yet, and I already have to sleep on the couch in the living room? How can I tolerate this injustice? So I pouted and said, what if you can't control yourself in the middle of the night and want to do something bad? My mom even told me today not to get fresh with you anymore. Did his mom really say that? Thinking this, Xia Qingwan looked at my 179 centimeter height. She found it a bit hard to believe, as if I could force myself on you. Seeing this, my face immediately flushed red, and I racked my brain to come up with a sentence. Well, won't you have Zhang Yao to help you? You and Zhang Yao together could totally force me. Xia Qingwan felt like she was being led astray by me. And Zhang Yao, seeing that I was trying to ruin her good thing, got anxious and quickly shouted at me, Daddy, don't bully Mommy. Hearing that, I said nothing more. Actually, I wasn't too against it. It's just that I felt Xia Qingwan seemed to have let her guard down around me too much. Although it wasn't a bad thing, but after dinner, I sat on the sofa playing on my phone, occasionally looking up at Xia Qingwan sitting at the table, teaching Zhang Yao how to write. This ice goddess of the school, in the eyes of outsiders, now had eyes full of tenderness. Zhang Yao, you wrote this stroke incorrectly. Then Mommy, hold my hand and teach me how to write. Looking at this beautiful mother and daughter, big and small, who looked so alike, I truly felt a sense of family. Or more accurately, it wasn't an illusion, because Zhang Yao really is related to me by blood. And as for Xia Qingwan, from the moment Zhang Yao appeared, she has had a complicated, entangled relationship with me. At 9 p.m., Zhang Yao finally started to get sleepy, closing her eyes and yawning constantly, like a sleepy kitten. Xia Qingwan then took Zhang Yao to the bathroom to wash her face and then carried her to the bedroom. You could tell, Zhang Yao was incredibly happy, not just because her mother was willing to spend more time with her, but even more so, because both her mom and dad were in this house at the same time. To her, a home with both mom and dad present at the same time is a complete home. A few minutes later, Xia Qingwan sat cross-legged on the bed, while Zhang Yao lay on her stomach in her lap, murmuring drowsily, Mommy, you used to tell me stories every day about when you were with Daddy. Why aren't you telling them today? Xia Qingwan said gently. Because those things haven't happened yet. When will they happen? Xia Qingwan pinched her daughter's cheek, saying nothing. Perhaps after another half an hour, Zhang Yao finally fell fast asleep. Even in her sleep, there was a sweet smile on her face, hugging her mother's arm, as if hugging some precious treasure. Xia Qingwan carefully pulled her arm out, then walked to the bedroom door and said, Zhang Haiochen, Zhang Yao and I are going to sleep now. You should get some rest soon too. I was playing on my phone and replied casually, remember to lock the door, so that if you open it in the middle of the night, it'll hear you. Hearing that, Xia Qingwan pouted angrily, not wanting to pay me any more mind. She directly locked the door and went back to the bed. In the darkness, Xia Qingwan could feel her daughter's warm and soft body, hugging her tightly. Her mouth was even mumbling Mommy. Meanwhile, in the living room outside, there were occasional tiny noises, but it was clear he was deliberately walking softly. These small sounds made Xia Qingwan feel strangely at ease. And so, she quickly fell asleep. When she woke up again, it was already late at night. Xia Qingwan felt her throat was burning. She was very thirsty. She carefully moved Zhang Yao's arm aside and got up, planning to go to the kitchen for some water. But unexpectedly, I was still awake at this time, sitting at the dining table typing on the keyboard. Hearing the noise, I turned my head to look at the drowsy Xia Qingwan in front of me, and I smiled suggestively. Couldn't wait any longer? Hearing that, Xia Qingwan immediately became a little more awake. I just came out to drink some water. I didn't tease her much either. Just nodded. There's warm water in the thermos. Go pour it yourself. A few minutes later, Xia Qingwan came out after pouring her water, a little confused. Why aren't you asleep yet? After speaking, she leaned in closer to look at the computer screen. On it was a black interface with a dense string of code. It looked quite complicated, not like something a high school student at this age would be doing. I didn't explain, but quickly typed on the keyboard, my expression looking a bit sleepy. Xia Qingwan reacted. Are you working? I answered lazily, not really. Just doing some simple, small things. It's an easy and fast way to make money. Zhang Yao will need a lot of money for school later on. Xia Qingwan was stunned. The light from the computer screen made her eyes a little uncomfortable. Her expression was somewhat dazed. This was the first time she felt like the vast distance between two spaces had truly disappeared. My face was clearly much younger, but in that moment just now, she felt that I truly overlapped with the middle-aged man in Zhang Yao's photograph. After snapping out of it, she immediately reached out and pressed down on my keyboard. It's late, go rest first. Seeing this, I chuckled. Just a little longer, you go to sleep first. Xia Qingwan bit her lip. Zhang Yao is my daughter too. When she goes to school, they'll share the family burden with you. At that time, what I owe you, I will definitely repay. Hearing these words, I was a bit stunned. Isn't shouldering the family responsibility about raising Zhang Yao? You want to support me too? Right after, I looked at the clock and saw that it was getting late. I shut down the computer and stood up. Go to sleep without worry. But, my dear top student Xia, you'll have to earn a lot more money in the future. Zhang Yao has said it before, I'll be very expensive in the future. I'm afraid you won't be able to afford to support me. Who said they wanted to support you? After saying that, Xia Qingwan remembered that there was a problem with what she just said. She desperately wanted to refute it a little, but after a long silence, she finally uttered a sentence. Then you should learn a few more talents, like singing and dancing or something. Otherwise, I'd be at a disadvantage. I let out a sly laugh. Dream on. I sell myself, not my skills. Xia Qingwan couldn't respond to that and quickly fled back to her room. I didn't pay it any mind, washed my face, and then lay down on the sofa to rest. In the room, Xia Qingwan hugged the soft Zhang Yao and drifted off to sleep. Suddenly, a knocking sound rang out by her ear. I've bought breakfast for you two. Hurry and get Zhang Yao up. Didn't you say your family is coming back today? Shouldn't you head back early? Xia Qingwan didn't want to move at all and didn't respond. She didn't sleep well after returning to her room last night and only managed to doze off around dawn. But after about half a minute had passed, the knocking continued. This time, even Zhang Yao in her arms was unhappy. Mommy, hurry and open the door. It's so noisy, so noisy, so noisy. Xia Qingwan also felt extremely annoyed. In her half-awake state, a sudden surge of frustration welled up. With a cold expression, she quickly crawled out of bed, glared at me, and then, without a word, turned around and lay back under the covers. I was instantly stunned on the spot. No way, for a girl her age, how could she be exactly like Zhang Yao in the morning? But it was so early in the morning, I really couldn't be bothered to tease this girl. After a moment of silence, I walked to the side of the bed and picked up Zhang Yao with one arm. Good girl, time to wake up. Zhang Yao frowned, pouted and mumbled. Daddy is so annoying, Zhang Yao. Anyone who isn't up by now is a lazy dog, a good-for-nothing. Of course, I wasn't saying this for Zhang Yao to hear. As for who I was alluding to, the big girl under the covers had to figure it out herself. Xia Qingwan stayed under the covers for a while, but she really couldn't stand it anymore. She threw back the covers and sat up, taking 2 deep breaths. Zhang Haochen, no wonder Zhang Yao gets mad at you every morning. You're just so annoying. I felt a little helpless. Zhang Yao is growing right now. How can she skip breakfast? It's not like I enjoy waking up early to buy it every morning. Xia Qingwan really couldn't argue with that, so she had to get up and take Zhang Yao to the bathroom to wash up. As the mother and daughter stood side by side brushing their teeth in front of the mirror, they still didn't say a word. It wasn't until she led her daughter to the dining table and saw the still warm milk and corn that Xia Qingwan slowly came to her senses. She suddenly felt a little guilty. I looked at her with a half smile. Don't think you can pretend nothing happened. You were mad at me just now. I'm not happy. The base of Xia Qingwan's ears burned hot. She lowered her eyes and said in a small voice, I just couldn't see clearly when I woke up. I didn't realize it was you. I pouted. All right, so you know how to play dumb now, huh? How about this? Xia Qingwan licked her slightly dry lips. Next time you wake up, just ignore me, or you can get mad at me too. You still want a next time? I was almost made to laugh by her. I'm telling you. How are you two, mother and daughter? So exactly alike. Am I a dog? Getting kicked twice by you two every morning. Xia Qingwan only felt extremely guilty. She was indeed in the wrong about this. She had just made a pinky promise with Zhang Yao yesterday, yet she, the mother, failed to do it. Thinking of this, Xia Qingwan finally seemed to make up her mind and said, how about you do the same as you did when teaching Zhang Yao a lesson this morning and pinch my cheeks? I absolutely won't resist. Then we won't be mad anymore, right? Okay? Xia Qingwan's last sentence carried a hint of coquettishness. Seeing that, my brain immediately froze. Is this still the cold top student that I know? Using such a soft and fawning voice to talk to me. Is she coaxing me like she coaxes Zhang Yao? After that, I sat there without a word. After a long while, I pushed over the 2 glasses of prepared oatmeal milk. I made it for you two, drink up. After breakfast, Xia Qingwan immediately went home with her school bag. For her, this weekend was actually very fulfilling. She spent time with Zhang Yao and also checked on my current academic progress. Once her family returned, she wouldn't necessarily have this kind of freedom anymore. For the upcoming week, I also decided to start practicing the 9-yen manual. After all, the college entrance exams weren't far off. It wasn't that I wanted to get an incredibly high score. It's just that after Zhang Yao appeared, she had actually changed the future, including the university me and Xia Qingwan would attend later. So I still hoped that when choosing a university, my score wouldn't be so low that it would affect Xia Qingwan's choice. This could probably be considered a man's pride. That noon, as soon as Li Yu returned with her food, she saw me sitting in the corner, eating and reading. She couldn't help but complain. What's gotten into you lately? You wouldn't study before even if we forced you, so why have you suddenly started studying English? I said casually. Isn't it my rebellious phase? I have to wait until the English teacher thinks I'm a hopeless case before I'm motivated to study. Li Yu, Yu rolled her eyes and also took out her small notebook and imitated my posture. Yu, actually, I've always wanted to ask you something. Back when the classes were divided, why didn't you choose the liberal arts track? Yu didn't say anything, just quietly lowered her head to eat and read. She knew that in all aspects, her reactions were a bit slow. Studying science subjects was complete torture for herself and the teachers. At that moment, Chen Heo's voice suddenly rang out. Why are you two hiding here to eat? I glanced over but said nothing, because there was a girl standing behind him, with big, round eyes looking open and cute. Chen Hao smiled at her. Go over there and find them. I'm eating with my friend. The girl blinked and suggested eating together. You raised her eyes to glance at her, then quickly lowered her head again. It seemed as if everything happening before her had nothing to do with her. At this point, I spoke up. I know you. Chen Hao has been mentioning you to me every day lately, but upon hearing my words, Chen Hao was clearly a bit confused. The girl was obviously a little surprised. Then the smile on her face grew even brighter. Really? Hao and I are actually just normal good friends. We met when he was playing basketball on the court. I smiled and nodded and continued. He said you're a very cute girl. Hearing that, Miss Lin, the girl was instantly stunned. My surname is Shu. My name is Shu Qian. I'm in the 11th grade. The atmosphere suddenly became a little awkward. I was silent for a moment. Sorry. Then I guess I mistook you for someone else. It seems Chen Hao has never mentioned you to me. Yu, who had been eating a boiled egg, almost choked to death after hearing that sentence. She wanted to laugh but didn't dare, so she could only lower her head, pursing her lips to hide her secret smile. In the end, the girl was too embarrassed to stay any longer and took her food tray to find her classmates. I looked at Chen Hao indifferently. Stop going around hurting people. Chen Hao leaned back nonchalantly in his chair. How is this hurting people? I went to play basketball with some guys from their class, and she came up to ask for my WeChat herself. See, isn't she still very happy? Hearing that, Yu immediately said sarcastically, then don't come in front of us. You change girlfriends every half a month like changing clothes. You have that kind of free time, but we don't have time to remember faces. Chen Hao pouted. From childhood until now, only you have dared to speak to me like that. But being so fierce, how will you get married when you grow up? Don't be 30 and still unwanted, crying secretly at home by yourself. Yu was too lazy to pay him any mind, turning her head to clear the table. She seemed a little angry. Seeing this, Chen Hao scratched his head. I was just joking with you. Are you angry again? Yu's face was emotionless. No, my personality really is bad. My looks aren't great either. Chen Hao was stunned. I only said your personality is bad, so you can't get married. I never said you were ugly. How about this? When you're 30 and still at home, unable to get married, I'll reluctantly marry you then. Yu looked up and said disdainfully, even if I'm 30 and you still haven't managed to trick a wife with that face of yours, I would absolutely never consider a scoundrel like you. After saying that, she picked up her food tray and left. After hearing this, my hand trembled slightly. No way. Don't say things so definitively. This flag is being planted too obviously. But then I realized, based on my daughter's age, Xia Qingwan and I must have also been over 30 when we got married. But according to what Zhang Yao said, Xia Qingwan and I must have gone through a lot to get together. But how could two people with absolutely no connection after graduating from university fall madly in love and get married? Thinking this, I took out my phone and sent a message to Xia Qingwan. Qingwan, let me ask you something. Perhaps sensing that my tone was a bit serious, Xia Qingwan replied very quickly. But she didn't quite understand what I meant, so she just sent back a concise question mark. I continued to type and send the message. Back then, between the two of us, who pursued whom? Do you know? Xia Qingwan was stunned for a long time before replying. By back then, you mean the future, right? How would I know about that? You should ask Zhang Yao. I thought back on everything Zhang Yao had said these past few days and finally came to a conclusion. Zhang Yao said you're always fighting with her for dad. So it seems, back then, you must have crazily pursued me, to the point that you even got jealous of your own daughter. The clear logic left Xia Qingwan silent for a long time. Then she replied, Zhang Yao also said I make you kneel on the washboard. You just obediently kneel on the washboard. Why couldn't it be that you pursued me? Xia Qingwan knew her own personality well. If it wasn't someone she truly liked, she absolutely couldn't have pursued them. So she never thought that she would be like a little girl and crazily pursue someone. Of course, I thought so too. So I decided to go home and ask Zhang Yao clearly. In the end, both of us sent a message at the same time into the chat box. Anyway, it definitely wasn't me. So that night when I got home, I immediately asked Zhang Yao about this. Who knew that Zhang Yao would say with a smug look on her face? When Mom was in school, many boys liked her, but Mom didn't like them at all, until she met Dad after graduation. I had put the call on speakerphone by now. Xia Qingwan on the other end of the line was silent, waiting for her daughter to say more. Mom said that Dad liked her first. Dad pursued her for a very, very long time before she agreed. As she said this, Zhang Yao bit her finger with a reminiscent look on her face, but Dad said that on the day they got together, it was Mom who confessed her feelings first, and then she stood on her tiptoes to kiss Dad. Hearing this, both Xie Qingwan and I fell silent. It seemed Zhang Yao didn't know the answer either. So is this a case of two proud people in love? Xie Qingwan paused for a long moment and decided to make the first move. I heard her let out a cold laugh. To have pursued me for that long, you really are persistent, I countered. It's all right. On the day you confessed, you even had to stand on your tiptoes to kiss someone. How strenuous. This remark made Xie Qingwan a bit dismayed. She really found it hard to imagine, with her personality, doing something so proactive. But according to what Zhang Yao said, considering our height difference, if I didn't lower my head, she would indeed have to stand on her tiptoes a little. As for me, I was also a bit frustrated, pursuing her for a very, very long time before she agreed. Zhang Yao, are you sure Dad is the wolf that got smacked away by a frying pan? Of course, I didn't think Zhang Yao was lying. Perhaps we just didn't know what we would be like when we truly love someone, when that time comes. In the following period, although we called each other every day, our opportunities to meet became much fewer. One reason was our busy studies, and the other was that Xie Qingwan had to worry about her family, until one day near the end of March, I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my stomach, and my whole body felt groggy. My condition was very bad. It was so scary that Chen Hao and Lei Yu immediately took me to the hospital. But unexpectedly, after looking at my x-ray, the doctor suddenly sighed. So young, what a pity. Let's just remove it. Hearing that, I was instantly stunned, a bunch of question marks popping up above my head. The doctor then slowly smiled. Young man, don't worry, it's just acute appendicitis. Just remove it and you'll be fine. After hearing that, I immediately rolled my eyes, cursing him endlessly in my mind. But luckily, it was diagnosed in time, so it wasn't a big deal. The surgery could be completed in just 1 or 2 hours, and with a few days of rest and a controlled diet, I would basically be fine. Li Yu then breathed a sigh of relief. You really scared me to death just now. I'll go pay the fees first. Chen Hao, you call Hao Chen's aunt. As for Xie Qingwan, when she found out about this, it was already the next day. Because I felt it wasn't a big deal, I didn't tell her that Zhang Yao had cried and called to tell her that Dad was sick. Because Zhang Yao was sobbing and couldn't speak clearly, Xie Qingwan's heart also tightened. She felt her breathing become a little constricted. Having gone through what happened with her mother, she was very sensitive to words like hospital and sickness. That's why she was particularly sensitive to words like hospital and sickness. After finding out which hospital it was, she immediately hailed a taxi and rushed over right after school. In the simple hospital room, Zhang Yao was lying by my bed, holding my hand. Her voice was hoarse from crying. I pinched her cheek. Good Zhang Yao, don't cry anymore. Dad is fine. Just then, Zhang Lingling came in from outside carrying a wash basin, and hearing Zhang Yao cry, she started crying too. Hey Chen, seeing you like this, my heart aches. You've never been seriously ill since you were a child. How did this suddenly happen? You're the only son in our family. I was silent for a moment, then said, Auntie, I just had my appendix removed. I wasn't sterilized. Unexpectedly, Zhang Lingling cried even louder. But making an incision in your stomach must hurt a lot. That needle is so long. Just then, Xie Qingwan hurriedly pushed the door open and walked in from outside. When she saw the two beauties, one big and one small, leaning over and crying pitifully by my bed, Xie Qingwan immediately panicked. Jiang Heochen, what happened to you? You were perfectly fine last week. I tilted my head, looking at her with some surprise. It's just appendicitis. These girls can't handle a scare. They thought something terrible had happened to me. Xie Qingwan breathed a sigh of relief, but she still bit her lower lip nervously. What about her then? I chuckled lightly. She's still a little girl too. Seeing that she still didn't believe me, I had to take out the x-ray film and show it to her. After she examined it carefully, Xie Qingwan finally relaxed completely. It took a long time again for me to coax my aunt and Zhang Yao to make them believe that my body was completely fine. Then I pinched my daughter's ear. Zhang Yao, stay at your grandaunt's house for the next 2 days. I'm really okay. If Zhang Yao keeps crying, Dad will be sad too. After saying that, I looked at my aunt again. Auntie, you're pregnant. Just take Zhang Yao home to rest first. Xie Qingwan looked out into the night and then at the few missed calls on her phone. Before coming, she had only told her father and stepmother that she was going to the hospital to visit a classmate. After a moment of thought, Xie Qingwan sent a message to her father. I'm staying here with him tonight? After replying, she locked her phone screen and put it in her pocket. Then she looked at the hesitant Zhang Lingling. Aunt Zhang, you take Zhang Yao home. He'll stay here with him. Lingling was stunned and said hesitantly, Is that okay? Xie Qingwan nodded. It's fine. Zhang Yao will only be at ease if I'm here, right? Hearing that, Zhang Yao nodded, humming in agreement, her eyes still red-rimmed. As for me, I glanced at Xie Qingwan and didn't say anything more. After Zhang Lingling had taken Zhang Yao home to rest, I looked at the clock. It was already 9:30 p.m. So I said, Xie Qingwan, you should go home too. You have school tomorrow. Text me when you get home. But Xie Qingwan ignored me, took off her coat and placed it on the spare chair next to her. She prepared to boil a kettle of hot water. Seeing that she was really planning to stay, I couldn't help but frown. Didn't you say your family has been very strict lately? Your stepmother and stepsister will give you a hard time later. There's really nothing serious wrong with me. A few days of rest will be enough. Xia Qingwan's actions finally paused for a moment. She turned her head to look at me and said listlessly, "When I was 7, my mother said the same thing to me when she left." Hearing that, I was stunned. My throat moved slightly, but I didn't know what to say. Xia Qingwan continued speaking. That night, she told me to go home and told me that after a night's sleep, Mom would be healthy again and everything would be fine. That's why she was always a little afraid of hospitals. After all, she spent several years in the hospital with her mother when she was a child. Only those who have been through it can understand these things. I felt a lump in my throat too, not wanting her to recall those old memories. I quickly changed the subject, saying, "Didn't you say before that your family doesn't allow you to hang out with boys before graduation?" I sat up, wanting to smile a little, but it touched the wound on my stomach, and it still hurt a bit. "What if your stepmother comes to school and reports me for being in a relationship too early? Then you can just say, I was pursuing you. After all, you've always thought so anyway." After saying that, Xia Qingwan smiled too. "I won't leave until you've fully recovered." After saying that, Xia Qingwan gave me no chance to refuse, and directly turned to go to the bathroom to boil water. But she didn't expect that. Just as she reached the hallway, her father, Xia Qiming, called her. "Qingwan, where are you? He'll come pick you up and take you home." Xia Qingwan hesitated for a long time. "I'm at the hospital. My classmate is sick. Because he helped me a lot before, I want to take care of him for a bit." "Is it that boy?" Xia Qingwan didn't say anything. Seeing this, Xia Qiming patiently advised, "But this isn't something a student like you should be doing. He has his own family. Someone will take care of him. You're just a high school student right now. The most important thing is..." Xia Qingwan cut him off. "Studying? But Dad, I'm graduating in a few months." "At that time, what will be the most important thing for me then?" Hearing that, Xia Qiming also didn't know what to say. Xia Qingwan gripped her phone tightly and continued softly. "Dad, don't worry about some things. I just don't know how to tell you." Growing up, Xia Qingwan had actually always hoped that when her father made a choice, he would favor her just once. But from the time her father brought Aunt Xiao directly into her life to when Xia Qiong was born, until now, it had never happened. That's why, regarding Zhang Yao's matter, Xia Qingwan had never told him, and she didn't know how to bring it up. Half an hour later, the call finally ended. Xia Qiming didn't know what to say to his daughter either. As soon as he opened his mouth, it was always phrases like, "At your age, you should focus on your studies." Both of them sadly realized they didn't know since when the distance between father and daughter had grown to this extent. As I watched Xia Qingwan walk in from outside, I couldn't help but ask, "What's wrong? You were gone for so long." Xia Qingwan put down the bag in her hand. "I was on the phone with my dad. I also bought some toiletries. Are you hungry? Do you want to eat anything?" Xia Qingwan poured hot water into the wash basin, she said casually. I chuckled lightly. "No need. You can just sit beside me and read. Then help me get the laptop out of my bag. I haven't finished the work I took on." Hearing that, Xia Qingwan immediately frowned. "No way. The nurse said you have to stay in bed. Why are you always so stubborn? You can play on your phone either. Hurry up and lie down after you wash your face." After saying that, she snatched my phone. Then she locked the screen and placed it on the small table beside me. Seeing this, I was stunned. "No way. You've been getting a bit bossy with me lately. You're not my wife yet." "That's right." Xia Qingwan wrung out the hot towel thoroughly, then spread it out and looked at me. "I especially like bullying weak patients. Bring your face over here yourself. Roll around in the towel." Hearing that, I sullenly took the towel and wiped my face. After I finished washing up, Xia Qingwan turned off the lights and sat on the spare chair. "Just call me if you need anything." Hearing that, I tilted my head and saw her curled up on the spare chair, covered with her own coat. Only her head was peeking out. She still had her hands free to play on her phone. The faint light from the screen shone on her face. Xia Qingwan, who originally had a cold and gorgeous appearance, looked even more lonely at this moment. She was very skilled at this posture, as if she had done it many times before. When she was little, Xia Qingwan must have curled herself up into a ball just like this. Now she was grown up, and the person who needed her to curl up in a coat and stay up all night watching over was no longer there. Thinking of this, I felt a lump in my throat. Xia Qingwan sensitively looked up. "You should rest early. You still have school tomorrow." I didn't say much and obediently lay down. In the middle of the night, I woke up because I was thirsty. The hospital room was unusually quiet. I sat up, planning to get a glass of water. Who would have thought this small movement would immediately wake Xia Qingwan up? "What's wrong?" "Just getting some water. You can go back to sleep." After speaking, just as I was about to get out of bed, Xia Qingwan had already gotten up and walked to my bedside. "If you're thirsty, can't you just call for someone? Don't you know you're a patient?" I was a little unhappy. "Hey, that tone of yours? Why are you copying the way I talk?" Xia Qingwan paid me no mind and placed the warm glass of water in my hand. Then she returned to the chair and lay down. Later, in the wee hours of the morning, I secretly got up again. As a result, I was once again met with Xia Qingwan's beautiful eyes. Her expression was strange. "I'm going to the bathroom. Do you need to help with that too?" Hearing that, Xia Qingwan closed her eyes again, her cheeks blushing. Then just go. Early the next morning, Xia Qingwan, wearing her school bag, instructed, you should have some porridge later. You can read a bit in the morning, don't use the computer. I'll come by again at noon. I nodded. Go to school. You don't have to come over anymore if there's nothing important. I'm not a kid. Xia Qingwan glanced at me, saying nothing. She folded the spare chair, placed it aside, and left. At lunchtime after school, Xia Qingwan brought a meal to the hospital. She discovered that an old man had moved into the room. A middle-aged woman was sitting next to him, who seemed to be his daughter. At that moment, I was chatting comfortably with the old man. Xia Qingwan didn't pay it much mind. She walked in and put her school bag on the table. Jiang Haochen, have you eaten? I nodded. I have. The nurse was just here. Hearing that, Xia Qingwan hummed an acknowledgement, then opened her own lunchbox and sat beside me to eat. Unexpectedly, the old man suddenly smiled and said, Young man, is this your wife? Xia Qingwan's hand, which was eating, clearly paused. She glanced at me and quietly swallowed the food in her mouth. I smiled and replied to the old man, She's not my wife. She's a very good classmate of mine who came especially to visit me. The old man said, Oh, not married yet? That girl is so good to you. You should hurry up and win her over to be your wife. Hearing that, both Xia Qingwan and I fell silent. My father has a bit of Alzheimer's, the woman said, a little embarrassed as she quickly stuffed an apple into his hand. Dad, that's his friend, not his wife. The old man got very angry. You're the one with Alzheimer's. Your whole family has Alzheimer's. I knew just by looking that this girl is his wife. That's not it. Xia Qingwan still wanted to protest a bit, but the old man clearly wasn't listening. He was convinced that the two of them were a couple and sat on his bed, giggling. When did you two get married? I was a bit helpless, sir. We're still just kids. Who would have thought the old man would nod and say, Right. You should have a child then. If your relationship is stable, you should hurry up and have a chubby baby boy. Xia Qingwan couldn't bear to listen anymore. She wanted to explain, but felt that it would probably be useless, facing this overly talkative person, but the old man meant no harm, so she couldn't say anything harsh. In the end, she could only stuff a boiled egg into her mouth and mumble, Who would want to have a chubby son for him? The old man laughed loudly. You like girls, huh? Having a daughter is good. They're well-behaved too, well-behaved and affectionate with their family. Hearing that, I also smiled in agreement. That's true. Xia Qingwan couldn't take it anymore. She put her lunchbox in the trash can and prepared to take the trash down with her. Actually, her coming here at noon really served no purpose. This made her actions look as if she only came to visit me and then sat beside me to eat her lunch. It's no wonder the old man misunderstood this strange behavior. Fortunately, by noon on the third day, I was discharged from the hospital. Seeing the two of them packing up, the old man was a bit reluctant to see them go. Leaving already? Hey, you two have to treat each other well. Go home and have a baby soon. After being nagged for 2 days, this time, as we were about to leave, Xia Qingwan really couldn't hold it in anymore. Sir, please stop talking. We're getting a divorce as soon as we get home. The old man immediately fell silent. Seeing that, I found it a little funny. But I still had a wound on my abdomen, and it still hurt a little when I breathed deeply. But hearing those words come out of her mouth was really refreshing. After leaving the hospital, Xia Qingwan, despite my protests, insisted on taking me home. Half an hour later, Xia Qingwan took out a stack of sticky notes from her bag. Then, while carefully looking at her phone, she wrote something on them. I sat on the sofa, watching with suspicion. What are you doing? Xia Qingwan replied. Things to keep in mind. Recently, you can't eat cold, spicy, or greasy food. In short, you have to avoid all irritating foods. They'll stick this on the kitchen door for you. That way, you'll see it as soon as you open the door. Then Xia Qingwan thought for a moment and stuck another note on the top left corner of the computer screen. No using the computer after 12 a.m. In short, whatever Xia Qingwan felt was important, she would write it down and stick it in the most conspicuous place. Watching her walk back and forth, sticking notes everywhere, I was a little dazed. Actually, it felt a bit like time was out of sync. A scene like this might be something I see every day, 10 or 20 years from now. But what about the me and Xia Qingwan in Jiang Yao's world? Perhaps sometimes, in their honey-sweet life, there would suddenly be a trace of regret. Regret for having missed each other's best years, and for never having possessed each other's youth. Now as I came back to my senses, Xia Qingwan was already standing in front of me, wearing her school bag, ready to leave. Did you hear what I just said? I honestly shook my head, no. Seeing this, Xia Qingwan sighed and pulled the sticky notes out of her bag again. She quickly used her palm as a support to write a few words, then tore it off. Let's stick one more note here. Then I felt something cold touch my face, and a sticky note was placed on my cheek. Xia Qingwan, wearing her bag, walked towards the door. I'm going home now. From now on, if there's nothing important, I probably won't come over as often. You have to take care of yourself. I was stunned. I took the sticky note off my face. The handwriting on it was beautiful and elegant. Don't stay up late. Don't eat junk food. Don't get sick again. Besides the exclamation marks in the bottom right corner of the sticky note, she had also drawn a simple rabbit head. Its two ears were perked up, and it looked quite pouty. As Xia Qingwan sat down and bent over to put on her shoes, she suddenly heard my soft laughter from behind. It's really similar. Xia Qingwan didn't know what I was laughing at. She hesitated for 2 seconds and then said, I also feel like I'm acting like your mom. My mom isn't this meticulous. I laughed and said leisurely, I was saying, it really resembles my wife. Hearing that, Xia Qingwan's small face immediately turned bright red. Actually, she also felt that her actions seemed to have that kind of flavor, but she had to refute it properly anyway, so she pouted disdainfully. Wife, my foot, your condition seems quite similar to that old man's. Have you also become senile? Time flies so fast. In a flash, March was over. An illness that wasn't too serious didn't affect my life at all. I still went to and from school on time every day, and in the evening, I would pick up Zhang Yao. Xia Qingguan came over less often, but every time I opened the fridge, I could see the sticky notes she had put there. And on that day, when I went to pick up Zhang Yao as usual, Zhang Lingling suddenly gave me a school uniform and a badge. She said she had asked for help from an acquaintance at the school. It was possible for Zhang Yao to attend classes as a trial student, attending school and listening to lectures with other normal children. My face lit up with joy. Really? Zhang Lingling nodded. But it's only temporary. A few months is fine, but if it drags on for years, it could affect her future. My aunt's meaning was actually very clear. She wanted us to try our best before the end of the summer vacation to solve the child's identity issue, just in time for her to enroll in September. So I bent down and asked my daughter, Zhang Yao, do you want to go to school? I do. Zhang Yao blinked her eyes. Things like reincarnation and time travel were too fantastical. But after this period of time, the little girl dazedly thought for a long time and could more or less vaguely understand a little. She was not like other children, and this was a very important secret. Besides her parents, she couldn't casually tell other people. So when other people were around, she was very well behaved. She no longer called me dad out loud. The next day, Zhang Lingling arranged for Zhang Yao to attend second-grade classes at Zhaoyang Elementary School. Because she was beautiful and had a lively, outgoing personality, the other children in the class all especially liked to play with her. Teacher Hu was the same. She liked this little girl at first sight. Her voice revealed her surprise. This is the first time I've seen such a beautiful little girl. Zhang Lingling smiled and said, her older sister is even prettier. Time quickly passed until evening. Xia Qingguan and I hurried to pick up our little princess. Who would have thought that as soon as we arrived, we would see Zhang Yao with red-rimmed eyes? There were 2 rolls of paper stuffed in her nose with faint red blood stains on them. Teacher Hu kept apologizing to us. I'm sorry. It was my fault for not taking good care of Zhang Yao. Soon after, with Teacher Hu's explanation, we understood the whole story. It turned out there was a reclusive little girl in the class. The mischievous little girl was named Su Mu Mu. She is a left-behind child. The other children in the class didn't want to play with her, but today, Zhang Yao took the initiative to play with her. But because the girl was too lonely, she was very wary of strangers approaching her. Therefore, when she was rejecting Zhang Yao, she accidentally pushed Zhang Yao, who fell and hit the wall. After learning the reason, I reached out and stroked my daughter's head. Zhang Yao, did anyone bully you today? Zhang Yao glanced at the little girl standing next to the teacher, a quiet but red-eyed, messy little girl. Then she guiltily touched her nose. No one did. I just bumped my nose while playing with my friends. I looked at my daughter's expression for a moment, lost in thought. Xia Qingguan also spoke softly. Zhang Yao, you mustn't lie. Your nose will grow longer. Hearing that, Zhang Yao's ears turned bright red. It's just that Su Mu Mu accidentally pushed me. It's really nothing. I smiled. I reached out and gently pinched my daughter's soft cheek. Zhang Yao is very brave. No crying today, okay? Give your bag to daddy. Let's go home. Say goodbye to your teacher and Mumu, sweetie. Only then did Zhang Yao smile brightly. She trotted on her short legs to stand in front of Su Mumu, taking the little girl's slightly dirty hand. She slapped her palm once. Then she said seriously, Mumu, you weren't good. You weren't good at all. Zhang Yao is angry today. I'll only play with you again tomorrow. Su Mumu looked at the little princess, so beautiful and noble. She was clearly stunned for a moment. Then she pulled her hand back as if she'd been electrocuted. After my daughter said her goodbyes, I smiled and took my daughter's hand and left with Xia Qingguan. Teacher Hu finally let out a sigh of relief. Mumu, is your grandmother picking you up today? As a result, the little girl lowered her head. She then noticed Su Mumu's gaze was still fixed on the distance. A light of longing flickered deep in her eyes. Following her gaze were the 3 of us walking away. Zhang Yao probably wanted to be carried. She was hopping around with her soft arms outstretched. I couldn't resist my daughter's coaxing. So I handed the small rabbit backpack to Xia Qingguan. Then I bent down and picked her up so she could comfortably wrap her arms around my neck. Xia Qingguan smiled as she took the backpack. She casually plucked a white flower from nearby and tucked it into our daughter's bun. Zhang Yao's almond-shaped eyes immediately curved up. Her soft, giggling laughter was as clear as a wind chime. Su Mumu quietly averted her gaze. Her eyes, she opened her hand. In her palm, where Zhang Yao had hit her hand earlier, was a rabbit-shaped gummy candy that had been secretly placed there. In the following days, Jiang Yao told us every day about the things that happened at school. You could tell that Jiang Yao was very happy at school. And by mid-April, I finally cut my hair short, revealing my handsome and charming face. And because of this action, I clearly felt that within the grade, I was getting a lot more attention. Mainly because I resembled Zhang Lingling a bit. My skin is very fair, the delicate and elegant type. According to Lin Hui, her son looks a bit effeminate. Also because of this, I actually never liked other people judging my appearance, so I always kept my hair long to hide my looks. Xie Qingwan noticed it too, but she didn't seem to mind. After all, she always knew I was very handsome. But one afternoon, Xie Qingwan had just gotten her food and sat down when she saw me lining up at the window, talking to a beautiful, unfamiliar girl. Moreover, after talking for a while, the two of them even took out their phones to add each other on WeChat. This made Xie Qingwan's expression turn cold instantly. She stood up and waved at me expressionlessly. Zhang Haochen, come here. I turned my head back, a little puzzled. This was the first time Xie Qingwan had called out to me at school. Didn't we agree not to let others find out about our relationship? The class president, Zhang Ruoxuan, standing next to me was stunned. Isn't this the great school beauty Xia of Yizhong High School? What kind of relationship does she have with Zhang Haochen? Just as she was letting her thoughts run wild, Xie Qingwan spoke again. Come sit next to me and eat. I need to ask you something. Her voice was indifferent, betraying little emotion. Zhang Ruoxuan pondered the relationship between the two. She didn't dare to linger. She hurriedly took her tray and scurried away. As for me, I hesitated for a moment before reluctantly walking over. Just then, Chen Hao and Li Yu, you came looking for me to eat. Hey Ochin, why did you run off to eat by yourself? But when he got a clear look at the girl sitting opposite me, Chen Hao was instantly dumbfounded. His eyes nearly popped out of his head. Ai Yu, on the other hand, was very natural. She greeted Xie Qingwan. Xie Qingwan was silent for a moment. You two, sit at the next table. The two of them were stunned. Luckily, Li Yu reacted first. She quickly pulled the dumbfounded Chen Hao away. I looked at Xie Qingwan carefully. What's wrong with you today? Hearing that, Xie Qingwan finally reacted. What did I just do? Thinking of that, her ears immediately burned hot. She lowered her head, pretending to naturally nibble on her chopsticks. Then she calmly opened her mouth. Did you forget what you promised so quickly? I was taken aback, but I understood immediately. She was talking about not dating before university, but I didn't feel guilty at all. On the contrary, I found it very amusing. What is this girl thinking about? Right after, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I didn't explain either. I just watched her lazily. Xie Qingwan was a little annoyed by my laughter. You did something wrong, yet you're secretly happy about it? She thought for a moment, figuring she needed to do something to make me unhappy. So Xie Qingwan reached out with her chopsticks and directly took the piece of the only chicken thigh from my plate. I didn't mind. I laughed as I explained about the graduation party. Because I'm the student life officer, and I have a good relationship with Yu. She wanted me to book a private room at Yu's family's restaurant. Other than that, I barely even talked to her on a normal day. But Xie Qingwan looked at me with a disbelieving expression. She had seen that girl with her own eyes, smiling as she took out her phone. Didn't you just add her on WeChat? No, she wanted to add me. Said it was for easier contact. Xie Qingwan frowned. You gave it to her? I did. But can you give me back my chicken thigh first? My eyes were glued to my chicken thigh, looking like I had no psychological burden whatsoever. Hearing that, Xie Qingwan's expression soured a bit. She was originally going to return the chicken thigh to me, but now she pulled it back. No, I'm not full yet. Seeing this, I couldn't help but laugh out loud again. Such a stingy big girl. This soft laughter reached Xie Qingwan's ears, and it made her feel extremely annoyed, just like the pouty feeling from the morning. After I had laughed enough, I stopped teasing her. I tapped her plate with my chopsticks. Look, check your phone. Xie Qingwan frowned. Check what? I told you to look, so just look. Hearing that, Xie Qingwan sternly took out her phone. Only then did she notice in her new friend requests on WeChat, a red dot had appeared at some point. Hello Jiang Haochen, I'm Zhang Ruoxuan. Please accept when you see this. Seeing this, Xie Qingwan was a bit stunned. What is this? I just gave her your WeChat. Now Xie Qingwan was even more stunned. Why did you give her mine? I chuckled softly. Didn't I promise you and Jiang Yao? If a girl wants my contact info, don't I have to ask my wife for permission first? Xie Qingwan froze. After a short pause, her fair earlobes suddenly flushed a deep red. Then she looked around in extreme embarrassment and lowered her voice to say, Who's your wife? Are you trying to get killed? At school, what are you yelling about? I raised an eyebrow. So you mean I can call you that when we're not at school? Xie Qingwan instinctively pushed her tongue against her right cheek to soothe the strange tingling sensation in her ears. This guy, ever since coming back from the hospital last time, has always liked to tease her with the word wife. After a long while, Xie Qingwan put on a stern face again. She placed the chicken thigh back on my plate. But perhaps because she felt her earlier action was a bit impulsive, Xia Qingwan wanted to salvage the situation a little, so she generously put her phone on the table. You can't add her. What if she needs to contact you for something? I waved my hand dismissively. I'm not that close to her. If it's anything important, you can just forward it. If it's nothing, just ignore her. Besides, aren't you worried? Xia Qingwan immediately retorted. I'm not worried at all. I'm just supervising you on behalf of Zhang Yao. I used my chopsticks to pick up some meat from my plate. All right then, you can supervise me. Looks like I'll have to remain chaste for Zhang Yao's sake in this life. Xia Qingwan almost wanted to laugh, but she held it back. Suddenly remembering something, I paused and said, Oh, right. Xia Qingwan, there's something I needed to tell you. My mom told me to come home this week. I want to bring Zhang Yao with me. Xia Qingwan was also taken aback. Is that appropriate? I sighed inwardly. I don't know, but my aunt has been hinting. She's asked Zhang Yao many times already. It's just that Zhang Yao is clever and hasn't been exposed. I think my aunt really suspects now that I'm helping my dad raise his illegitimate child. Xia Qingwan hummed in acknowledgement. Her voice was gentle. So what are you planning to say? I was silent for a moment. I shook my head. It depends on the situation. They'll just bring Zhang Yao home first. I have the DNA report. No matter what, I can explain it clearly. Xia Qingwan hesitated for a bit. It's probably not appropriate for me to go now, but what should I say to Zhang Haochen's family then? I can't just say outright that I'm your future daughter-in-law, can I? I knew what she was thinking. Then wait for me to explain Zhang Yao's situation clearly first. But no matter what, before we go to university, you have to meet them at least once. Not as a daughter-in-law, of course, but as Zhang Yao's mother, to put the two elders' minds at ease. Seeing her expression was still a bit heavy, I had to comfort her. Don't worry, my parents are very easy to talk to. Xia Qingwan nodded. After finishing the instructions, I cleared the plates on the table and got up to go back to class. As a result, Xia Qingwan suddenly called me back. Zhang Haochen. It seems like it's been a long time since I've held Zhang Yao. Please help me apologize to Zhang Yao again. Xia Qingwan lowered her eyes. Her voice dropped a little. I clearly promised Zhang Yao before that I would spend time with her. But ever since the incident at the hospital last time, the atmosphere at home has gotten stranger and stranger. I glanced at her. What's there to apologize for? Zhang Yao isn't angry with you. If you're busy, just focus on being busy. I'm taking very good care of Zhang Yao. Xia Qingwan lowered her eyes, still looking unhappy. The next second, she suddenly felt something cold press against her cheek. It even rolled around a little. She looked up and saw me tossing a cold can of Coke in my hand. I smiled and said, You're only 18. Even at over 30, as Xia Qingwan, you'll still have 20 more years to be with Zhang Yao. I chuckled. Missing these few days doesn't matter. Xia Qingwan thought about it carefully. Her brows clearly relaxed. That's true. There's still a long time ahead. When Xia Qingwan returned to the classroom, it was already full of people. Aside from a few who were resting, everyone else was quietly doing their assignments with their heads down. Xia Qingwan also sat down and opened her test paper. But before she could write more than a few words, someone gently tapped on her desk. Xia Qingwan looked up at him. It was the class's student life officer, Lin Wenyuan. Classmate Xia Qingwan, our class created a graduation group chat. Everyone is already in it. You're the only one who hasn't joined. While we have some time now, let me add you. Xia Qingwan smiled politely. There's no need. I don't really like joining large groups. Lin Wenyuan's expression didn't change, and he said very humbly, Then you can just add my WeChat. After graduation, well, organize a class reunion or visit our teachers. I'm afraid I won't be able to notify you then. Xia Qingwan was silent for a moment, thinking it seemed okay. Lin Wenyuan quickly used the excuse of the graduation gathering, a task assigned by the teachers. Reluctantly, Xia Qingwan had to nod. Wait a moment. Lin Wenyuan was stunned, then his eyes lit up with joy and he quickly took out his phone. It doesn't have to be that troublesome. Just read it to me. Xia Qingwan fumbled for her phone under the desk. No, let me see what my WeChat ID is. Hearing this, a question mark immediately appeared over Lin Wenyuan's head, and on the other side, I had just sat down when a red dot appeared on WeChat. I'm Lin Wenyuan. If anything comes up in the group later, I'll inform you directly. Seeing this, I was a bit stunned. But before I could even think, Xia Qingwan sent a message over. I can't let you be at a disadvantage, right? I let out a soft chuckle. Why do you like to copy me so much? He's a guy. What if he wants to date you? Xia Qingwan replied instantly. Then you can go date him. After replying, she put away her phone and went back to her test paper. As for me, I thought for a moment, and still added this guy named Lin Wenyuan. Luckily, after Zhang Yao appeared, my profile picture was changed to Doraemon. It really looked very girly. Then I scrolled through my moments, and there was nothing out of the ordinary, so I locked my phone, tossed it in the drawer, and started doing my homework. However, not even 2.5 seconds later, Chen Hao suddenly walked in with a dark expression, followed by La Yu Yu. He pulled a chair, sat down opposite me, and said with a scowl, Haochan, search your conscience and tell me, have your bros treated you well all these years? I thought for a moment. It's been all right. Last New Year, you came to my house and secretly took 300 yuan from my red envelope to buy game skins. You've taken my money too. Chen Hao coughed loudly. How dare you hide such a big thing from us old folks? Fess up now, you bastard. How could you sit and eat with the school beauty, chatting with her all noon, and look so happy about it? What does she like about you? Is her grandfather's tea garden also struggling to sell its stock? I shook my head. No, I didn't hide it from you. I only hid it from you. Hearing that, Chen Hao was stunned. He looked at Li Yu in disbelief. Seeing this, Li Yu raised her eyebrows. That's right, you're the only one who didn't know. The line of Chen Hao's lips gradually stiffened. He stood up, pretending to strangle his best friend. How dare you go out and mess with women? I'm gonna tell your mom you're so done for. I couldn't take it anymore, and quickly pulled his hands away. Are you crazy? Seeing that the classroom was getting more crowded, Chen Hao adjusted his clothes and sat down, but his gaze was still fixed on me. Tell me, have you won her over yet? Actually, it's not that he can't accept his bro doing well. It's just that now that you have a Porsche, you can't just throw away your old Magatan, can you? Li Yu, you glanced at Chen Hao and couldn't help but chuckle softly. As for me, I let out a cold laugh. Damn it, can you stop projecting your own ways onto me? Chen Hao pouted. Reliable. Bring her out to meet us after graduation. After saying that, he deliberately poked my forehead with his finger. Train her a little stricter. Remember to have her greet us then. First, fix your own bad habits before you talk. From what I know about Xia Qingwan, that stubborn girl probably wouldn't like playboy like Chen Hao. Chen Hao leaned back lazily in his chair. Can't be helped? I'm too handsome. I nodded. That's true. When they see a handsome dog on the street, girls all want to run over and pet it a little. Li Yu, you gave a thumbs up. Well said. Just then, our homeroom teacher, Lao Wu, walked in and then started handing out the previous monthly exam papers. He knocked sternly on the desk. Although the foundation was built in the first 2 years, you can still fall behind in these few months. As for whether I'm talking about Chen Hao, I won't call him out by name here. Hearing this, Chen Hao's face darkened. Isn't this old man deliberately targeting me? As for me, I looked at my score and didn't pay much attention. After carefully noting down the wrong answers, I asked you to pass my monthly exam paper to Xia Qingwan. And Xia Qingwan, as soon as she received my exam paper, immediately started calculating the score. The total score was over 620. Especially in English, it had increased by 30 points in a short time. Xia Qingwan was a bit stunned. A score of 620 wasn't particularly high for her. In the past, no matter how well she did on an exam, she would face her own test paper with a calm demeanor, without much emotion. But now, Xia Qingwan felt quite happy because girls all want to run over and pet it a little. Li Yu, you gave a thumbs up. Well said. Just then, our homeroom teacher, Lao Wu, walked in and then started handing out the previous monthly exam papers. He knocked sternly on the desk. Although the foundation was built in the first 2 years, you can still fall behind in these few months. As for whether I'm talking about Chen Hao, I won't call him out by name here. Hearing this, Chen Hao's face darkened. Isn't this old man deliberately targeting me? As for me, I looked at my score and didn't pay much attention. After carefully noting down the wrong answers, I asked you to pass my monthly exam paper to Xia Qingwan. And Xia Qingwan, as soon as she received my exam paper, immediately started calculating the score. The total score was over 620. Especially in English, it had increased by 30 points in a short time. Xia Qingwan was a bit stunned. A score of 620 wasn't particularly high for her. In the past, no matter how well she did on an exam, she would face her own test paper with a calm demeanor, without much emotion. But now, Xia Qingwan felt quite happy, because the things she had promised, whether she could achieve them or not, she would definitely try her best to do. Xia Qingwan really couldn't help it, and the corners of her eyes curved up slightly. Then, she secretly took advantage of the break and used her phone to send me 2 messages. As a result, after sending them, Xia Qingwan suddenly felt that she had sent such silly things. So she immediately recalled them and sent a new one. Not bad. It's okay. A moment later, she sent another message. In our class, it's not even average. It's far worse than mine. So this is all you've got. Xia Qingwan looked at the words this time and felt there shouldn't be any problem. But in the very next second, I replied, I just saw them. After saying that, I directly sent back a screenshot of the chat. It was the 2 sentences that Xia Qingwan had recalled within a second. The first sentence was, you've improved a lot. The second was a cute, coquettish emoji. Seeing this, Xia Qingwan was completely stunned. She hurriedly typed a reply. Wrong button. I didn't think he had this side to him, so I quickly took a screenshot. Of course, that quick recall action was also very in line with Xia Qingwan's personality. It had a sense of pretending to be calm and pretending to be serious. This girl actually has a bit of an idol complex. Amid the busy school schedule, time quickly flew to Friday evening. I held my daughter's hand and went back to my parents' house. Hearing the key in the lock, Lin Hui came out from the kitchen. You finally decided to come home? Your father nags me every day, saying that if you don't come home anymore, he'll have another child with me. I smelled a rich aroma and glanced at the dining table. I saw it was filled with all sorts of dishes. They were basically all my favorite dishes. I felt happy inside, but on the outside, I still waved my hand and said, I feel like you don't miss me. You just purely want to have a child with Dad. By the way, where's the old man? He's on the balcony hanging clothes. Lin Hui was about to say something else when she suddenly noticed the little girl behind me, then her eyes scanned back and forth, but she didn't see the ridiculously beautiful girl from last time. This made her expression a little surprised. Isn't this stinky brat supposed to be bringing someone home to meet the family? Why didn't he bring an adult home, but brought such a little kid instead? Is he looking for a beating? At this moment, Zhang Yao called out sweetly, "Hello, Grandma, hello, dear. Hello, your name is Zhang Yao, right?" Although Lin Hui didn't quite understand what was happening, she still wiped her hands, and her tone immediately became gentle. "Is your sister not here today?" Zhang Yao scratched her face. "My sister is busy." Hearing this, Lin Hui looked at me with suspicion. I urged again, "Let's talk later if there's anything. I'm starving." Lin Hui suppressed her belly full of doubts and turned back into the kitchen. At this moment, my father, Zhang Minghui, walked over from the balcony. He first glanced at me, then his gaze fell on the porcelain doll like Zhang Yao and lingered for a long time. Seeing this, I patted my little daughter's head. "Zhang Yao, call him Grandpa." Hearing this, Zhang Minghui finally looked away. "Hello, little one. But you stinky brat, don't teach a child to call people random things." Actually, after Lin Hui came home last time, she had already told him everything, but he didn't expect me to actually bring someone home. Not long after, the family started eating dinner. Although the couple had a lot of questions for their son, they managed to hold back during the meal and didn't ask anything. It was just that their gazes kept glancing at Zhang Yao, who was busy eating. After dinner, I led my daughter to the sofa, then found an evening cartoon for her to watch. Zhang Minghui and his wife looked at each other, then he lowered his voice and said, "What's going on?" Lin Hui frowned. "I don't know. You'll ask him later, but I have to go play chess with old Chen later." Lin Hui gave him a contemptuous look. "Go on, you're useless anyway." Zhang Minghui held back, not daring to retort. He said goodbye to me and took his keys to go out. After he left, Lin Hui's gaze fell on Zhang Yao. Towards this little girl who had called her Grandma upon their first meeting, the questions were actually far more numerous than I had imagined. Seeing this, I picked Zhang Yao up and placed her on my lap. "Mom, take a closer look. Doesn't she look a bit like that girl?" Lin Hui said unhappily. "Do I not have eyes? If a younger sister doesn't look like her older sister, who would she look like?" Hearing this, Zhang Yao's eyes curved into crescents, revealing her small white teeth. This scene immediately stunned Lin Hui. I spoke at the right moment. "And she also looks a bit like me, right? She's much prettier than you were as a child. So, do you feel that she and our Jiang family have a special connection?" Lin Hui frowned. "What's wrong with this kid today?" Since I had decided to be honest with my mom, I didn't dawdle any longer. I directly handed over the family photo I had prepared, and everything that had happened since Zhang Yao appeared. I told her everything at once. Lin Hui was hit with the barrage of things I poured out and was instantly frozen. But not long after, I saw her face full of excitement. "Do you think I'm an idiot? How could you possibly marry such a beautiful wife?" A bunch of question marks immediately appeared over my head, and Lin Hui continued to ramble on. "Why would she marry you? Is it because you're ugly? Or is it because you wear that grumpy face every day?" I pouted. "Am I ugly? Anyway, you're the ugliest one in our family." As she spoke, Lin Hui pinched my face hard. "You look less and less like me every day. Your nose, your eyes, everything resembles your father." I didn't waste any more words. I directly placed the paternity test report in her hand. "See for yourself, Mom." The evidence was as solid as a mountain, leaving no room for Lin Hui to say anything more. She was stunned for a moment, then pulled out her phone to call her husband. "Get your ass back home now. Your son's been under too much academic pressure lately. He's got mental problems." Zhang Minghui paused for a moment. "Then find a chain and tie him up. Don't let him bite people. I'll be right back after I finish this game." Lin Hui was silent for a moment. 3 minutes. "If you can't make it back, find somewhere else to sleep tonight. Honey, I'm coming home right now." And so, 2.5 minutes later, Zhang Minghui returned, drenched in sweat. Lin Hui grimly handed over the family photo and the paternity test report. She then repeated what I had just said. After that, Zhang Minghui was also stunned. Is his condition really this serious? I didn't expect them to accept it immediately. For the entire night, basically, I answered whatever the two of them asked. I even used my phone to open the online report from the testing center to prove I wasn't making things up. Until the next morning, the thoughts of Lin Hui and Zhang Minghui finally managed to shift. From, "Is our son mentally ill?" to, "Damn it, are we mentally ill?" So after that, we took Zhang Yao to the hospital to do another DNA test. After all, without a definitive result, Lin Hui still couldn't believe it. Only then would they consider whether to take their son to the psychiatry department. The results came out on Sunday morning. After getting the report from the testing center, the couple sat in the car watching Zhang Yao's head through the rearview mirror as she yawned little by little. I didn't say anything either, leaving them space to calm down. After a long while, Zhang Minghui looked at me and asked, "Besides the 4 of us, does anyone else know?" I shook my head. "No one else. Even my youngest aunt doesn't know. At first I didn't want to tell you two, but I felt it wouldn't be fair to you." At this moment, Lin Hui mumbled, "How could this be? I never got to see what she looked like as a newborn. I've never even held her." Jiang Minghui opened the car door. "Hey Ochin, get out of the car with me first. I have something to talk to you about." I carefully helped my daughter sit up, letting her lean against the back of the seat before getting out. Mr. Jiang Minghui said with a stern face, "About Jiang Yao, your mother and I have seen and heard everything. Keep this strictly to yourselves. You and that girl should focus on the college entrance exams. Don't get distracted." I nodded. "Dad, I understand. It's good that you understand. Your mother and I will think carefully about how to handle this in the next 2 days." Compared to the two young people, me and Xia Qingwan, the two older adults probably needed more time to accept it. After all, suddenly having a child related by blood wasn't just an unexpected joy and surprise, but also a responsibility. Then, Jiang Minghui secretly transferred me some of his private funds. "Let Jiang Yao stay with us for 2 days, then next week, your mother and I will go over there with Jiang Yao. We want to meet our daughter-in-law." When I heard my dad say he wanted to meet Xia Qingwan, I immediately reacted. What on earth is this old man trying to do? So I pouted and said, "She's not your daughter-in-law yet." Jiang Minghui gave me a meaningful look. "You already have a daughter, so where can she run to?" But he still changed to another reason. "We just want to meet Jiang Yao's mother. There's no problem with that, right?" Then, the father and son talked for a while longer. Lin Hui, beaming with joy, led Jiang Yao out of the car. Having such a beautiful and adorable granddaughter, she still felt like she was in a dream. And what was even more unbelievable was that the girl so beautiful she could become a big star was actually her future daughter-in-law. Thinking of this, Lin Hui pinched her granddaughter's cheek. Her small face was soft and fair. What kind of world is this, where a toad can actually get the swan? Jiang Yao tilted her head and thought for a moment, her eyes curving into crescents, but she didn't refute it. Because her future grandma often said the same thing. I couldn't be bothered with her. I just gave some instructions about taking Jiang Yao to school on Monday. Lin Hui agreed immediately. "How are you and that girl doing now? Or maybe after graduating from university, you can directly." I waved my hand. "You're thinking too far ahead. The two of us only keep in touch because of Jiang Yao. Under normal circumstances, she would only start pursuing me in another 10 years. Lin Hui frowned. "She pursued you?" Without blushing or my heart skipping a beat, I nodded. "That's right. She pursued me for several years. Who knew Lin Hui would just scoff disdainfully? I think it's probably only if all the men in the world died." I ignored her. Seeing that everything was more or less settled, I went upstairs to pack my things, getting ready to go back to school. When I returned to my rented place, it was already afternoon, and it was only now that the weight in my heart was finally lifted. Then I picked up my phone. There were many unread messages on it, but the message at the very top was a poster and a message from Lin Wenyuan. It basically said that the college entrance exam was approaching, everyone was stressed, so next weekend we could go to the mall to watch a movie and relax a bit. In short, the implication was very clear. I chuckled softly, then replied, "Is it the grand opening next weekend?" Lin Wenyuan probably didn't expect to actually receive a message. A few seconds later, he sent an emoji. "That's right. Is classmate Xia Qingwan interested?" I looked at the poster for a moment and directly replied thanks, then closed the chat box and directly forwarded the poster to Xia Qingwan. "Jiang Yao's mom, should we take Jiang Yao out to play?" There was no response from the other side for a long time. It wasn't until I had been sitting at my desk doing a test paper for a while that my phone rang again. Xia Qingwan called directly. "I just took a nap. Are you back?" Her voice carried the soft dreaminess of someone who had just woken up. "I'm back." I immediately brought the topic back. "Are we going this weekend?" On the other side, Xia Qingguan was sitting on her bed, her eyes half closed. It took her a while to understand I was talking about the poster. "I'll try." Because in this month's exam, her grades didn't slip at all. She was still solidly ranked 6th in the science stream. So her father's attitude towards her had also become much gentler. At least it was no longer like before, where he was as wary of her friends as if they were thieves. At this point, Xia Qingguan remembered the main topic. "When you took Jiang Yao back this time, did your parents say anything?" It took them a long time to accept it. As I said that, I chuckled. "But my mom said I was a toad trying to eat a swan? What kind of world is this?" Xia Qingguan rolled her eyes. "I've really never seen such a shameless swan." With her understanding of me, the toad my mom mentioned was most likely me. Then Xia Qingguan pursed her lips. "And?" I casually flipped through a book. "They want to meet you. They said they'd find some time this week to come over." As soon as I finished speaking, the other end of the line went silent for a long time. Xia Qingguan's tense voice came through. "Meet? Meet me?" I was a bit surprised. "Why are you so nervous? Didn't we just meet last time?" "That time was different," Xia Qingguan replied softly. "After all, last time when she met Lin Hui, it was as a classmate. Although it was a bit awkward, it wasn't to the point of being flustered. But this time, your parents are coming together, and they're bringing Jiang Yao. The meaning is completely different. It might make the two parents look at her with the scrutinizing gaze for a future daughter-in-law. Thinking this, she hurriedly got out of bed, took a deep breath. What day are they coming? Should I buy some gifts for them then? I can't meet them empty-handed. I lazily cut her off. No need. Just dress comfortably. That's fine. It's not a big deal anyway. How can that be okay? Xia Qingwan opened her closet, muttering as she looked at her clothes. This is the first time meeting parents. Meeting your parents. Wouldn't you be nervous meeting the adults in my family? Perhaps afraid I'd find her reaction a bit strange. Xia Qingwan used this to retort. I thought for a moment. I think it would be fine. Then I'll find a chance to take you to meet my mother. I was a bit confused. Your mother? Xia Qingwan said softly. My mother's grave is at Heiyuan, in the southern suburbs. I want my mom to see Zhang Yao. I paused for a moment, my voice deepening. Mom will really like Zhang Yao. Xia Qingwan pouted in protest. It's my mom who will like Zhang Yao. Don't talk nonsense. Then I'll dress up really nicely for that. Otherwise, your mom will really say that I'm a toad trying to eat a swan. At this point, I no longer argued with Xia Qingwan and said with a smile, Xia Qingwan couldn't help but laugh. She won't. Mom is a very, very gentle person. Besides, I'm not a swan either. As she spoke, her heart softened. If we're talking about swans, perhaps Zhang Haochin on the other end of the line is the real swan. Since birth, he has enjoyed the affection of everyone in his family. In his 18 years of life, not a single person hasn't loved him. Therefore, he has a candidness and narcissism deep in his bones. On this point, he and someone who has to live cautiously, relying on others, like her, are very different. Immediately after, Xia Qingwan dismissed the thought and thought carefully for a moment. So, can we arrange to meet your parents next Saturday? I'll try to talk to my family, to clear a day, but it'll probably have to be home before 6 p.m. But to be honest, I looked around and shook my head, feeling a bit helpless. For 2 years of high school, I lived alone. I never felt the house was cold before, but now, it's truly a bit lonely. After the little one arrived, my life changed abruptly. Zhang Yao would be jumping and playing all over the place all day, lying on the sofa, eating strawberries and watching cartoons, clinging to me, asking for hugs and kisses. Sometimes I really felt she was too clingy. It's only been 2 months, and with my daughter not around, I'm really a bit unused to it. Truly the mentality of an old dad. Xia Qingwan squinted her eyes and smiled. That's good. You'll be a good father in the future. I raised an eyebrow. I am one now. After just a few short days together, my parents had completely fallen in love with this incredibly adorable granddaughter. Lin Hui even said directly over the phone, how on earth did you end up with such a cute child? Why did you only give birth to me back then? I yawned. Because sons usually resemble their mothers, and daughters usually resemble their fathers. Hearing this, Lin Hui was completely silent. After that, it was finally Saturday to meet my parents. That day, I had arranged to meet Xia Qingwan downstairs early. Today, the great beauty Xia had changed into a white dress no one had ever seen before. As soon as she saw me, she asked a little nervously, Zhang Haochin, how does this outfit look? I'm not very good at dressing up. I thought for a moment and reached out to take down her hair tie. This is good. Xia Qingwan stiffened slightly. Then her long black hair, tied in a ponytail, naturally fell down. She had no makeup on, looking a bit like the person in Zhang Yao's photo. Half an hour later, Zhang Minghui drove over with his wife and granddaughter. When Zhang Yao saw us, she immediately got out of the car and ran down, throwing herself into Xia Qingwan's arms. Mommy, I missed you so much. Xia Qingwan also pursed her lips and smiled. Mommy missed you too. Meanwhile, when Lin Hui and Jiang Minghui saw her, they were both stunned. This mother and daughter pair are just too beautiful. As for that troublemaker standing next to them, how could he be allowed to ruin it all? Thinking this, Lin Hui enthusiastically went forward and said, Qingwan, you're so beautiful, just like a star. You're the school beauty of #1 high school, right? Xia Qingwan shyly shook her head. Not at all, Auntie. You're very beautiful too. This sweet-talking little mouth made Lin Hui extremely pleased. Auntie has never seen a girl as beautiful as Qingwan. Auntie doesn't have a daughter, so just come and be my daughter. About Xia Qingwan's family situation, I had already told Lin Hui 2 days ago. At that time, Lin Hui cried her eyes out. At this moment, I let out a soft laugh. It's good for her to be your daughter. Then I'd have another little sister. Xia Qingwan glanced at me. Seeing my lazy expression, she got a little annoyed. I'm a little older than you. After saying that, they all got in the car. But I didn't expect that. As soon as I sat in the passenger seat, Dad whispered to me, Hey Ochin, I just looked at the housing prices in the city center, a house over 100 square meters. The down payment is about 600,000. By the time you graduate from college, we should have saved up enough. I frowned at my dad. You and Mom don't need to save up. I'll save money to buy a house myself. Besides, Dad, what's the rush? It's not like we're talking about. Jiang Minghui looked through the rearview mirror and saw Lin Hui pulling Xia Qingwan to talk. He immediately understood. He said with a displeased expression, I'm saving up anyway. Can you even control me? Besides, who said I was saving it for you? I'm saving to buy a house in the city center and then use it as a dowry for my daughter, can't I? Hearing this, Xia Qingwan was stunned. Immediately after, her ears burned. That's not. Uncle, your words. Isn't the meaning a bit too obvious? I also glanced at Jiang Minghui. A dowry for his daughter. And then call us the Jiang family, huh? I couldn't bring myself to expose him. Since it was almost noon, we found a quiet restaurant and sat down. Lin Hui and Jiang Minghui quickly pulled their granddaughter to sit with them, leaving the empty seats opposite for the two young people. I didn't mind either, walked straight over, and sat down next to Xia Qingwan. Just then, the waiter brought two menus. Xia Qingwan instinctively pushed her menu in front of me. You order. Seeing this, Lin Hui said with a smile, Don't be so formal with us. Today, Auntie and Uncle are treating you. Just order whatever you like. Xia Qingwan quickly shook her head. Auntie, I'm really not picky. Hearing this, I held the menu and looked at her. Are you always like this when you eat out with others? Xia Qingwan was stunned. Is there a problem? In this matter, she was indeed like that. She followed others' arrangements, since she would eat whatever was ordered anyway. Even family meals were like this. Then everyone should just order. I looked at her for a moment, then opened the menu and said, This girl likes sour and sweet things. Don't order anything spicy. Oh, and she especially likes cilantro. Hearing this, Xia Qingwan licked her lips, a strange feeling in her heart. At this moment, Zhang Yao excitedly raised her hand to answer. Zhang Yao likes cilantro too. Daddy likes to eat it too. Everyone in our family super likes it. Hearing that, I was a little surprised. After a while, I slowly said, That's right. Zhang Yao inherited it from her dad. When I heard this, Lin Hui and Jiang Minghui were clearly stunned. They looked at me, then at Xia Qingwan beside me. They looked like they wanted to say something but held back. After everyone finished eating, Xia Qingwan composed herself. Auntie, uncle, about my situation, Jiang Haochen has probably already told you, but there are a few things I think I still need to make clear to you. Lin Hui nodded. My mother passed away when I was very young. My father has a new family to support. I don't want them to argue because of my affairs and ruin their relationship. Xia Qingwan's voice paused for a moment. So financially, I might have some difficulties for now, but after graduation, I will find a way to become independent. At this point, Xia Qingwan took a deep breath. What I can offer might not be much, but I will definitely give the best to Zhang Yao. Hearing this, my gaze finally left my phone. Actually, she rarely talks this much at once. You could tell she had been thinking about this for a long time. As for Lin Hui and Zhang Ming, they just glanced at each other and said nothing. Until after the meal was finished, they told me to take Jiang Yao to play at the toy store. Jiang Minghui, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. Qingwan, your uncle and Haochen's mother came here today with no other intention. It's just that Haochen suddenly told us we have a granddaughter and we felt a bit uneasy, so we thought of coming to see you. Xia Qingwan nodded obediently. She actually knew long ago that my parents are very, very good people. Jiang Minghui hesitated a bit. Actually, Haochen is our only child. Although we always speak ill of him, we really can't bear to see him suffer at all. We're afraid he won't have a good life after getting married, so we thought we must come and see Xia Qingwan, and after meeting her, we feel at ease. Xia Qingwan really fits all of their imaginings of a daughter-in-law. After nearly half an hour, Lin Hui and her husband finally went on their date satisfied. Meanwhile, Xia Qingwan walked into the toy store where Jiang Yao and I were. As soon as she saw me, she pursed her lips and then slowly said, Why are you so good to me? I looked at her confused. When was I ever good to you? But you don't eat cilantro, do you? Like, you don't touch it at all. Just now, when Jiang Yao said her daddy likes to eat it, your parents' expressions seemed a bit off. This proves that the future Jiang Haochen never mentioned this to them and Jiang Yao. I chuckled softly. It's no big deal. Could eating a piece of cilantro kill me? I'm a man. I can't lose face by having my wife and child accommodate me. You're always like this. Xia Qingwan was a little sulky. She mumbled under her breath. Sometimes you're really hateful. I don't know what a guy with standards as high as the sky like you saw in me anyway, but hearing her words, I couldn't help but laugh. This finally made Xia Qingwan angry. She pinched my arm and twisted it hard. You're laughing at me again. You're always laughing at me. What's so funny about this? Seeing that, I finally stopped. You're right. That guy is very arrogant. His standards are sky high. His requirements for a girlfriend are very high. With that, I placed the bunny ear hat in my hand on Xia Qingwan's head. The person I've set my eyes on is definitely the best. Xia Qingwan instinctively raised a hand to hold the hat, her ears warming up a little. Does this guy even realize that he always says such outrageous things? But being with him is probably just like that. Once he likes someone, it's probably for a lifetime. They are both the type to have an explosively pure love, stubborn as a bull. Otherwise, they wouldn't be almost 30 years old without ever having been in a relationship. Still each other's incredibly pure first love. Xia Qingwan looked in the mirror, feeling it was a bit childish. Her appearance doesn't really suit sweet and cute accessories. Zhang Yao is different. The child also has all my good points. When she grows up, she might be even more beautiful than her mother. Thinking this, Xia Qingwan squatted down and hugged her daughter. Jiang Yao giggled. Mommy, let's each have a bunny ear hat. If we do, Daddy will have 2 little bunnies. Hearing this, Xia Qingwan paused for a moment and then slowly took off the hat and held it in her hand. What are you talking about? Seeing this, I instructed Jiang Yao in a profound tone. Jiang Yao, Mommy is very thin-skinned. Next time wait until after Daddy has bought it before saying things like that. Got it? Jiang Yao nodded vigorously. Got it. After that, we played with our daughter in the toy store for a long time and also took her to a milk tea shop to rest, while waiting for those 2 parents who were wandering around. But Jiang Yao was a bit tired from playing, snuggled in Xia Qingwan's arms, dozing off with her eyes squinted. Xia Qingwan poked the little girl's cheek and suddenly said, Jiang Haochen, I rarely talk about my family with you. I nodded. I spun the milk teacup on the table with my hand. It's fine if you don't. Xia Qingwan looked out the window. Her tone was calm. It's nothing. Actually, I'm not really considered an easy daughter to get along with. I said nothing, sitting opposite her and listening as she slowly recounted. When I was 6 years old, Auntie Xiao came to our house. At first, she treated me very, very well. When I called her mom, she was also very happy. But very quickly, Qiang was born. What mother doesn't love her own child? But Xiao Ziqing, although she would occasionally, because of Xia Qingwan's matters, argue with Xia Qiming, she did indeed raise Xia Qingwan to adulthood. This was enough not to fail the birth mother of Xia Qingwan, who had left her daughter early. At this point, Xia Qingwan gently pursed her lips. So compared to everyone else, my issues with my father might be a bit heavier. Many times, I also feel it's my own problem. It seems like I'm not close to anyone at home. I sighed. That's not it. It has nothing to do with you. You were too young back then. It's very normal not to be able to accept it. Xia Qingwan hummed in agreement. Actually, I can understand, but I guess I'm quite stubborn. It's like that in every aspect. I didn't quite understand what she meant. Xia Qingwan wasn't in a hurry either. She sat alone thinking for a long time. After a while, she looked at me with a puzzled expression. My face was full of question marks. What's wrong? It's just that saying it out loud sounds a bit sentimental. Xia Qingwan took a sip of her milk tea, then licked the white milk foam from her lips. Perhaps once I fall in love with someone, even if that person is no longer by my side, I will love them forever. Hearing this, I couldn't help but smile, my eyes crinkling. You're being really clingy, so whoever you get attached to, you must have been their enemy in a past life. Xia Qingwan laughed too. Her long, narrow eyes squinted, making her look uncharacteristically like a sly fox. I thought for a moment, then said softly, That's good, because I can't bear to be left alone. Qingwan, when we're old, I have to pass away before my wife. Xia Qingwan was speechless. This was the first time I had called her Qingwan. Although it sounded a bit strange, it didn't feel too unfamiliar. It was as if I was always supposed to address her this way. But she quickly reacted, frowning at me. What are you talking about? Are you even thinking when you speak? I was intrigued. Then let's put it another way. Qingwan, I wish you a long life. But Xia Qingwan suddenly acted older. Then I wish you live one day longer than me. I was a little curious. Why? Didn't you say I was your enemy from a past life? After saying that, Xia Qingwan poked me and made a gesture of pulling my ear. So won't you only be at ease if you're always watching over me? The girl's clear voice carried a hint of a threat at the end, like a string of wind chimes in the afternoon sun, and it made my heart flutter. And as time went by, our college entrance exam and graduation season was approaching. That day, after teaching the final class, Lao Wu gave us a 3-day break. This was to prevent us from becoming physically and mentally exhausted and anxious from studying for too long. So, the next day, Xia Qingwan took me and Jiang Yao to her mother's grave. On the tombstone was a photo of a woman who looked very much like Xia Qingwan, an identical Jiangnan beauty. Xia Qingwan knelt before the grave, staring at her mother's youthful photo. She gently recounted everything that had happened recently, slowly telling her mother, Mom, Qingwan didn't understand before. I always thought you were too cruel for just leaving me behind. It wasn't until Jiang Yao appeared that I realized that the one whose heart ached the most from leaving her daughter was you. Even now, Xia Qingwan still clearly remembered that night when her mother stroked her head and told her, Qingwan, when you wake up tomorrow morning, everything will be fine. The woman, tormented by illness, still saved her last bit of gentleness for her daughter. Jiang Yao touched her mother's face, and like a little rabbit, snuggled into her mother's embrace. Grandma sent both Jiang Yao and Daddy to be good to Mommy for the rest of her life. Her daughter's words caused the tip of Xia Qingwan's nose to suddenly sting, and I stood beside them watching the mother and daughter with a rare, dazed expression on my face. Just then, Xia Qingwan turned her head and saw this guy, who had always been fearless, standing there, staring blankly at the photo on the tombstone. She couldn't help but tug at my sleeve. Why are you suddenly spacing out? Go on, greet Mom. I finally snapped out of it, paused for a moment, and said, Mom, I'm Jiang Haochen, Jiang Yao's father. Xia Qingwan pursed her lips slightly. You should kneel down too. I haven't introduced you to Mom yet. Hearing that, I knelt down beside her. The two of us, shoulder to shoulder, looked at the woman in the photo. Xia Qingwan lowered her eyes, her voice low. This is Zhang Haochen, also a very, very good person that Qingwan has met. I thought for a long while before slowly saying, Mom, from now on, I will take care of her for you. Please also bless her so she can always be happy, content, and safe. Then you should tell Mom about our relationship. I hesitated for a moment. Right now, How should I tell your mom about our relationship? We aren't lovers yet, but we're already raising a child. That silly girl was probably angered by my slowness. Xia Qingwan gripped my arm tightly. Then, she turned her head to look at the woman in the photo. Her ears suddenly burned hot. Mom, he is Yuan Yuan's future husband. I thought for a moment and let out a soft laugh. If you say it like that, won't your mom think of me as her son-in-law? Xia Qingwan's cheeks flushed. She said nothing, quietly taking an incense stick and bowing in respect. Afterwards, the two of them, along with their daughter, knelt before the grave for a while longer. They patted their numb knees and stood up. Don't be a crybaby anymore, okay? Otherwise, Mom will blame me for not taking good care of you. Xia Qingwan's nose tingled. She lowered her head and searched through her bag, pulling out that familiar little rabbit doll. The stuffed bunny was tiny. It was very old. Its whole body had been stitched up needle by needle. Xia Qingwan reluctantly pinched its rabbit ears, then placed it in my hand. She instructed me seriously, take it with you during the college entrance exam. Mom will bless you. Give it back to me after the exam. I rubbed the stuffed animal with my fingers, and after a while I put it in my pocket. With it by my side, it'll definitely do well on the exam. After speaking, I looked her up and down. But why are you still wearing your uniform today? Xia Qingwan paused. I won't be able to wear it anymore in the future. After I go to college, Mom might not see me for a very long time. I wanted her to see it one more time. Why can't I see Grandma? Zhang Yao had just hopped up the stairs. She was a little tired from jumping, her cheeks flushed red. She plopped into my lap to rest. Xia Qingwan reached out and used her sleeve to wipe the sweat from the little girl's forehead. Because Daddy and Mommy have to go to college. We might go somewhere very far away. Hearing this, Zhang Yao immediately furrowed her brows. So, will Daddy and Mommy leave Zhang Yao? Of course, we'll take Zhang Yao with us. How could Daddy and Mommy bear to leave you? Xia Qingwan's voice was gentle and very doting. Zhang Yao was so happy she almost jumped for joy. Does that mean Zhang Yao can finally live with Daddy and Mommy? Yay, Daddy and Mommy are the best actually. She had always found it very strange. Why didn't her parents, when they were young, live together? They clearly fought over sleeping with her dad when they were older. Xia Qingwan precisely caught the key word in her daughter's words. She gave me a look and pressed her lips together without a word. Probably sensing her mother's strange mood, Zhang Yao scratched her mother's palm. Don't you want to, Mommy? Xia Qingwan finally came to her senses. Zhang Yao, Daddy and Mommy have to be in love first before they can live together, and only then could there be Zhang Yao. Then hurry up and fall in love. Don't you like Daddy, Mommy? It's not that I don't like him. Suddenly meeting my gaze, Xia Qingwan's words got stuck in her throat. Just then, Zhang Yao asked again, Mommy, what does it mean to be in love? Xia Qingwan sighed internally. This greedy little imp, Zhang Yao. Why do you keep pestering me? Go ask your dad too. Thinking this, she hesitated for a long time before continuing. It's when two people have to truly like each other first. Then they can hold hands, hug, and kiss, and then they tell each other everything they like. Only then is it considered true love. I couldn't help but say with a laugh, this girl of yours is quite troublesome. Xia Qingwan lifted her chin proudly. She let out a soft humph. Well then, I am very troublesome. I clicked my tongue. A little trouble is good. We can take it one step at a time. We have plenty of time after all. Hearing this, a strange light flickered in the depths of Xia Qingwan's eyes. In fact, this was also their shared belief in love. When Xia Qingwan voiced her thoughts, she knew I thought the same way. So Zhang Yao, she and I in that world, were surely both regretting, for our own sakes, having missed out on each other's youth. I stroked my daughter's head. When Zhang Yao grows up, you'll understand. Your mom and I are the same kind of people. If we like someone, we have to like them with all our hearts. Zhang Yao only half understood. She glanced at her dad on the left, and glanced at her mom on the right. Finally, she put her finger in her mouth and nibbled on it. What does it mean to like someone with all your heart? Probably. Xia Qingwan rested her chin in her hand. She reached out and poked the dimple on her daughter's cheek. It's liking someone so much you want to do many, many things with them. You'd even regret missing out on a single small thing. Amidst the rustling of thousands of exam papers, the college entrance exam quickly came to an end. What followed were just minor, trivial matters. Zhang Yao's identity card and household registration were all taken care of by my parents. Until 3 days later, Xia Qingwan attended her class graduation party. She sat in a slightly hidden spot, occasionally chatting with the girl next to her. During the party, many boys came to offer her a toast. There was even someone who, dizzy with drink, confessed their feelings to her. At first, Xia Qingwan politely refused. Later, she just calmly pursed her lips and pointed to her glass of juice, not saying much. But during her 3 years of high school, Xia Qingwan's mind had truly been focused on her studies, and she didn't have much of a bond with her classmates. Besides, she was very sensitive to alcohol. She ate a little something, then lowered her head and started using her phone, sending me messages to pass the time. Halfway through, she went to the restroom for a moment. As a result, as soon as she returned and took a sip of juice, she felt something was wrong. The taste of juice was mixed with a strong smell. The smell of alcohol quickly spread in her mouth, causing her to choke violently. The class president, Huang Tingting, sitting next to her, noticed something was wrong. Xia Qingwan, are you not feeling well? Xia Qingwan pressed her lips together. I'm fine. I just went to the restroom. Who poured alcohol into my glass? Huang Tingting was stunned. She quickly took her empty glass and sniffed it. She immediately shouted in anger, who just mixed white liquor into Qingwan's juice? She already said she can't drink. A girl across from them raised her hand. She had a very indifferent expression. Sorry, Xia Qingwan. I made a mistake just now, but it's our graduation ceremony. Don't be so cold all the time. What's the harm in having a little drink? Huang Tingting glared at her. She lowered her voice. Xia Qingwan, you should call your family. They're just upset that all the boys were only toasting you, so they're feeling a bit resentful. It'll take you downstairs in a bit. Okay, thank you. Xia Qingwan was feeling worse and worse. She took out her phone, intending to find her dad's number, but for some reason, she pulled up another number from her contacts. Ting Ting, I'm feeling a bit unwell. Can you help me tell him? Huang Tingting nodded, took the phone, and dialed the number. When I arrived, Huang Tingting was sitting with Xia Qingwan on a sofa in the corner. Her cheeks were slightly flushed, and she looked a little dazed as she watched me walk in. Why did I even think of calling him just now? When I walked in, the atmosphere suddenly went quiet for a moment. Student, I think you're in the wrong place. The homeroom teacher reminded me with a kind and friendly expression. I'm not mistaken, teacher. I smiled and pointed to Xia Qingwan sitting in the back. I'm here to pick up my girl. Because of my words, a few teachers looked at each other. It feels very interesting. While Xia Qingwan's ears turned bright red, I looked at her. She seemed sober. The problem probably wasn't too big, so I reached out and pulled her arm. Xia Qingwan was pulled by me and stood up in a daze, but facing the gazes of the teachers, she couldn't say anything. Young man, is this your girl? So how long have you two been together? I raised my eyebrows. For a few months now, the homeroom teacher sized me up, pretending to be stern. You're quite proud of yourself. Be careful or I'll punish you right now by making you read your love letter in front of everyone. I just laughed. I haven't had the time to write it yet. I was in a rush today. Maybe next time. You have to write at least 800 words when you get home. The homeroom teacher finally burst out laughing. At that time, Xia Qingwan, you can help me check it. I nodded. Sure. I'll write it as soon as I get home. Xia Qingwan couldn't help but pinch me. Don't talk nonsense in front of the teacher. The homeroom teacher generously waved her hand. Go on, hurry home. In the future, there won't be anyone like a high school teacher to push you forward anymore. You must live well. Actually, I've always felt that although Xia Qingwan is a good student, her personality is a bit withdrawn. Now, seeing her with this young man, it's so wonderful. The two of us walked out of the private room. I took out my phone to call a car. Where do you want to go now? Xia Qingwan reacted slowly, thinking for a moment. I want to go home. Okay? Send a message to your family. Then come to my place. After the two of us got home, I first settled this girl on the sofa. Then I went to crack open the window a bit to let the air circulate. After doing all this, I walked over with a cup of hot water. You can't handle alcohol. Who let you drink? Xia Qingwan took the hot water and explained what happened today. I frowned. So you couldn't throw up then? The teachers were there. I didn't think it would be appropriate. Hearing that, I was silent for a long while before speaking. All right, but at least you remembered to call me then. You're not too foolish. Xia Qingwan didn't say anything. I don't know if it was psychological or what, but ever since I came to take her home, she felt much more comfortable all over. Seeing this, I took out my phone and turned to go into the kitchen. Soon after, Xia Qingwan heard the sound of a lighter and the sound of me on the phone. I've never made that before. Aren't you supposed to be studying? Honey and tangerine peel, right? Wait a moment, let me look for them. Xia Qingwan really couldn't contain her curiosity. She slowly walked to the kitchen entrance and leaned against the door and saw me in slippers, lazily cooking something. Xia Qingwan sniffed the air. What is this? Sobering up soup. After my dad drinks, my mom always makes this for him. It can protect the stomach. You'll feel much more comfortable. Xia Qingwan was a bit surprised. You? You even know how to make this? I glanced at her and said with a smile, I didn't before, but I do now. Hearing this, Xia Qingwan's cheeks flushed red. She lowered her head, not daring to look at me. Quickly now. I've turned off the stove. Take this small bowl back to the living room. I watched her slowly drink it all. The pink on her cheeks had faded a lot, and I felt much more relieved. I relaxed, leaning back on the sofa and playing on my phone. Just leave the bowl there. Go wash your face, brush your teeth, and get some rest. Cherish it a little. In half a month, I am checking out of this place. Xia Qingwan was stunned, actually. She hadn't come here very many times before. But for some reason, Sia Kingwan suddenly recalled just now how I looked in the kitchen wearing pajamas and slippers, looking lazy all over, but actually being very meticulous and patiently taking care of her. It was only then that Sia Qingwan belatedly remembered that this must be a scene from the very, very distant future, a scene that she, as a wife, would only get to see. At this moment, I stood up and went into the room and took out that little rabbit doll I said before that I'd return it to you after the exam. Sia Qingwan said nothing, nor did she reach out to take it. She stared at the silly rabbit doll for a moment and suddenly spoke. Hi, Ochen. I was full of confusion. This was the first time I'd heard this girl call me that. When the exam scores are out, we'll choose our university applications carefully and then go to university in the same city. I was even more confused. Didn't we already talk about this? I mean, Xia Qingwan's expression was a bit unnatural. When the time comes, after we've submitted our applications, let's take Zhang Yao with us soon and rent a house. It's just that I still want to be with Zhang Yao more every day. Facing my somewhat subtle gaze, Xia Qingwan tried her best to maintain a calm expression, extending one finger to the left, one finger to the right. For a two-bedroom apartment, well split the rent, I wasn't too surprised. Instead, I looked at her meaningfully. But haven't we already discussed this before? Xia Qingwan was a little stunned. I said before that we had to be in love to live together, so isn't this you agreeing? Besides me, who else do you want to fall in love with? My tone was casual, yet extremely arrogant. This statement left Xia Qingwan unable to retort. She patted her cheeks and didn't continue with this topic. She got up to use the bathroom and then went to sleep. Early the next morning, when I woke up, it was already almost 9 o'clock. I had just sat up from the sofa when I saw Xia Qingwan sitting at the dining table playing on her phone, with breakfast placed beside her. I scratched my head. Why didn't you wake me up? I remember setting an alarm. When it rang just now, I helped you turn it off. Xia Qingwan came to her senses, touching her cheek as she looked at me. You've been staying up late recently? I wanted you to sleep a little longer. I've already bought breakfast for you after you're done washing up. Come and eat. I nodded. I had just stood up when I saw Xia Qingwan say, This morning, my dad called and said he wants to meet you. I nodded calmly. Coincidentally, I also have a few things to ask him. Let me know when you've chosen a time. My reaction gradually put Xia Qingwan at ease. After washing up, I sat back down at the table, started eating breakfast, and told her, I have a graduation party tonight. Xia Qingwan clutched her water glass tightly, slowly thinking about a few things. My graduation party has my teachers and my friends and classmates from 3 years of high school. This also represents that a very important stage of my life has completely ended. Xia Qingwan hesitated for a moment and softly called me, Hi, Ochin. Can I go with you tonight? I was genuinely a little surprised. You want to go? Don't you dislike this kind of thing? Xia Qingwan nodded. Her voice was quiet and gentle. But this time, I kind of want to go, because of Zhang Yao's appearance. Haven't we already known each other for over 10 years? Xia Qingwan was a bit at a loss for words. In the future that Zhang Yao lives in, Xia Qingwan is over 30 years old. She can only, from a graduation photo, see what I looked like in high school. So Xia Qingwan wants to do all the things she couldn't do with me, many things she couldn't do with me, to watch with her own eyes as I transform from a vibrant young man into that calm, mature man. So Xia Qingwan pursed her lips. Is it not okay? I chuckled softly. Of course it's okay, but in what capacity will you attend? I think if the campus belle of Xiamen University attends the graduation party with me, others will only believe you're my girlfriend. Xia Qingwan instinctively stuck out her tongue and licked her lips. What capacity? Then anything will do. It's not like I'm going to see them anyway. I laughed for a long time, laughing until Xia Qingwan was about to get angry again, before I nodded. Okay. After saying that, I picked up my phone and sent a voice message on WeChat. Yu. Add another chair next to me tonight. I want to bring a family member. 5 p.m. in the hotel's private room, a chubby boy said with a laugh. Hey Oz, have you met the family member Heochin wants to bring? For 3 years of high school, I've never seen him get close to any girl. Turns out he was secretly hiding someone at home. Chen Hao chuckled. Have you guys met her? Never mind that. He'll be here later. Each of us will clink a bottle with him. Don't let him get away, you hear? Everyone cheered in agreement, and just as they were talking, the door suddenly opened when Xia Qingwan and I walked in. Everyone's eyes froze, facing so many gazes. Xia Qingwan was a little shy. She tugged on my arm, and seeing this, everyone looked again and saw me standing beside her, smiling. Stop staring. Don't even think about it in the future. Hearing this, the boys immediately let out a round of whistles. At this moment, some boys who originally didn't want to drink were now determined to drink me under the table. So, I had just led Xia Qingwan to a seat when a boy came over holding a bottle of beer. He raised his glass. Today, everyone here is single. Only you could bring a family member. I hope at the next class reunion, you two can still come together. I chuckled. When is the next time? He also laughed. There probably won't be a next time. Then I wish you two can be together forever. I glanced at Xia Qingwan beside me. She had her head down, drinking juice, not saying anything. I stood up with a new glass. Thank you. But just a little beer, okay? If I really pass out, she won't be able to carry me. But what I didn't expect was that after we clinked glasses and drank, I had only taken 2 bites of food when another group of boys came over. Xia Qingwan also didn't expect that so many people would come at once. She quickly wiped her mouth, reached out and took my glass. Let me pour for you. You're out and you're still pouring drinks for him? Li, Yu asked with a smile. Between you two, who usually listens to whom? Xia Qingwan pursed her lips. Usually I listen to him more. Hearing this, the others couldn't help but click their tongues, both sourly and with admiration. Zhang Haochen, how on earth did you win her over? You silently stole the moonlight of all the boys at Yizhonghai, the moon of the boys at Yizhonghai. I haven't wooed her yet. After saying that, Xia Qingwan thought for a moment and rephrased it. Is that he hasn't started wooing me yet? Li, you looked a bit surprised. No way, Haochen. You haven't even started wooing her, and you brought her to the graduation party? Are you waiting for Xia Qingwan to woo you? I couldn't help but laugh. Don't worry. I'm not that slow. Just as I was about to say more, I saw Xia Qingwan hesitate a little. Actually, I didn't say it wasn't allowed. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone suddenly fell silent, falling into a state of bewilderment. Xia Qingwan, however, looked as if nothing happened. Come over here and pour me a drink. I lowered my voice. At least you know how to save face for me in public. Happy now? Xia Qingwan narrowed her eyes. She whispered, but if you get drunk, be careful when you get home, or it'll make you kneel and do the laundry. After 3 rounds of drinks, I had no idea how many glasses I'd had. Wave after wave, even the girls came over to toast me. Even a few girls who rarely drank poured a glass to join the fun. Their words were mostly blessings. Xia Qingwan realized that in this class, while the average grade might not be particularly high, everyone was very friendly and enthusiastic. It wasn't until after 9 p.m. that Chen Hao sat down next to me again. Hao-chen, fill it up. Let's have a drink, you and I. I'm not taking advantage of you. I've already done 2 rounds myself. I nodded, then asked, where's Li Yu? Are you drinking? Li Yu, you seem to have something on her mind today. She drank quite a bit by herself. Her cheeks were flushed, and even her speech was a little slurred. Chen Hao glanced at Xia Qingwan. What about your missus? She can't drink. Because I had drunk quite a bit. I spoke a little slowly, but I was still sober. I'll cover for her. All right then, Chen Hao laughed, then raised his glass towards Xia Qingwan. This kid is stubborn sometimes, but he's a very good person. Chen Hao lamented a bit. Besides, he likes to play games and mess around with his complicated programs. He stays up late every night. When you get to university, please take good care of him. Xia Qingwan nodded. Yes, I will. Actually, Xia Qingwan didn't like people with Chen Hao's personality. He was a natural flirt, had an extroverted personality, and had many ambiguous relationships. I had mentioned it before, Chen Hao has always liked beautiful girls. But that whole evening, Chen Hao didn't even glance at Xia Qingwan, nor did he try to talk to her. Now Xia Qingwan could understand why I said Chen Hao was a great person to be friends with. I glanced at him. Why do you sound like my ex-wife with all this talk? Chen Hao tutted. Ex-wife? If I were really a girl, do you think Xia Qingwan would even have a chance? I gave him a disdainful look. That's so disgusting. Chen Hao thought for a moment. That scene would be a bit much. Li Yu, holding her cup, burst out laughing. Didn't you used to call Auntie Lin's second mom when you were little? When Chen Hao and I sat next to each other, I had already been drinking. Your mom even called me over last time, saying she wanted to introduce a kid to me. I said softly, you've met her. It's Zhang Yao. Chen Hao let out a doubtful, it's that little girl? Is she really your cousin? You could say that. We didn't even use glasses, we just clinked our bottles while we talked. As the number of empty bottles piled up in front of me grew, Xia Qingwan became a little worried. She tugged at my sleeve. Slow down. At this moment, Li Yu spoke up. Don't mind them anymore. Are you having fun today? She hugged her cup, taking small sips, already starting to sway. In a little while, I'll ask my dad to get you all a room upstairs. Xia Qingwan turned to support Li Yu. You should drink less too. I'm not happy. Li Yu practically buried her nose in her cup. I really can't bear it. How could I? Have graduated already? Xia Qingwan asked, confused. Isn't graduating a good thing? Li Yu said drunkenly, it is. But I have to leave Haochen, and also, I have to leave them too. Xia Qingwan couldn't understand the strong bond between the 3 of us. But in her heart, she still felt a bit of admiration. Being able to grow up together is really wonderful. You have to treat Haochen well. Li Yu's eyes were red. He's a great person. When I was little, I was bullied by others. He was the one who stood up for me. On the other side, Chen Hao put his bottle on the table. As for me, I only remember Haochen. Li Yu looked at him for a moment, her voice nasal as she spoke. Who are you? Chen Hao was also drunk. I'm your brother Chen Hao, and you're asking who I am? Brother Chen Hao? Li Yu thought for a long time, her expression gloomy. Why do you have the same name as my dog? Chen Hao didn't know if it was because he was too drunk or because he was provoked, felt that he was also a bit out of it. All right, they're all drunk, but she still remembers that Chen Hao is a dog. Li Yu swallowed dryly 4 times and looked at Chen Hao. I want to throw up. It's the last day of high school, and I still have to wait on you. Chen Hao stood up, swaying a little himself. He'll take you. Where's the restroom? Li you shook her head. I forgot, do you know? Chen Hao replied impatiently, this is your family's hotel and you're asking me? Li you looked at the ground. So can I just throw up on the floor? Chen Hao immediately refused. That's too embarrassing. No way, Li you continued to ask. I'm afraid I can't hold it in. Can I throw up on you? This is the shirt I just bought yesterday. As he spoke, Chen Hao helplessly walked over and pulled Li Yu's hand. With unsteady steps, he staggered along, leading Li Yu to find the restroom. I sat in my chair, thinking about some things, drinking straight from the bottle by myself. Don't drink anymore if you're by yourself. Xia Qingwan couldn't take it anymore and snatched the bottle away. How can you drink so much? Ever since we met, I had always appeared very calm and composed in front of her. This was the first time she had seen me, so slow and dazed. I felt my head spinning and squinted, thinking for a long time. I'm going to the restroom. Seeing me struggling to stand up by holding onto the table, Xia Qingwan was worried. She quickly stood up to follow. It'll help you. You can go in by yourself in a bit. I'm not drunk. I immediately stood up straight. It's just that things were a bit blurry. Xia Qingwan ignored me and walked over to grab my arm with both hands. If you really can't stand steady, then lean on me. I leaned lightly on Xia Qingwan. Where's Zhang Yao? I haven't seen Zhang Yao for a long time. Xia Qingwan didn't expect that even at a time like this, I was still thinking about our daughter. Zhang Yao is at home for these 2 days. I turned my head to look at Xia Qingwan. Why didn't she come? Xia Qingwan said faintly. She said her dad is a drunkard. Hearing that, my back straightened a little. Then I won't drink anymore from now on. Xia Qingwan was both annoyed and amused. Your precious Zhang Yao is coming back tomorrow to take graduation photos with us. I looked at her for a moment. So you were lying to me just now. Xia Qingwan tried to hold back her laughter and said seriously, I'm not lying to you. As she led me out, Zhang Yao wouldn't hate me. Xia Qingwan really couldn't understand how someone who usually has such a high EQ could be so troublesome when drunk. But she didn't dislike it. It was actually quite cute. Quite interesting. I said, it was Zhang Yao who thought her dad was a drunkard. I frowned. Zhang Yao didn't say that. Xia Qingwan's eyes held a hint of a smile. She did say it. I just called her. Since we've known each other, have I ever lied to you? You have. My eyes were fixed on her face. You just said you wanted to pursue me. I don't believe it. Xia Qingwan froze for a moment and slowly turned her head away. Didn't I say that? I thought slowly for a moment, feeling a bit hazy. Then maybe I remembered it wrong. Xia Qingwan said nothing and led me outside. After they had walked quite a distance, Xia Qingwan couldn't seem to hold it in and let out a laugh. The breath from her nose was soft, her voice small and gentle. I'm not lying to you. Because I had drunk too much, my head was spinning, and I didn't think carefully about the meaning behind her words. So I staggered into the restroom. When I came out, Xia Qingwan was still waiting outside. She looked at my complexion, and seeing that it was much better than before, she slowly felt relieved. When we returned to the private room, Li Yu and Chen Hao were already on the sofa, looking completely wasted. After Xia Qingwan helped me sit down on the sofa, her phone rang. Xiaozi King's voice came through the phone. Your father has something at the company today. Do you need me to pick you up? It's late. Xia Qingwan glanced at me, who was squinting, and hesitated for a moment. Although it didn't look like anything serious, she still felt a bit uneasy. Just as Xia Qingwan was about to answer, Xiaozi Qing spoke first, her tone extremely cold. If you're not coming home, then fine. You'll just find it annoying if I meddle too much. I'll bring you some clothes. Xia Qingwan pressed her lips together. That's not necessary, Auntie. Aren't we taking graduation photos tomorrow? The uniform is still at home. Besides, you didn't shower yesterday, did you? Xiaozi Qing spoke very concisely. Give me the address. After hanging up the phone, Xia Qingwan sat with me for a while longer before getting up to go downstairs. A few minutes later, Xiaozi Qing parked her car on the side of the road and got out carrying a school bag. Xia Qingwan said softly, Thank you, Auntie. Xiaozi Qing looked at her for a moment, then handed her the school bag. Tomorrow your father and I will take the day off. Well, bring Qiong to take graduation photos with you and meet that boy at the same time. Xia Qingwan obediently nodded. Okay, you'll tell him. The two of them stood on the steps downstairs from the restaurant, silent for a moment. It was Xiaozi Qing who spoke first. You've already taken the little girl to see your mother, so it's not my place to say much more. But you're beautiful and have a gentle personality. When you're out, you have to protect. At this point, her throat tightened and her expression became a bit complicated. In the end, she just shook her head. Never mind, it's nothing. Xia Qingwan pressed her lips together. I understand. Xiaozi Qing came and went quickly. You could tell she wanted to give some advice, but in the end, she couldn't bring herself to say it. Xia Qingwan stood there watching for a moment until the car's taillights were no longer visible, before she took the school bag and went upstairs. Everyone in the private room had left, leaving only me sitting on the sofa, squinting, half awake and half asleep. Xia Qingwan asked, Where are they? I placed a room key card in Xia Qingwan's hand. Auntie Fu, Yu's mother, has already taken them up. I waited for you to go up together. Xia Qingwan took the room key card, rubbed it with her finger. Her expression was a little strange, just getting a room like this. But in the end, she didn't say much and led me upstairs according to the room number. The room was very clean, and it was a double room. 2 sets of pajamas were hanging on the wall. You could tell that Li Yuyu's mother had arranged things very thoughtfully. Of course, it could also be that she was very experienced in life. Even for the most intimate couples, twin beds are a necessity. Xie Qingwan was the first to speak up and ask, "Do you want to take a shower?" "Yeah," I replied perfunctorily while sitting on the bed. "I'll rest for a bit first. Then I'll shower first." Xie Qingwan sniffed her sleeve, then went to boil a kettle of hot water. "If you want to drink, pour it yourself and let it cool." I flopped down and replied with a soft, mm-hmm. Xie Qingwan seemed a bit worried, looking at me for a moment longer, before taking her school bag into the bathroom. She casually closed the door, feeling strangely nervous. After looking at herself in the mirror for a while, she took out from her school bag a change of clothes and prepared to shower. But then she suddenly discovered something. A moment later, the bathroom door opened again. Xie Qingwan poked her head out, her face slightly red. "This door doesn't lock." I struggled to open my eyes. "I know." Xie Qingwan frowned slightly. "I'm reminding you, not trying to tell you about it." Seeing my state, Xie Qingwan slowly closed the door again. Not until the sound of running water reached my ears did I lift my eyelids. Maybe because I drank too much, my throat felt as dry as if it were on fire. I went to the table to pour some water. After a glass of warm water went down, I slowly began to think about what happened tonight. When Xie Qingwan came out, my gaze uncontrollably lingered on her face for a long time. Because she had just showered, her hair was still damp. Perhaps due to the steam, there were 2 distinct pink blushes on her face. She looked unusually languid. She sat at the table, combing her hair with one hand and drying it with a hairdryer in the other. Then she noticed I was still looking at her. "What is it?" I didn't say anything, just lowered my head and took a big gulp of water. My head was still dizzy, and I was so sleepy I could barely keep my eyes open. Xie Qingwan habitually stuck out her tongue and licked her lips. "Do you still remember what I said to you tonight?" My expression was a bit hazy. "What was it?" Xie Qingwan felt a bit helpless for some reason. She slowly dried her hair. "It's nothing. Go take a shower." I struggled to think for a moment. "You said you want to pursue me?" Xie Qingwan's tone was very calm and natural, but the blush on her cheeks had spread to her neck. "So I said that?" "You did." After drinking, my thinking became unusually slow, but I remember Zhang Yao saying, "In the future, Dad was the one who pursued Mom, right?" Xie Qingwan's ears suddenly burned. Her hand scratched at the edge of the table like a cat's paw, making a soft scratching sound. "You pursued me?" I squinted and thought for a moment, or maybe not. Xie Qingwan's expression froze. The line of her pursed lips slowly straightened, her voice a little cold. "What?" I paid no attention, my eyelids drooping. The alcohol is kicking in again. "Don't fall asleep." Xie Qingwan was genuinely a bit annoyed. She reached out and grabbed my face, pulling it to both sides. "Don't think you can talk nonsense just because you're drunk. Tell me clearly. What does or maybe not mean?" Xie Qingwan pinched my cheeks hard. With my face being pinched, I stammered, It's that a girl like you is too thin-skinned." Xie Qingwan frowned. "And then? Pursuing someone requires a thick skin. I'm afraid you'd keep hesitating and nothing would happen for ages." I struggled to open my eyes, speaking intermittently. "How about I do it instead?" By the time I was fully awake, it was already the next morning. I slowly sat up, rubbing my head. It seems I really got too drunk yesterday, and I drank too fast, but not to the point of memory loss. I rested for a moment and looked at the bed next to mine. Xie Qingwan was still asleep. Her whole body curled up, the blanket puffed up. She was lying on her side. Her chest rose and fell gently, with only half her head sticking out to breathe. Her long, soft hair was spread over the clean pillow, her long, curved eyelashes completely still. I fumbled for my phone to check the time. I can only say that drinking really makes you miss things. After I woke up, I put on my slippers and went to wake Xie Qingwan up. "We have to take graduation photos this afternoon." Xie Qingwan wrinkled her nose, her eyelids lifted drowsily. It seemed she hadn't completely shaken off her sleepiness. "Don't bother me." She wasn't fully awake and swatted my hand away, muttering, 10 more minutes of sleep." I thought for a moment. "Then you can go by yourself this afternoon. I'm going home to get my uniform." "Don't miss it." Xie Qingwan replied perfunctorily. "Too sleepy, don't want to get up. You and Zhang Yao can take the graduation photos. I'm not going." Hearing that, I had no choice but to help her pull the blanket off her face. "Then Zhang Yao will cry her eyes out." Hearing these words, Xie Qingwan half opened her eyes and struggled to think for a long time. After a moment, she sat up with a sleepy expression and stared at me, a little unhappy. "Then I also want you to sleep a little longer." I wanted to reason with her. "I didn't intentionally bother you. You'll get used to it slowly. This girl is usually so gentle. Why is she so grumpy in the morning? What will it be like when we're married? Will I have to coax her every morning?" Xie Qingwan picked up her pillow and threw it forcefully into my lap. "Well, isn't it your fault? You didn't let me sleep last night." I was stunned. Xia Qingwan tucked her hair back. You were drunk, and so annoying. You repeated one sentence 10 times. I naturally felt a little embarrassed and put the pillow back on the bed. What did I say? Xia Qingwan glanced at me but said nothing. She got up, put on her slippers, and went to the bathroom to brush her teeth and wash her face. I didn't pay much mind and stood next to her, brushing my teeth and washing my face. Xia Qingwan looked at me through the mirror. You really don't remember anything? I asked. Did I keep you up talking a lot yesterday? Xia Qingwan answered me while brushing her teeth. Quite a lot. I lifted my head slightly and gestured. Tell me. Xia Qingwan chose a few unimportant things to mention. Seeing that I didn't seem to have a big reaction, she pursed her lips and suddenly spoke. You said you wanted to pursue me. I thought for a moment. Anything else? Xia Qingwan was a little speechless. How can you be so calm? I replied nonchalantly. Yeah, I remember that one. Xia Qingwan gave a dry cough. Her morning grumpiness seemed to vanish instantly. At 1:30 in the afternoon, Zhang Yao was already waiting on the lawn of the stadium. Lin Hui and Zhang Minghui stood behind with faint smiles on their faces. Zhang Lingling was taking pictures not far away. Seeing us, Zhang Yao's porcelain white face suddenly bloomed into a radiant smile. Holding a bouquet of fresh flowers, she ran over. Dad, Mom, this is for you. Xia Qingwan's eyes softened. She bent down and inhaled the sweet fragrance. I placed both bouquets in Xia Qingwan's hands. Then, I picked up my daughter and spun her around in the air. Has Zhang Yao gotten fatter? The little one's small face scrunched up. She grabbed her soft little belly. Grandma makes delicious food for Zhang Yao every day. Lin Hui proudly lifted her chin. Zhang Minghui, beside her, took something out from his coat. Haochen, this is your graduation gift. I reached out and took it. I looked at the Zhang family's household registration book. The 3 characters Zhang Yao were clearly printed on it. I looked up at Zhang Minghui again. It's done? Yes, it was done a few days ago. Zhang Minghui chuckled. Your mother and I ran all over the place to get her a birth certificate. We even had to go back to our hometown to find many people. He didn't explain much, but one could imagine it wasn't a smooth process. I glanced at Zhang Yao. She's your younger sister now. If she were a niece, the age wouldn't match up, Lin Hui added. This is the best your parents could do. When you and Xia Qingwan are capable later, you can handle it yourselves. Thank you, Auntie, Uncle. Xia Qingwan stared at the 3 characters Zhang Yao. She looked at it over and over for a long time. It felt like a huge weight in her heart had finally been lifted completely. Lin Hui smiled gently. Why be so formal with us? Besides, Zhang Yao is our granddaughter too. Jiang Lingling took pictures of the students on the field for a while before returning, looking at me and Xia Qingwan in our school uniforms. Her eyes clearly lit up. Haochen, let me take a few pictures of you and Zhang Yao. She fiddled with her camera excitedly. I never thought I could be with Dad and Mom, and even run over to give them flowers at their high school graduation. Who would believe it if I told them? Xia Qingwan and I looked at each other. Neither of us could help but smile. Auntie, how should we pose? Just like in Zhang Yao's photo. Jiang Lingling made a reassuring gesture. I'll take a young version family photo for you, perfect. Zhang Yao was so happy she almost jumped. She ran to stand between us, one hand holding mine, the other holding Xia Qingwan's. With the click of Jiang Lingling's camera shutter, Xia Qingwan and I in our blue and white school uniforms, and Zhang Yao in her little dress in the middle, were frozen in a photo that could only be captured at such a beautiful age. After the photo was taken, our family of 3 huddled together to look at the photo on the soft, grassy field. The summer sun was brilliant. I looked lazily casual. Zhang Yao was lively and adorable. As for Xia Qingwan, she stared blankly at the photo for a moment. Was I smiling that happily just now? I didn't say anything. I stared at the Xia Qingwan in the photo for a long time. She was clearly wearing the innocent and pure school uniform, but the smile on her face was very clear. It carried the shadow of Xia Qingwan as someone's wife. Her phoenix eyes were slightly curved, her thin red lips curved slightly. The smile on her face was gentle and warm. I don't know how much time passed. I suddenly spoke up. Let me go home and look it up online. Xia Qingwan was a bit confused. What? I answered calmly. I've never pursued anyone before. This is the first time.